on the export of products, likewise, they depend on imports. Gato took over of this country, since he is a tycoon, easily one of the richest people on the elemental continent. He basically acquired the country of waves and restricted it from the countries outside it. Isolated all exits and practically took over all the riches of the country. That is why Mr. Tizuna, the client, went to Konoha's services to protect him from some bandits, while he returned to his country to finish a bridge that he is building. This bridge will connect the country of waves with the continent, which will give you the possibility of exporting and importing products again. All the members of Team 7 listened carefully to the words of the Yondaime Hokage. As you might think, this bridge is a great threat to Gato's monopoly. According to what Kushina says in the letter, Gato knows this and plans to send mercenaries, and the attack by the Demon Brothers makes us think that he is also capable of to hire renegade shinobi to fulfill their objective kill. Azuna I see, and since the country of waves is in an economic crisis, they do not have enough resources to pay for a mission of higher rank than a C. Kakashi sensed. That's right, maybe that's why Tizuna-san lied about the mission. Kushina asked for reinforcements because it's possible that Gato sent more renegade ninjas, they can even be very powerful. She's scared of having to fight against one while protecting the genin, continued the Hokage. Very well sensei, we will take the mission. Listen to me Team 7, I want you to gather your objects and enough resources for the trip. I want you at the southern entrance of Konoha in exactly 1 hour. We will leave for the country of waves, said Kakashi to his students, then disappeared in an explosion of smoke. The three Uchihas disappeared in their respective shunshin. 1 hour later. Naruto, Sasuke and Kiyomi were at the southern entrance to Konoha. This time they were relieved because they saw Kakashi, who was walking towards them with a backpack on his back. He quickly arrived in front of them. They are all ready. Yes sensei, and those rolls. Vera sensei, Naruto-kun is good with seals, so he told us that carrying things sealed is more versatile than carrying them in a backpack. I see, that's very good, he said smiling. What level are you in Fuinjutsu Naruto? I am currently finishing level 10 of Fuinjutsu. Kakashi opened his only visible eye, but quickly returned to normal. Okay, this will be our first mission outside the village, so be careful. We will advance quickly through the forest at shinobi pace. It will be quick to catch up with Kushina-san because she was at civilian pace along with the client. Team 7 disappeared into the forest, heading towards the country of waves. Kushina was having a really annoying day. First, Menma had woken up complaining that he wanted to stop doing D-rank missions. He complained all day until they reached the Hokage Tower, and they would finally have a C-rank mission. And to tell the truth, she was also tired of D-rank missions. After they announced their mission and introduced their client, the old man had the nerve to arrive in front of them in a state of intoxication and, to make matters worse, mock that they would protect him from some simpletons. Kids, no one made fun of their genin, no one. After they left Konoha, he encounters an unpleasant visit from the demon brothers Gozu and Mezu, only to discover that the client lied about the mission range. The old man told them about the situation in his country, and as expected, his children wanted to follow the mission with determination. The pink-haired girl was afraid, but she agreed so as not to delay her team. Now he was walking near the waters that surround the country of waves. There was a small path that showed them the way to the island. There was a kind of fog that blocked their view, but nothing more than that. Kushina looked forward to see her genin. Team 11 was in a diamond formation around Tizuna, Mito and Sakura were on Tizuna's sides. Menma was in front while she was behind. He had his senses on full alert in case there was any threat. He could see Mito in a state of alert, however you could see that he was under control. Menma walked in front with a somewhat serious face, while the pink-haired girl walked trembling. A little while his eyes moved frantically looking from one side to the other. Perhaps the atmosphere that the fog gave him scared him a little, or very scared. Kushina tensed her posture when she felt movement near a bush. It seemed that Menma and Mito also noticed. Menma did not think about it and fired a kunai at the mysterious presence behind the bushes. The whole team went to see what it was until they saw a white rabbit which was trembling strongly. The kunai had been stuck in a tree right in the middle of its ears. "Oh, I'm sorry, bunny," Menma said, kneeling down to pet the rabbit. A white rabbit, however, it's spring, it can't be that there are white councils at this time, Kushina thought. The red-haired jonin sharpened her senses until she heard the classic sound of the air being cut. She quickly alerted her genin. "Everyone down, now. Shout." All the genin crouched down. Kushina swept Azuna's feet, causing him to fall silent. Everyone ducked just as a giant sword passed over them. The sword stabbed hard into the tree. A figure passed like a blur in front of them and lodged in the handle of the sword. Wow, 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 what do we have here? 3 little brats, an old drunk and the bloody habanera. How exciting. The figure was of a tall man with dark skin. He had a muscular figure. It must be thanks to the large sword he carried. He had short, wild, pointed hair. He was wearing somewhat baggy pale blue pants with stripes. He had leg warmers on his ankles. And on the arms with a stained design and blue shinobi slippers. He had bandages that covered half of his face. His ninja sash was flipped a little, he was wearing the sign of the village of Kurigakure, a stripe crossed the sign, which indicated that he had cut ties with his village. Zabusa Mamachi, swordsman of mist, wielder of the Kubikira Bacho, Class A renegade ninja. Oh, how well informed you are, I feel honored that someone like the bloody Havana from Konoha knows me. What do you want, Miss Demon? Easy, I want the head of that old man, they will pay me a large reward for him, I won't let you touch my client, Kushina said as she directed her hand towards her back where her sword rested. Oh please, we could end this the easy way, I don't want anything against you, you could give me the old man, I'll leave and get my money, or you could fight me lose, and I won't just kill you. To the old man if not also to your precious genin. Zabusa released some of his killer instinct, Tazuna was almost fainting from the fear he felt, Sakura was trembling openly, Menma took a step back, Mito shivered a little. You're going to have to go over me, Zabusa came down from the tree, while lowering his sword and jumping back, he placed his sword on his back and passed through a series of seals, Kurigakure no jutsu he whispered. The fog around everyone became a really thick fog, the fog was so abundant that you could barely see your hands, Zabusa began to release much more killing instinct. Jugular, throat, spine, stomach, arms, legs, torso, chest, so many places to go through and cut. The voice was heard in Zabusa through all the fog. What the hell is wrong with this guy? Said Menma. Does it not have a soul? Sakura asked. Oh, it's a pet peeve of mine, but tell me, why are you so shocked? Did you think that the world of shinobi is full of colors and joy? It's obvious that Konoha has softened reality. What have they taught you? Oh, even better, how was your graduation exam? You know, to graduate, I had to exterminate the entire class. Exterminate? Asked a scared Sakura. Kill them all. Zabusa's hoarse voice was heard, expelling even more of the murderous instinct. This is too much, thought Mito. I feel like I'm going to explode. No. You have to endure it, you have to be strong. Myth. The girl heard her mother's voice. Calm down, I won't let any of my genin die, she said smiling. I wouldn't be sure about that if I were you. Zabusa appeared in the middle of Mito, Menma and Sakura, who were surrounding Tazuna, he quickly swung his sword in a horizontal slash. He was about to cut the Tazuna when a red blur appeared in front of him and he felt how they were blocking his cut efficiently. I told you so, Kushina whispered to give a direct kick that Zabusa blocked, however he was sent a few meters back, he jumped and moved away from Kushina, who did not want to give him time, and advanced to face the ninja of the fog. The clashes of the swords came and went, sparks flew as a result of the clashes between the sharp metal. Kushina and Zabusa clashed their swords once again, entering into a combat of strength. You're very good, Havana, but are you able to keep up with me? Zabusa increased his strength and pushed with his sword, forcing Kushina to retreat. Zabusa had more physical strength, it was to be expected, after all he carries the Kubikira Bacho. It is a really big and thick sword, carrying it alone would be like exercising daily and without stopping. Kushina retreated from Zabusa's attacks, from one moment to the next, Zabusa disappeared into the fog. So now you're hiding, huh? I should use my techniques to my advantage, right? Mito was tired of the Zabusa technique, it was too dense a fog, but she had an idea, maybe that would make her mother's battle easier, passing through hand seals. Futon. Tatapa. Mito puffed out his cheeks and expelled a strong gust of wind from his mouth, the wind dispersed the fog showing the position of Zabusa, which was on the coast near the sea. How I hate wind users, the renegade muttered. He had to block a Kushina lunge that came towards him with a direct cut. Zabusa and Kushina engaged in an incredible kinjutsu battle, at one point, Kushina's experience and flexibility gave him the advantage over Zabusa. I must find a way out of this, if I continue like this, it is very likely that he will kill me, I guess I must play dirty. Zabusa pushed again with his great sword, forcing Kushina to retreat, Zabusa made half a ram seal, suddenly, different clones of Zabusa came out of the water. Mizu Bunshin, water clone, Zabusa said. The clone swung towards Kushina and began to overwhelm her, one of the clones headed towards the genin with his sword ready to deliver a deadly slash. Just at that moment, Kushina watched as one of the Zabusas approached the genin threateningly, she had to do something to defend them. Kushina closed her eyes for a moment while she concentrated, suddenly, some sort of pale yellow chains emerged from Kushina's back, emitting a slight glow. The chains positioned themselves around Kushina and expanded, passing through the Zabusa clones. Which turned into water, one of the chains quickly went to attack clone, piercing him just as he raised his sword. Kushina gave a sigh and cast an annoyed glance forward, only to be shocked to realize that Zabusa was no longer there. Zabusa appeared behind Kushina in a blur of speed and landed a kick against the Riti's back. He didn't have time and started slashing with his sword, making Kushina retreat until they reached the water. Kushina saw an opening in Zabusa and he landed a horizontal slash, however, it turned into water. A clone, Kushina thought. It is a pity. Zabusa appeared behind Kushina as he traced seals. Suiten. Suro no Jutsu. Water style. Water prison jutsu, the water around Kushina rose, enclosing her in a kind of dome of water that connected with Zabusa's arm, enclosing her. Unfortunate thing, I attacked the genin to distract myself, now the situation is worse, he thought. Well, I guess the hard part is done, now, I just have to take care of the old man and the brats. Mito, Menma, Sakura, please run, Kushina thought, she couldn't speak thanks to the water prison. Zabusa created 3 more clones, which advanced towards the genin. What are we supposed to do now? Sakura asked. We must prevent him from getting close to Tazuna-san, but what are we supposed to do? He's a jonin. The petal girl is right, blonde, they should have run while they could. I'm not going to abandon my mother, said Mito determinedly. I won't either, I'll beat you easily, you'll see. Menma shouted, much talk little. Nuts, Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. Menma shouted. In a ball of smoke, an exaggerated amount of shadow clones appeared, all of them launched themselves at Zabusa with a kunai in hand. The number of clones was so great that Zabusa was lost from sight, however, all the clones were thrown backwards. Thanks to a show of strength from Zabusa. Mito attacked Zabusa to involve him into jutsu, she used her father's style, which consisted of fast and flexible movements, trying to cause the greatest amount of damage in the shortest time possible. Zabusa tried a direct blow that Mito dodged and tried an upward hook in the renegade's stomach, however he stopped it and punched the girl's side. Mito was thrown somewhat away, however, he launched another time against Zabusa. Suiton. Miserapa. Violent wave of water, Mito shouted, puffed out his cheeks and threw a stream of water towards Zabusa. The Kiri ninja managed to dodge it, the jet of water hit a tree, destroying it in half. That was close, Zabusa thought. Menma launched himself against Zabusa using the same style of taijutsu, his sister accompanied him from behind, in the hope of landing a blow. Menma attempted a sweep at the jonin's legs, who jumped away from the attack. Futen. Renkiden. Air bullet, Menma took a very deep breath and then expelled a bullet of pressurized air from his mouth. Zabusa jumped to the side, dodging the projectile. Suiton. Teppadama. Water element. Shot. Mito puffed his cheeks again and fired a bullet of compressed water. The water clone received the shot, thus disappearing. 1 down 2 left, the original Zabusa growled from his position, he couldn't attack, if he took off his arm from the water prison, it would be destroyed. This time the 2 remaining clones launched themselves against Menma Mito in a more serious way, their objective was to separate the 2 brothers so that they would not form such a dangerous combo again. The 2 clones quickly engaged each of the brothers in a taijutsu battle. The Namikaze Uzumaki brothers were overwhelmed, Zabusa's movement suddenly leveled up, they were faster and came with more force, it was not pretty at all considering the physical strength that Zabusa possesses. Menma tried with all her might to try to defend herself from Zabusa, however, she didn't achieve much, the same was with Mito, but she was able to play along with Zabusa a little. Zabusa kicked Menma in his stomach, the genin could feel something crunch, he let out a moan that Mito heard. Mito was distracted in a moment of worry for her brother. Zabusa took advantage and bombarded Mito with stronger blows, Mito jumped back to escape Zabusa's combos, he took out a kunai with explosive paper tied to the handle and threw it against the Kirinin. Zabusa carefully observed the explosive projectile, simply he jumped, avoiding the kunai which stuck in the ground, the paper exploded, however the Zabusa clone was unharmed. Suiton. Miserapa Mito launched the jet of water, the Zabusa clone received the attack, dissipating. Only 1 left, Mito saw that Zabusa had his brother by the neck. Almost good, but they still have a long way to go, he said while landing a hard blow on Menma's stomach. Unfortunate, Menma muttered. Don't hold a grudge against me, brat, I'm afraid you'll beat me up after this, the renegade joked. Zabusa slammed Menma into the ground, causing him a large amount of damage. Now you, said Zabusa as he headed towards Mito. Kiri's ninja disappeared in a blur of speed, appearing in front of Myth and beginning to overwhelm her with rapid strikes. Mito defended himself as best he could, however, he was not able to do much. Zabusa kicked Mito directly, which was thrown backwards as she crawled on the ground. When she got up, she didn't even have time to blink when she saw that Zabusa was already in front of her with his sword in his hand preparing a horizontal cut. It's over, said Zabusa. Mito closed his eyes waiting for his imminent death. Is this how it ends? Zabusa was right, the shinobi world is macabre and difficult. Shunshin. Naruto's body flickered and then disappeared in a blur of speed. Zabusa was about to cut Mito when he noticed that a person stopped his cut with a straight sword, Chikudo. Mito, are you okay? Naruto asked. Mito opened her eyes to see her black-haired friend. Naruto. What are you doing here? We are reinforcements, he replied. From the trees, Kakashi, Kiyomi and Sasuke came out. Naruto took Mito's hand and Shunshin. They appeared next to the rest of the team. The Zabusa who was holding Kushina hostage frowned. This tips the balance towards them, a new genin team, and also that they have the copying ninja, Kakashi, as their sensei created new water clones. Kakashi observed the situation of Team 11. Kushina was trapped in a water prison. He knew her very well. She was a formidable kunoichi. Zabusa must have played dirty. Sakura was trembling however. Now she seemed to have a really relieved look, without any scratch. She did not participate in the meeting. While Menma and Mito were injured, Zabusa must have played with them. They are lucky that he did not decide to kill them at once. Kakashi-sensei, the Jonin heard a voice calling him. It was Naruto. We have to get Kushina-san out of Zabusa's prison. First we have to bypass the clones and force the original to release the prison. I'm sure you will face Zabusa, Sasuke, Kiyomi, and I will take care of the clones. Kakashi nodded. He trusted his genin a lot. After all, they managed to put him on the spot with their teamwork. I guess I should get serious, Kakashi whispered. Naruto could hear and looked at his sensei, who was raising his ninja band, revealing a completely mature Sharingan eye. The three younger Uchiha were surprised. Their sensei had a Sharingan in his left eye. They would have to ask later. Now the priority was to help Team 11. The remaining Zabusa clone wanted to surprise Kakashi by appearing behind him at high speed. However, Kakashi's Sharingan was able to easily follow him, thus Kakashi dodging the Kirin slash. The Konoha ninja took out a kunai, cutting the clone's throat, which dissipated. Kiyomi, Sasuke, Naruto, I entrust you with the clones and the protection of the client Izuna-san. I trust you, he said, giving them a smile. The three genin nodded, smiling in return. The Zabusa clones prepared to intercept Kakashi, as they had already noticed that the Konoha ninja would do everything possible to get closer to the original. Kakashi began to run at high speed towards the something where the Zabusa with Kushina was. It's good news that Kushina-san is still holding her breath. Kakashi focused his Sharingan for a moment, noticing how the Kushina chakra directed a small amount to his lungs, increasing his ability to hold his breath. I see, hold on a little longer. Kushina-san. The Zabusa clones rushed towards Kakashi. One of the clones tried to cut the silver-haired ninja in half, however, he agilely dodged the cut and cut the clone's arm, dispelling it. Kiyomi went through a series of hand seals. Kaiten. Kakaku no Jutsu. The large fireball was heading towards the Zabusa clones, the projectile hitting one of the clones, causing an explosion that dissipated a few more. Kakashi continued running towards Kushina until two more clones appeared in front of him. Naruto looked at the two clones with his Sharingan active, time to honor his brother's technique. Shunshin. Naruto disappeared and appeared behind the clones, cutting them with his Shakudo, dissipating them in the process, leaving the way clear for Kakashi. I deactivated Sharingan, it was not necessary to spend that chakra. What the hell? The brat can use Shunshin in battle, thought the royal Zabusa. Sasuke ran until he was in Naruto's position tracing seals. Kaiten. Hasenka no Jutsu. A series of small fireballs were directed towards three Zabusa clones, which dodged the projectiles with great agility, however two of the clones were not skilled enough and dissipated. Good. Kakashi thought, finishing off the remaining clone. Kakashi went through hand seals. Suiton. Teppadama. The water bullet aimed at Zabusa. Damn, the renegade thought, I can't let that happen to me, they give me no choice. Zabusa dodged the water bullet, in the process separating his hand from the water prison, freeing Kushina, who jumped away from him. Naruto ran until he was next to Kushina, who was leaning on one of her knees, taking deep breaths. Is Kushina-san okay? Yes, don't worry. By the way, Naruto, that technique you used to save Mito and with which you defeated the clones, was it Shunshin? That's right, my brother taught me how to use it and said that he would like to teach me how to use it in battle, however he never could, so I spent a good amount of time in my training perfecting and using it. In addition, I used the blink Shunshin and honor him. Kushina stood up and hugged Naruto. That's so sweet of you. Thank you, Kushina-san, but I think this is not the time for hugs, we should help Kakashi-sensei. That's right, but I don't worry that much about Kakashi, it's not for nothing that he is one of the strongest jonin in the village, you know. Kakashi was born in times of war, and his excellent talent and preparation led him to become a chunin. I'm 6 years old, he said, releasing Naruto from the hug, who had his eyes slightly open. Chunin at 6 years old, that seems impossible. That's right, but Konoha needed the maximum shinobi possible to carry out the third war. After all, villages like Kumagakure and Iwagakure are recognized for the exuberant number of shinobi they have. Konoha is recognized for the individual talent of its shinobi, and its excellent teamwork. I see. What I don't understand is why Kakashi-sensei has a Sharingan in his left eye. Kushina made a sad look that Naruto noticed. I guess I'm stepping on forbidden territory, said Naruto. No, don't worry, I would tell you, but I think it's better that he tells you himself. Understand? Kakashi kept his battle against Zabusa in a fight between a kunai and the Kubikirabacho. I didn't expect anything less from Kakashi of the Sharingan. It's an honor that you use that magical eye. As soon as the battle against me begins, don't think you're so important. I have to finish you once and for all. You've already caused too much trouble. TSK. Zabusa growled. Kakashi managed to make a small cut on Zabusa's arm, which caused him to step back a little. Kakashi did not let him escape and punched him in the face, followed by a really strong kick in the stomach. Zabuza was thrown backwards but quickly recomposed himself by taking deep breaths. Damn, Kakashi is so good, I have to finish this. Zabuza began to perform a chain of hand seals while saying his name. What surprised him was seeing that Kakashi followed his hand seals at the same speed. It even seemed like he knew what Zabuza was going to do. I see, that's why they call him the copying ninja. He uses the Sharingan to copy the jutsus of his enemies and follow their movements, Naruto thought. The long chain of seals continued until a moment came when it seemed that Kakashi was one seal ahead. What the hell? What's wrong? It's like I know what I'm going to do. Zabuza was starting to panic while Kakashi simply stared at Zabuza until the two finished the seals. Suiten. Suryudan no Jutsu. Zabuza and Kakashi shouted. From the water where they were standing, two pillars of water rose and then turned into dragons made entirely of water, their eyes glowing yellow. The two giant masses of water collided with each other, starting a battle of jutsus until each dragon bit the other, dispersing. Kakashi and Zabuza lunged forward, Kakashi with a kunai and Zabuza with his greatsword, both weapons colliding, beginning a struggle of strength, each fighting for dominance. Something's not right, Zabuza thought. He jumped away from Kakashi. He placed his sword on his back. The renegade ninja made a half-ram seal with his left hand while raising his right hand. Zabuza was surprised to realize that Kakashi had done the same thing as him at the same time, as if it were a mirror. It's like I know what am I going to do it later? Kakashi said out loud. Zabuza begins to move his hands and then join them together. He did not take his eyes off Kakashi, who did the same at the same time. He looks at me with that eye, Zabuza thought, referring to Kakashi's Sharingan. And that makes you angry, doesn't it? Kakashi said, again out loud. What? Can he also read my thoughts? Zabuza thought. He was starting to get nervous. Kakashi's Sharingan glowed a little. Zabuza performed the tiger seal. TSK, all you do is copy me, like a little monkey, said Zabuza. You won't be able to beat me with those cheap tricks. Zabuza and Kakashi shouted. Zabuza went through hand seals, however, Kakashi copied them with his Sharingan Suiten. Daibakufu no Jutsu. Water style. Giant vortex jutsu. The water around Kakashi rose up, forming a whirlpool around him. A giant ring of water rose up around Kakashi, quickly becoming a vortex of water that quickly headed towards Zabuza. Zabuza received the water vortex. He was dragged by the vortex, being hit hard by the currents. The attack continued to the forest, breaking some trees in the middle. How? I was about to do this jutsu. He copied my jutsu before I could do it. How is this possible? Zabuza hit hard against a last tree, being very hurt. Suddenly some kunai stuck in his arms. Zabuza let out a small cry of pain. Kakashi appeared sitting on one of the branches of the tree where Zabuza was. How? Can you even see the future? Zabuza managed to ask, his voice sounding fatigued and painful. Yes, I'm seeing your future right now. I guess it's your last battle, said Kakashi, taking out a kunai to finish off Zabuza. Kakashi heard the sound of the wind cutting until he saw that a series of senbon stabbed into Zabuza's neck, which fell forward, apparently dead. The genin and Kushina approached Kakashi and the inert Zabuza. What happened? Kushina asked. Well, it seems it was his last battle, a mysterious voice sounded around. The Konoha ninjas looked towards a branch of another tree that was higher. There was a figure. He was wearing a kind of short-sleeved battle haori of opaque blue with wide edges. It was tied with a forest green band. A fabric of the same color fell behind the haori, in addition to somewhat baggy pants of the same color, with dark blue ninja sandals. The haori was on top of a long-sleeved shirt of the same green color. The shirt was turtleneck. The figure was wearing a white mask with red details and the sign of rain on the forehead. His hair protruded from the mask. 2 strands of black hair went down to a little past his shoulders. It was tied to a small tomato which was covered by a white cloth. A small strand escaped from behind. Kakashi looked at the mysterious ninja for a moment, then placed his index and middle fingers on Zabuza's neck to check his pulse. He no longer has vital signs, Sai. From his mask, I can deduce that he is a hunted ninja from Kurigakure, isn't that right? Naruto asked. You are a very good observer, and you are also well informed. I thank you, Konoha ninja. I have been looking for Zabuza for a long time, and you have saved me the work. I don't understand, what is that ninja looking for? Asked Menma, who had already gotten up. When a renegade ninja escapes from his village, he takes many of their secrets with him. The hunter ninjas are trained precisely to pursue the renegade and kill him, Kiyomi explained. Something's not right, Kakashi thought. Because of his complexion, his figure and his voice, he must be the same age as Naruto, about 14 years old. TSK, who do you think you are? Menma shouted. Calm down, Menma, said Kushina, approaching her son. You didn't see what he did. He finished off with Zabuza in a single movement, as if it were nothing, said Menma. That's how things are, Menma. There may be people your same age, even younger, but they may be more powerful than you, even than me. Kushina placed her hand in her son's red hair. TSK, it's okay. The hunter ninja disappeared in a swirl of leaves appearing next to Zabuza. He crouched down and grabbed his body. If you'll excuse me, I'll take his body to get rid of it. Naruto, Kushina and Kakashi stared at the hunter ninja. This is strange, Naruto thought. I'm sorry for the complications, said the hunter ninja, disappearing in another swirl of leaves, with the body of Zabuza. He's gone, Menma growled. Okay guys, you have to calm down, Kakashi, I guess you're already aware of the situation because of the letter I sent, right? That's right, I guess we'll have to protect Tazuna-san while he finishes building the bridge, he said, nodding towards Tazuna, who bowed in gratitude. Excuse me, Tazuna-san, how long do we have to get to your house? Kakashi asked as he hid his Sharingan under his headband again. About 30 minutes if we continue at this pace. Very well, by the way Naruto, he said while observing the aforementioned Catch me please. Kakashi began to fall forward, however before he hit the ground, Naruto caught him on his back. What's wrong Kakashi-sensei? Kiyomi asked, approaching. The question Kakashi-sensei, said Naruto. That Sharingan is implanted, right? That's how it is. I see, no wonder he got so tired. Why? Kiyomi asked. You see Kiyomi, when a Dojutsu is implanted, it will never be deactivated, which causes his Sharingan to constantly consume chakra. This wear and tear is multiplied, since Kakashi is not an Uchiha, by covering the Sharingan with his band, let's say that in some way, it turns off your vision function, which reduces your chakra expenditure, even if just a little. I see, what a good observation Naruto, I hope you can take me to Tazuna-san's house, don't worry, I'll take you there. Thank you Kakashi fainted. Sasuke, help me here will you? Yes, Sasuke put Kakashi's other arm around his shoulder and helped Naruto carry him. Time skip. 30 minutes. Team 11 and 7 together with Tazuna arrived at the land of the waves, and not much could be said, the situation was too depressing, there were many people in the street, their clothes were torn, and the houses were in very bad condition, there were people lying in the alleys, entire families without food and many more situations. Tazuna guided them to a 2-story house that was in a small port connected to another small wooden bridge. We're here, said Tazuna relieved. Tazuna approached the door and knocked 3 times. A few seconds later the door opened, showing a young woman with dark blue hair with 2 strands that framed her face. Her hair reached her lower back, she was wearing a short-sleeved shirt. Pink color with red details and a high collar of the same color, she was wearing a long blue skirt, she was barefoot. The woman hugged Tazuna tightly. Dad. You're back. The woman said happily. Hello Tsunami, how are you? Look, let me introduce you to the Leaf Shinobi, they were the ones who helped me get there safely, they have been protecting me along the way, and they will help me protect the bridge. The girl turned and gave a smile. Thank you very much Shinobi-san, I am Tsunami, Tazuna's daughter, it is a pleasure to meet you, he bowed. Taste his art Tsunami-san, Kushina said smiling. Come on in, don't just stand there, I'm about to serve dinner. Thank you, they all responded. Excuse me Tsunami-san, is there a free room where we can leave our sensei? Sasuke asked. Yes, there is one on the 2nd floor, you can leave it there, it's the last one in the hallway. Thank you Sasuke and Kiyomi and Naruto said smiling. Sasuke and Naruto took Kakashi to the room, Kiyomi took off Kakashi's ninja vest, and Naruto laid him on the bed. Thank you guys Kakashi whispered. Hey Kakashi-sensei, Naruto took out a small box from his seals, from which he took out 2 pills. They are soldier pills. These are pills that contain a small charge of chakra with a stimulant that helps replenish a ninja's chakra reserves. Oh thank you, I'll take them later, for now I want to rest, by the way, tomorrow I'll give everyone a notice, okay? Kakashi said with a serious voice. Okay, said the 3 genin. The Uchihas went down to the dining room, in which everyone was already seated, the only new thing was that of a small boy with a small fisherman hat that hit his gaze, he had a pale yellow shirt under a dark green overalls, but the boy didn't even look back at them. Oh, they're here, said Tsunami, isn't your sensei going to have dinner with us? Unfortunately not, but don't worry, he's just tired, said Kiyomi. Oh I see. The 3 Uchihas sat down and thanked them for the food. Everyone devoured their food in a calm manner, giving slight glances at the Tsunami house. Sakura looked at a painting that was hanging on the wall, apparently it was a painting of Tsunami, the child who was sitting with them and one more person. Excuse me, Tsunami-san, who is the man in the painting? Sakura asked. At that moment everyone watched as Tazuna and Tsunami became tense, the boy simply got up from the table and went up. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't think that. Don't worry, Tsunami interrupted. His name was Kaiza, he was like Inari's adoptive father. So the boy's name is Inari, they all thought. He was a very good and charismatic man, Tazuna continued, he always tried to encourage the people and move them forward. What happened to him? Sakura asked. Can't I kill him? Cold words that ran down everyone's backs like ice. He killed him in front of everyone. Kaiser was the only person who dared to stand up to him. He said he would protect this town with his 2 arms, however Gato cut them off, hung him on a cross and cut off his head, in front of our noses, and the worst thing is that we couldn't do anything. I see. I'm sorry I asked. No, do not worry. Dinner continued in silence. Once everyone was finished, everyone washed their avocado and went to sleep. The girls slept separately from the boys, who slept on futons. The next day the warm sun rose over the land of the waves to begin a new day. The sun's rays surpassed the windows, landing on the faces of the people in the house. Each of the people got up at their own pace. Tsunami went down to the first floor and got ready to prepare breakfast. Naruto got up and greeted Tsunami, and the others went up to the second floor and went towards the room where his sensei was. He knocked on the door to hear a come in from Kakashi. Naruto opened the door and watched as his sensei was reading his book. He looked in better condition than yesterday and was breathing more easily. How is sensei? Naruto asked. Much better, I can now walk on my own. I see. Naruto, I guess you already know what I'm going to talk about down there. Naruto simply nodded. I've been thinking about it and I think it's most likely, after all, that Hunter Boy's movements were very strange. Well, I guess it's time everyone knows. Naruto helped Kakashi get out of bed and the two went down to the dining room where everyone was awake having breakfast. Hello, Kakashi-sensei. How are you? Kiyomi asked. Very good, thank you Kiyomi. So you're Kakashi. Nice to meet you, I'm Tsunami. The pleasure is mine. Tsunami-san, come, sit down and have breakfast. Naruto and Kakashi thanked him for the food and began to eat breakfast. A few minutes passed until Kakashi caught everyone's attention. Listen everyone, I need to tell you something. What's wrong Kakashi-sensei? Sakura asked. I need you to stay calm in front of what I am going to tell you. I want to tell you that it is very likely that Zabuza is still alive. A very deep silence fell in the room when Kakashi mentioned those words. What? Asked a very scared Tazuna. But Kakashi-sensei, we saw how the hunter ninja killed him, said Sakura just as scared. It's a little difficult to understand, but you have to analyze things more, said Kakashi seriously. Kakashi-sensei, you checked his pulse, right? How is it possible that he's still alive? Menma asked. You see, according to what I saw, Naruto interrupted, the hunter ninja used senbon. The senbon is a weapon that is not used primarily to kill, but to hit specific points on the body to achieve some effect. What does that have to do with it? Menma asked. The hunter ninja has great aim. He aimed at Zabuza's neck right on a nerve that stopped his heart for a few moments, so that's the reason why Kakashi-sensei didn't feel Zabuza's pulse, Kiyomi said. Sasuke just analyzed in silence. But the hunter ninja said he was going to get rid of Zabuza's body. I don't think so, Kushina interrupted. The hunter ninjas have the obligation to dispose of the renegade's body in the same place where he is murdered. But the masked ninja took Zabuza when his obligation was to finish off the body right there, so it can be insinuated that the hunter ninja was actually trying to rescue him, Sasuke said. That's right, Kakashi agreed. How much time do we have? Mito asked. Although the hunter ninja rescued Zabuza, he was not able to rescue him completely unharmed. I would say that it would take Zabuza about 2 or 3 weeks to recover, said Kakashi. Very well, there is no time to waste, we have to train them for Zabuza's return, but Kushina-sensei, how could a 2-week training help us face Zabuza? He's a jonin. I know that it is impossible for them to reach the level of Zabuza with such little time, but it is possible that at least it will be easier for them to act in battle. Okay, it's time to train. By the way, thanks for the food, Tsunami-san, said Kakashi. Tsunami nodded with a smile. Team 7 and 11 left the cave to go to a small forest that was a few meters from Tazuna's house. Kushina and Kakashi each decided to go one way with their team so they could train them at ease. Kushina would help Myth and Menma with her speed and reaction capacity, as well as a bit of chakra control, due to her reserves increasing every day due to the Kyuubi, while she would try to get Sakura into shape and increase her strength. Her chakra control was an easy issue, since she was the one with the least chakra in the group, and as is already known, the less chakra you have, the easier it is to control it. Kakashi had a special lesson for his team. He was thinking about teaching them this for a while, and he thinks it's time, since they are strong enough and above all mature. Kakashi and his team were in a small clearing. He was about to teach his team a new jutsu, one very special to him. What are we going to do, Kakashi-sensei? Kiyomi asked. Well, you see, today I'm going to teach you a new jutsu, said Kakashi, smiling. Wow, really? That would be fantastic. Kiyomi jumped for joy. What is this jutsu about? Naruto asked. He couldn't deny that he was a little excited. First of all, it's a lightning-style jutsu. Naruto thanked the gods. Even though Kushina had given him some lightning jutsus, there were not as many as he wanted. He had a large arsenal of fire and also wind. Lightning is his element with the fewest jutsus. Listen carefully guys, I have something to tell you, this jutsu is very special for me, because of all the jutsus I have, I did not copy this one, but rather I invented it, the genin listened attentively. I created this jutsu when I became a jonin at the age of 13. Kakashi raised his ninja band, revealing his Sharingan. It's about gathering a large amount of lightning chakra in the palm of your hand, as already you know, it's chakra transformation. Kakashi performed the following hand seals. Ox, hare, monkey. After that, Kakashi bent his knees and leaned his body forward a little, stretching his right arm down, while his left hand was positioned on the right wrist. He opened his right hand a little, then he began to gather chakra. In his hand, the chakra in Kakashi's hand began to transform into lightning chakra, causing a small sphere of lightning to appear in Kakashi's hand that then enveloped Kakashi's entire hand. The Jonin's hand began to release too many rays, and a peculiar sound echoed throughout the clearing. It seemed like the sound of 1,000 birds, accompanied by electricity. https://yahoo.b/mi10ve4fhjw, beautiful sound, I love it, let's continue. The genin looked impressed at the large amount of lightning that came from Kakashi's hand. Gee great, Kiyomi managed to say. But there is something I don't understand, Kakashi-sensei, why do I uncover his Sharingan? Good question, and that is that at the time of creating the technique, it had a disadvantage, and that is that this technique seriously increases your speed when using it, that is thanks to the lightning chakra, however, the extreme speed that you reach, it makes normal vision blurry. At the time of my death, my fallen companion gave me his Sharingan as a gift. The improved vision of this helped me to see clearly when using the technique. As for all this, what is the name of the technique? Naruto asked. Kakashi smiled and started running towards a giant rock that was in the clearing. Naruto could barely see Kakashi's figure heading towards a rock. This is called Kakashi directed his Raiten chakra infused hand towards the rock. Chidori. Thousand of birds, Kakashi shouted as the sound of the birds chirping violently was repeated again. Kakashi's hand went cleanly through the rock, a small explosion of lightning shattered the rock, turning it into small pieces. The three Uchihas were surprised at the new technique they were going to learn. Keep in mind that I am entrusting you with my star technique, you must promise me that you will never use this technique against fellow Blade members, understood? The genin nodded. Time skip. 1 week. The first week before Zabuza's return passed quickly, the three genin of Kushina trained hard to become faster and stronger. Mito and Menma began to do special training to control their emotions, you will wonder why, oh no. Menma and Myth are the containers of Kyuubi, the most powerful tailed beast, but there was a peculiarity, the Kyuubi is the most manipulative and hate-filled tailed beast of the 9 that exist, it is the tailed beast that can manipulate you the easiest. For your negative emotions, any slip in your emotions can be taken advantage of by the demon fox, not only that, but he is also capable of influencing you through his negativity. Menma and Myth had to learn to control themselves, because if they didn't do it, they could get out of control and commit acts that they would regret. Kakashi's genin were advancing rapidly with a new technique. Naruto was already capable of making a Chidori, however, he had to get used to its use, while Sasuke and Kiyomi were capable of making a Chidori almost as good as Naruto's. The arduous training has caused the genin to return home with injuries. Sasuke and Kiyomi had one arm completely bandaged due to the damage they have done practicing Chidori. Naruto did not need so many bandages, he only bandaged his hand a little. His Senju blood made him more resistant than the others. Mito and Menma's Uzumaki blood helped them a lot with their stamina, plus the Kyuubi's chakra helped them regenerate even faster than Naruto. Sakura had several blessings covering some scratches and bruises, but nothing serious, she complained, she would rather see her Sasuke-kun's arduous training, see him sweaty and tired and fangirls. Currently all the shinobi were in Tazuna's house, waiting for dinner, but Naruto noticed Tsunami's worried look. Tsunami-san, is something wrong? And nothing, don't worry, he said, giving a fake smile. It had no effect, there's no food left for everyone, right? Naruto said, it didn't sound like a question, but more like a statement. Tsunami remained silent, that was enough to answer the question. Don't worry, I won't eat, said Naruto, surprising Tsunami. But why? Don't worry about me, I can last a few days without eating, until we get more, maybe I'll have to fish a little. I won't eat, Tsunami-san either, Kushina said. Me neither, said Myth. Tsk, I guess the big Menma will have to sacrifice himself so the others have to eat, the Redeed murmured. This, Mom? I call Myth. What happened, dear? I understand that we can last days without eating, because you know, Uzumaki's but. No, Naruto, he is an Uchiha, he doesn't have as much stamina as us, Mito whispered. Naruto heard her, but he didn't worry about that. It's about time he knew about his other half. Myth, you may not know this, but Naruto is half Senju. That's right, so we're like cousins, Kushina smiled. Mito looked at Naruto. It's good that you know that, cousin, he said, smiling. Myth, I sweat a little. Hey, what about those wounds? The blonde asked, observing the bandages on the Uchiha's hands. Oh, are you? Kakashi is teaching us a new technique and well, you see, Naruto responded. So difficult. Yes, it's too difficult, but it's a good technique as well as very powerful, but mastering it hurts a little. Hey, and you guys are training too, right? That's right, we focus on reaction speed and chakra control. I see, I should also practice my chakra control. Kiyomi has better control than me, the aforementioned felt flattered. If you want, train chakra control with us, said Mito. I would like to, but I think Sasuke should also train chakra control with us too. He told me that he would love to spend more time with you, Naruto joked. Sasuke opened his eyes wide as a small pink tone appeared on his cheeks. Mito stood paralyzed as her cheeks were flooded by a faint pink color. Menma burst into laughter, while Kiyomi only giggled lightly. Sakura didn't like that joke at all. How the hell you don't feel sorry for me at all, Sasuke muttered angrily. Nah, Naruto, why do you say that? Mito said. Daughter, I didn't know anything about that, Kushina said amused. Mom. Myth shouted, more embarrassed. Naruto couldn't stand it and let out a soft laugh. The atmosphere seemed to be calm and warm, it seemed as if they were not on a high-ranking mission. This disconcerted Tsunami and Tazuna, but they did not complain. It was good to lighten the atmosphere from time to time, especially when it was always tense. The little Inari was strangely observing the interaction between everyone. He observed the bandages that were on the Uchiha's hands, and those that covered Sakura. He unconsciously clenched his fists and tears began to appear in his eyes. But why? Inari's words caused everyone at the table to look at him. What's wrong, kid? Menma asked. Inari slammed his hands on the table, causing the plates to wobble. All those stupid trainings, they're of no use. They're a waste of time. Gato has an entire army, he'll defeat them easily, then he's going to kill them, as if they were nothing more than ants. Inari's tears fell. All those words of hope that you have said these days, they mean nothing. No matter what they do, the strong always wins, and the weak always loses. Speak for yourself, kid, those things don't suit me, Menma said arrogantly. Hey, Inari. Naruto was about to speak, however he was interrupted by the boy. Why don't you guys just shut up? You two are the ones that make me the most angry, just seeing you makes me sick. You don't know anything. You don't understand what we're going through, they are just nosy people. You the retard, you are always joking or you maintain an arrogant attitude, as if you were above everyone. Do you think you are so important? You're nothing more than a stupid tomato. You could tell for miles that Menma had gotten angry because of that. And you, the black-haired one, you really make me angry. You are always calm and serene, as if you have everything under control, as if you don't worry about anything. I bet you don't know what it feels like to lose a loved one. You will never feel that pain. Naruto's gaze darkened. Kiyomi and Sasuke also lowered their gaze. Even the black-haired girl began to shed small tears, which she quickly wiped away. Menma got up from his seat furious. He was really upset. He didn't like being humiliated, especially a little boy who thinks he knows a lot. He was Menma Uzumaki Namikaze, and no one teased him or called him tomato. Now you're going to listen to me, little boy, Menma said, his voice sounding a little hoarser. Shit, Kakashi and Kushina thought, alarmed, but before they could take a step, Naruto disappeared and appeared in front of Menma. Calm down, Menma said Naruto. Move away, Uchiha, said Menma. You want to hurt that child, right? You want to see him suffer. I wouldn't let anyone insult me. Oh, that's unacceptable. Kill him, hurt him. I know you want to. A really dark voice and horror sounded in Menma's head. I said move away, Menma whispered. Menma's nails began to grow, while his eyes turned red with a slanted pupil, like that of a feline. Menma looked carefully at Naruto, who was surprised to see Menma's eyes. I have to do something, if not. Naruto unconsciously activated his Sharingan and looked directly at Menma. I must stop him, he thought. From one moment to the next everything went black. Menma mind. Menma was in a kind of really gigantic room. The height of the room was so high that you couldn't even see the ceiling. Behind him was a large cage, made up of 2 doors with bars that had a roll in the center. Stuck with the kanji for seal. From the cage, a kind of bubbling liquid began to overflow and head towards Menma. The liquid began to take on color and look thicker each time. The strange substance began to group together and gain volume and height. The liquid continued to gather until it took the shape of the head of an orange fox. The head was large, however, the bubbly texture still did not disappear. The head of the fox grew 2 blood-red eyes with a slit pupil, while a mouth with sharp teeth appeared, transforming in a macabre smile. Haha, laughed his head. I see you're angry. I like that. Menma didn't say a single word. It seems that in this situation you don't have anything to say either, huh? How about you continue advancing and kill the little brat who insulted you? Menma still didn't say anything. And by the way, I will give you power so that you can surpass that Uchiha child. Menma opened his eyes slightly. You like that, don't you? Since you were little you have been envious of him, envious of his power and talent. Well, what do you think of the idea of finally surpassing him by far? Menma nodded softly, almost motorized. Well, you just have to accept me, take my power, and we will do what we want. After all, there will be no one who can beat us. Menma started to turn around. You are already mine, I will soon get my freedom. Menma was about to join his hand with the tip of the fox's head, however a hand stopped him. I wouldn't do that if I were you, said Naruto. What are you doing here? Menma shouted. Drrrrrr, he dot dot ha 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 ha. The Kyuubi started to laugh. I really hate Uchiha's, said the Kyuubi. So you are the Kyuubi, said Naruto. That's how it is, I guess it's nice to meet you. Hey, how the hell are you on my mind? Menma said. Isn't he obvious, idiot? Said the Kyuubi, annoyed. It's all the fault of those damn eyes. The Kyuubi exuded some contempt. You mean the Sharingan? What else would I mean by cursed eyes? I see, after all, you hate them because they controlled you with them, I'm sure of that. After all, the one who is locked up for so long would appreciate his freedom more than anything. It must be frustrating, the fact that not being free, no living being deserves that. You said it, but I don't understand. What are you doing here? I don't know, I just appeared here when I looked into Menma's eyes, I just wanted to stop him. I see, your eyes gave you access to enter Menma's mental space. Ha, really, that Sharingan is the worst. I know you hold a grudge against him, but it's my family's bloodline. I don't like it when you insult it left and right, said Naruto, somewhat annoyed. Ha. And what are you supposed to do to me? I don't know, maybe you can control yourself, the Kyuubi growled. Or what would you say if I started insulting your dear brothers, those war machines? You better watch your mouth, you damn brat. That's the problem, Kyuubi. You insult my family and I put up with it, I insult yours, and you think you have the right to yell at me that way? Maybe you've never heard the phrase, the one who gives receives. Damn you, how dare you talk to me that way? Don't you know that I can destroy you just by stepping on you, said the Kyuubi, annoyed. And I can control you with a look. Naruto's Sharingan shines. Kyuubi growled. Listen, Kyuubi, I know very well that you must feel bad, after all I know that you also have feelings. DSK, I only feel hatred and disgust for you, there is no other feeling that a tailed beast can feel, Kyuubi. You're not fooling me. I can see. Naruto focused his Sharingan on the Kyuubi's eyes. I can see all the hate, fury and resentment you feel, but I can also see the sadness, but you don't just feel feelings. Negative, or at least, you have not always felt them. Yin and yang are always present, where there is something specific, the opposite also exists. The fox opened his eyes. You too, you can feel happiness, there is something in you besides hate. The Kyuubi couldn't stop his jaw from opening a little, but he closed it slowly and managed to listen to the boy in front of him. Haven't you considered the idea of? Naruto finally let go of Menma's hand, feeling more emotions for the first time in so many years. The Kyuubi began to look the boy in the eyes. For the first time, he could see a Sharingan without hunger for power and without willingness to control it, although of course, very few Sharingan users can control it, it takes great willpower. Unlike the others, I don't see the Bijuas as dangerous or beasts for no reason. You are alive, you can talk, from what I can deduce that you have a conscience, and also, you feel hatred, from what I can deduce. Deduce that you can also feel love, said Naruto, remembering the lesson his mother gave him before she died. Where are the other humans like you? The Kyuubi murmured. That? Nothing really, said the Kyuubi. I can't imagine that you're so different from the others. Meanwhile, Menma couldn't fit into the conversation. He was still in shock because Naruto was able to enter his mind. Naruto reached out his hand, touching the tip of the Kyuubi's nose while deactivating his Sharingan. I am not going to control you, even though I have suffered in my life. I cannot understand the pain that you had, being separated from your family and seeing how they used them as weapons against their will and being locked up by so long. I know you're immortal, but even anyone gets bored when they're locked up without having fun, right? The Kyuubi and Naruto laughed. Suddenly, the mass of liquid that made up the Kyuubi's head began to retreat until it returned to the darkness of the cage. Suddenly, in the darkness, the Kyuubi's red eyes appeared, which were approaching. The Kyuubi approached the end of the cell and showed his true form. It was a giant dark red fox. It seemed to have a human torso, however its hind legs did look like those of a fox, its front legs also looked like human arms, even its hands were almost human, but the large claws distinguished it. Behind him, 9 tails swayed from side to side. Wow, you really are amazing. Enough of the flattery. I am the yin half of the Kyuubi, and you are the first human in my life with whom I have engaged in a civilized conversation, and I want to thank you with something. You can really show more emotions, you've earned some of my trust, so tell me, do you have a summoning contract? Well, being an Uchiha I can use the crows, however it is not a summoning contract itself, so no. Very well. The Kyuubi put his hands together and suddenly, chakra began to materialize. In front of the Kyuubi a large scroll appeared, which was directed towards Naruto. What's your name, boy? Naruto Uchiha. Very well, Naruto Uchiha, you have earned some of my trust, and also, you have shown me that there are more things that humans can give, so, I give you the honor of signing the Fox contract. What? Are you serious? That's how it is, don't you think you're giving me too much for just one conversation? Don't worry, some will say it's pointless, but for me, it's like trying something different after years and years of monotony, well, if you agree. Naruto picked up the royo that was in front of him and then opened it. He realized that there were many blank spaces. He went to the first blank space. What to do? Write your name and blood in the first blank space. After writing it, spread blood on each of your fingers on your right hand and simply put them under your name. Naruto bit his right finger causing blood to flow from it. He wrote his name and then spread his blood over the tips of his fingers. Then he placed his fingers on the palm, causing the blood to stay there. Alright, Naruto Uchiha, you are officially the first summoner of the foxes. Use them wisely and treat them like family. I can't help but feel excited, Naruto said happily. Now, copy these seals with your Sharingan, said the Kyuubi. Naruto activated his Sharingan and copied the seals that the Kyuubi made. Wild boar, dog, monkey, bird, ram. I imagine those are the seals of the summoning jutsu. Yes, but you have to go now, believe it or not, in reality only a few seconds have passed. You still have to teach that little brat a lesson, yes, but I will do it in a more subtle way. You have to admit, he suffered a tragedy at such a young age. He is not that different from me. Yes it is, unlike you, he just stood crying without even trying to change. You are completely different. And I have to admit, you are a pretty interesting human. I can't believe that stupid Yondaime decided to seal me in that idiot. Read instead of you, the Kyuubi growled. Hey, I'm listening to you, you stupid furball. And I wanted you to listen to me, stupid tomato. It is an honor to hear that the Kyuubi would have liked to be sealed in me, one moment to be sealed in me. Naruto thought. Kyuubi, can I tell you something? Naruto said. Forward Naruto began to approach the Kyuubi's cage. After that, he entered the cage and approached the figure of the giant fox. It's a secret, it's so that Menma doesn't hear us. The Kyuubi understood and lowered his head to put his ear next to Naruto. I am level 10 of Fuinjutsu, and now I have a new idea. The only thing I will tell you is that you may go from being sealed in Menma to being sealed in me. The Kyuubi opened his eyes wide. Are you sure you can do that? Of course, I'm a Fuinjutsu master, and when you're at level 10, the only limit is your imagination, and it's not to be arrogant, but I'm a prodigy, I'm sure I can do it. I guess. Naruto began to walk away from the Kyuubi until he left the cage. Suddenly Naruto's body began to lose clarity. I guess it's time for me to go, after all, this is not my mind. By the way Kyuubi Kyuubi is just a nickname that humans gave you, could you tell me your real name? Haha, you are a clever boy, but don't think so, I still don't have enough confidence to give you my name, and even if I wanted to give it to you, the retarded fool is still here, you know. Menma growled. Okay, I guess that's fair, it's time to go, I hope one day we'll meet again. Yeah, Naruto's vision went black until suddenly. Everyone at the table was too surprised, even Kakashi's only visible eye was wide open. The Kyuubi's chakra began to manifest in Menma when suddenly Naruto appeared in front of him and looked Menma in the eyes with her Sharingan. The two remained paralyzed for a few seconds until the Kyuubi's chakra began to recede. Did Naruto restrict the Kyuubi's chakra? Mito asked. So it seems, Kushina said. Everyone watched as Naruto began to blink while Menma began to stagger. When Menma recovered, she screamed. You were on my mind. This is not the time to shout, Menma said Naruto. All of you are very strange, Inari said when she began to leave the room, wiping away her tears. Naruto grabbed Inari by the shoulder. I would like to talk to you for a moment, said Naruto when he disappeared into Shunshin with Inari. He disappeared, said Tazuna, worried about his grandson. He won't do anything to Inari, right? Tsunami asked, worried about her son. Don't worry, the last thing Naruto would do to Inari would be hit him, Kakashi reassured the family. With Naruto and Inari. Naruto and Inari appeared on a small hill from which they could see the wave village. What are you going to do to me? Inari asked. Naruto just sat down and looked carefully at the town. Inari, a little suspicious, sat next to Naruto. I'm so sorry for what you've had to go through, Naruto said. You would never understand, Inari said with revulsion. Inari, you must understand something, the ninja world is not a soft and pretty world. Day by day, many ninjas lose their loved ones due to different circumstances, even the ninjas themselves die to protect them. Inari listened attentively. Let me tell you something, in Konoha I am part of a clan, the Uchiha clan, and when I refer to clan, I love to refer to it as a family, although of course, I had my father, my mother and my brother, you understand. Why are you telling me that? Because like you, I lost many loved ones at the age of 5, I discovered that my father had died on a difficult mission, my mother died in front of me when I was only 6 years old, and finally at the age of 7 my brother and my clan were murdered by one of my best friends, and if that were not enough, he put me in an illusion where I saw how he murdered them. For 3 days in a row, Naruto Sharingan activated for a moment, but then deactivated. Inari looked at Naruto in amazement. How did you get over that? Well, I knew that my family wouldn't have liked to see me like this, well, my brother would have beaten me, plus I had my friends who survived, they are the boy and the black-haired girl. Oh really? That's right, Sasuke became my best friend forever, he understands me better than anyone, and we always train together, it's like a relationship of friendship and rivalry, but very good, Kiyomi was always a very sweet and active girl, the opposite to the two of us, she always supported me in everything, and was always there for me, honestly. I don't know what would have happened to me without her. Naruto's cheeks turned a little red, Inari noticed this, Naruto noticed it. Well, you know. I don't know what would have happened to me without them too, but what I want to tell you is that your grandfather, Tazuna, told me what happened, Kaiser really was a hero, and you can't tell me that heroes they don't exist, after all, anyone who does good for others without asking for anything in return is a hero, tell me something, do you think Kaiser would like to see you as you are now? And no, not at all, Inari said crestfallen. Inari, you must open your eyes, have a little empathy, many people have suffered, you are not the only one who suffers in this world, and if you love this town so much, then protect it and fight for it, I know you can go further. Beyond staying silent and crying, you have to be strong, after all you are Kaiser's son, the hero of the wave, right? Inari opened her eyes wide, tears began to appear again. Hey, don't cry, I already told you, you have to be strong. Yes, thank you Naruto Naiha. No one has ever called me that before. That's wrong. No, don't worry, call me whatever you want. That's how you felt, right? Shisui. Come, you have to apologize to the others, yeah, in the house of Tazuna. They're taking a little while, don't worry. Tsunami-san. Naruto and Inari appeared in Shunshin. Hello, said Naruto with a smile. Before you say anything, Inari has something to tell us. Inari looked uncertainly at Naruto, who gave him a serene smile to reassure him. I am very sorry Shinobi-san, I let myself be carried away by my emotions, but now I have learned that I must control myself and think about things better. I am sorry for having told you that you do not understand the pain, now I know that you more than anyone can endure it, I humbly ask you, please help our people and defeat Geto please. Inari bowed. Everyone at the table stared at Inari, who looked up timidly, but calmed down when she saw that everyone was giving her a smile. Don't worry Inari, we forgive you, Kushina said. Thank you very much, really, said Inari, holding back tears. Kiyomi and Mito approached the little boy to hug him and tell him that they would take care of him. Tsunami approached Naruto. Thank you very much, Naruto, I haven't seen it like that in a while, Tsunami said very happily. It's no big deal, I didn't know you were good with kids, Sasuke said. Every day one discovers more, said Naruto. Naruto looked at Menma, who was looking directly at him. Menma's eyes turned into the Kyuubi's for a moment and then returned to normal in less than a second. At that moment Naruto remembered the Kyuubi's gift. I guess it's time to discover my new family, Naruto thought. Also we have to be ready for Zabuza's return. Things in the land of waves were going well. First of all, Naruto, Sasuke and Kiyomi had already mastered the Chidori. The thing is that the Chidori was a murder technique and Sasuke and Kiyomi had not yet killed someone. Which means that the first time they use the technique, it will be to kill someone, however, Naruto was confident that they would be ready. Mito and Menma had been training as well, however Menma still had problems with Naruto's entry into his mind, it had baffled him to the core of himself. Meanwhile, Mito had had contact with his part of the Kyuubi, the yang half. The half of myth was less patient than the yin half, in addition to being more aggressive and holding much more hatred. However, this half learned of the conversation that the yin half had with Naruto, which made him calm down a little, so he contacted its bearer to tell her about the conversation. Now with Sakura, well, it's improved somewhat, or at least that's what it's supposed to be, it wouldn't be such a hindrance anymore, I think. Location. Country of Waves, House of Tazuna. Sunrise. The sun is too annoying, but thanks to it we are alive. The dawn star rose over the dawn to usher in a new day. The sun's rays surpassed the blinds on the windows of Tazuna's house. A certain black-haired man received the extension of the direct sun on his face, causing him to grimace and then open his eyes. You really are annoying, but since Naruto murmured. The sun's rays crashed into the faces of the other people in the house, causing each one to wake up and start a new day. Good morning, Sasuke said, catching Naruto's attention. Good morning, he returned the greeting. The boys slept in the living room with different sleeping bags, which came sealed in rolls. Good morning, Menma, said Naruto. Whatever, the Redeed murmured. Well, I guess it's time to start the day. Naruto touched his sleeping bag so that it disappeared in an explosion of smoke, indicating that it was sealed again. Sasuke jumped up while stretching. Naruto touched Sasuke's sack, which also resealed itself. Menma, get up so I can seal your bag, said Naruto. I want you to force me, said Menma challenger. You see. Naruto sighed and touched Menma's sack, which sealed, making Menma hit the ground. Hey. Calm down now, we have to get up. It took a while until everyone was awake and ready to have breakfast. Well, almost everyone, after all. Naruto, Mito, Menma and Kushina wouldn't eat to save food. After eating, Naruto went outside to stretch a little. After a while, Sasuke and Kiyomi came out to find a sitting Naruto. The two brothers sat next to him. "How much do you think?" the girl asked. "Guys, you know about the myth and Menma condition, right?" "Yes," the two brothers responded. "When Menma lost control against Inari, I had the opportunity to talk to the Kyuubi. After a conversation, let's say I gained some of his trust, and he gave me a gift." "Really? Receiving a gift from the Kyuubi must be great," Kiyomi said. "That's right, but I can't use this gift in a bad way. It's the first time I'm going to use it, so I'm going to head towards the forest to avoid problems. So what do you say, will you accompany me?" "Sure, let's go," Sasuke said. Naruto, Sasuke and Kiyomi headed towards the forest. They found a small clearing in which they settled. "Alright, show us your new gift," said Sasuke. Naruto bit his thumb, causing blood to flow. He spread the blood over his right hand and performed the hand seals. Ninpo. Kuchius no Jutsu. A small explosion of smoke appeared next to Naruto. The smoke dispersed, showing the figure of a small light gray fox. Its small ears had small silver sparkles, green eyes. Behind it, a small tail swung. It had the same gray color with a silver tip. The little fox shook his head and then scratched his little ear and looked around. "I'm sure I shouldn't be here," said the little fox. The fox looked around, realizing that he was surrounded by three people who were looking at him with different expressions. There were two boys who looked at him with their eyes somewhat open, as if they were surprised, while there was a girl who looked at him with eyes that were too bright, it almost seemed like she was throwing stars. "Who are you?" said the little fox. Naruto snapped out of his stupor to look at the little fox in front of him. "Hello little friend, I'm Naruto," he said, pointing. "Wait a minute, I appeared here out of nowhere, that means did you summon me?" the little fox asked. He seemed to be a little excited. Yes, I'm the new summoner of the foxes," he said with a friendly smile. "Great." The fox jumped with happiness. "This is the first time you have summoned me, or at least, I am the first fox that has been summoned. This is a great honor." The fox sounded very excited. Hey, could you tell me your name?" Naruto asked. "Ah, that's right, my name is Kyren, the second son of the chief of the foxes," said the little boy, introducing himself. "Wait, fox boss." "That's right, each summoning race has a boss, who could be said to be the strongest and most qualified member of all," Kyren explained. "I see. Hey. Could you tell me what functions you foxes have?" "Well, you see, we can help you in many ways, except for one-tailed foxes like me, because as you see, I am still too small to help you with anything. With two tails, foxes get different professions. You could call them that. Two-tailed foxes are messenger foxes. They are fast, and I guess you already know what they do. Three-tailed foxes are medical foxes. They specialize in medical ninjutsu. They can heal minor wounds to serious, but they cannot help you with diseases. The four- and five-tailed foxes are spy foxes. They are generally smaller and are super stealthy. They can help you with espionage missions. The six- and seven-tailed foxes are assault foxes and accompaniment. These foxes can help you in battles. They know ninjutsu and are usually a little smaller than you. Wow, they're big, Naruto pressed. Finally, there are the eight-tailed foxes. They are very few. I think there are only three. The strongest of them is my father, the leader of the foxes. I must admit that I am surprised. Foxes are very good at helping." "Wait a minute, Naruto, you have the contract with the foxes. That means that Kyren stopped short when he remembered that Naruto was accompanied. "Don't worry, they know about the Kyuubi. They are trustworthy," Naruto reassured Kyren. "Well, then it means that the Kyuubi gave you his permission. That's how it is. Great, although I don't understand how you could have talked to him. I'll tell you later." "Old man, what the hell?" Sasuke whispered. "Oh wow, I had forgotten for a moment that he was here. Well, you see, he is Kyren, and apparently it was my first summon," said Naruto, moving away so that they could see the little fox better. "Hello, I'm Kyren," said the fox with a smile. "Oh. You're so cute." Kiyomi couldn't take it anymore and hugged the little fox. "Hey, what are you doing?" asked the fox. "You're like a little stuffed animal," said the girl. "I am not a stuffed animal, I am the future head of the Fox clan." "Oh, how beautiful, what a great dream you have." Oh, Naruto looked at the scene in front of him with amusement. "Well, Kyren, it's time you have to go and warn the other foxes about the new summoner. I'm sorry, but before that you must gain the trust of the fox chief, so you will have to summon him. Okay, I can summon him now." "I don't think so, my father is the size of more or less a Biju." "That's too much," said Naruto, surprised. "It's great, I'm excited to be as strong as him." "Surely you will achieve it, but remember that it is not achieved just by wanting it. You also have to put effort into it." Kyren completed Naruto's sentence. "You used the same phrases as my father." He said something funny. It's good to know that your father has such thought," said Naruto, smiling. "I have no time to waste. I will summon the chief of the foxes when it is night," Naruto thought. "Well, it's time to go. I'll tell father about you. I hope you can summon him soon. It will be sooner than you think," Naruto whispered to Kyren, who smiled. "Alright, goodbye," said Kyren, who disappeared in a small explosion of smoke. That was so cool. You say it, now you have a great summon, Sasuke said. Hey, don't complain, I was the one who stood in front of the strongest Biju of all, said Naruto. Yes, I imagine you were too scared, Kiyomi said mockingly. Hey, the mere presence of the Kyuubi would send any Chunin running, it's a great achievement that I didn't wet myself with him in front of me, said Naruto. Haha. Yes, you're right, brave man, Kiyomi said. The three Uchihas returned to Tazuna's house, where today they would have to accompany him to build the bridge, while Team 7 would stay in the house protecting Inari and Tsunami. Time. 11:53, at night. Currently everyone in Tazuna's house was asleep, except for a certain Uchiha boy, who was getting up from his sleeping bag slowly, as usual, he was sleeping in the living room with the other Genin boys, because there was not enough space in the room. The Tazuna house for everyone, Naruto approached a window and opened it carefully, the window opened without making any noise, allowing Naruto to exit through it without anyone noticing. Once outside the house, he closed the window outside, and then did a shunshin, teleporting to a place in the forest. Naruto deduced that he was still a relatively close distance from Tazuna's house, so he went much further into the forest. After a certainly long walk, Naruto was already really far from the house and the town, so he prepared for what he was going to do. Naruto bit his thumb and then spread the blood over his right hand, tracing the seals of the summoning jutsu. Naruto slammed his hand into the ground, causing kanji to spread across the ground. This time Naruto applied more chakra to the jutsu. A gigantic explosion of smoke appeared in the middle of the forest. The smoke began to disperse, showing the figure of a gigantic light gray fox. It had blue eyes, behind it, 8 tails moved calmly, the tips of its tails they maintained a white color. At his waist he wore a belt from which hung a large katana. He was wearing a battle haori which was open, it was blue. The fox looked around, remaining calm when he saw that there was no danger. His son had warned him that there was a new bearer of the fox contract, so someone had earned some of the Kyuubi's trust. The fox felt someone who was above his head, he deduced that it was his summoner. Naruto was taken by surprise thanks to the large explosion of smoke. After it dispersed he would realize that he was in the head of a large fox with characteristics similar to Kairon, due to its gray fur, although Kairon's was darker. Before my eyes, summoner Naruto heard the fox. Naruto jumped off his head and landed on the tip of the fox's snout. The great chief of the foxes would observe his new summoner. A boy of about 14 years old, but tall for his age. Apparently he was not wearing a battle suit, he was wearing a black short-sleeved shirt with gray pants that reached his ankles, and he was barefoot. Black hair with faint hints of blue at the ends, coal black eyes. Nice to meet you, head of the foxes, I am Naruto, candidate for summoner. Naruto congratulated himself for quickly improvising a presentation. I see, I'll be direct with you, what do you think about the summoning of the foxes? Your son told me a lot about the clan, and I must admit that I am impressed. You foxes are great company. Stop there, huh, did I say something wrong? Did you say company? Yeah, tell me the reason for considering us a company. I cannot observe anyone as if they were a tool to increase my power or my arsenal. You foxes are living beings. I cannot treat you as objects that I can use to my advantage. You are not tools, you are fellow shinobis, great and peculiar shinobi companions, comrades tell. Your name boy, Naruto Uchiha sir, and Uchiha, and he is not hungry for power, just as the Kyuubi painted them, thought the great fox. The fox looked into Naruto's eyes searching for signs of lying, to no avail. Naruto Uchiha, you have proven to have the thoughts of someone worthy, there is only the last test left, look straight into my eyes. The Kyuubi has granted me the ability to see your worst memories. If you are able to endure the test and stay firm in the face of your fears and continue with determination, you will be completely worthy. Naruto would not back down, he would prove that he was strong, and if this was the way, he would do it. Naruto would look into the eyes of the great fox, he would be trapped by the ability granted by the Kyuubi. Naruto would go through his worst memories, the death of his mother, the death of the clan, the torture by Itachi, the thousands of times he saw his brother die. He would go through a series of illusions, he would see Itachi killing Sasuke and Kiyomi, without being able to do anything. Would see all his loved ones die in front of him, without him being able to do anything, just like what happened with Shisui. Shit, Naruto would whisper. That was his worst fear, not being able to protect what he wants, feeling helpless, feeling useless, feeling that he is not able to do anything for those he loves, feeling the pain of losing someone another time. Naruto's Sharingan activated, it shone bright red. Suddenly, the tomos began to spin aggressively, showing the pattern of Naruto's Manjikyu. Naruto's mind was about to cease due to mental fatigue, however, Naruto remembered something. I'm so proud of you, I've seen what you're capable of. See through deception, see through things, be a great shinobi, trust yourself. Oka-san, Naruto whispered, he had remembered the sweet words that his mother recited to him. Nai-san and Oka-san trust me, I can't let them down. Odo-san also trusted me, even before I was born, I'm not going to let them down. I am Naruto Uchiha Senju. Naruto's Manjikyu turned off, while the illusions disappeared, Naruto found himself in a completely black space. Nare the word echoed throughout the space, suddenly everything turned white, showing the figure of Tenshiro Senju, Itomi Uchiha and Shisui Uchiha Oka-san, Nai-san, Odo-san. Naruto was about to say something else. Well done, said Tenshiro. That's my little brother, Shisui said with a smile. Itomi would approach Naruto, placing her hands on the little Uchiha's cheeks. Keep it up, Naru. Naruto only managed to nod. After that, Naruto was suddenly transported back to reality. The giant fox would see a small tear come out of Naruto's eye, however, it showed no signs of breaking, but rather, it was as if it was keeping itself under control. Naruto Uchiha, you have proven yourself worthy enough to take the Fox clan to your side. Any person would have broken down at the worst memories that their mind holds, even most would have fainted, but you have demonstrated that you can go further, and that you are capable of moving forward, despite the darkness that you keep. Thank you very much. This core, that's my name, sure, thanks. Very well, from now on you can summon the foxes with confidence. I suppose Kyron told you about us. To summon the fox you need, you just have to think about the type of fox you want, while summoning core clarified. I see, said Naruto. Well, I'm leaving. Core disappeared in an explosion of smoke that quickly dissipated. Naruto fell from a great height but was able to land on his feet. Maybe I can stay and train a little, but I'll go closer to the house, so you don't worry. After that, Naruto went back to the forest near the house, and there he trained all night. Well, this experience had kept him awake. Time: 6:02 in the morning. The sun was rising once again over the horizon. Naruto was lying on the ground somewhat tired. After training a little, sleep had returned to his body, and he decided to rest. However, around him there were burned trees, and some they had holes. It shows that he had trained his Kaiten jutsus, in addition to performing the Chidori a few more times. A thin figure was walking near Naruto. When he appeared, neither of them had realized his proximity. The new presence was wearing a pink kimono, with red details and a print of small black spirals. He was wearing a colored band, white, tying his waist. The figure's skin was light, and in simple clothes it seemed very soft, long, straight black hair that reached down to her back, 2 strands framing her face, chocolate-colored eyes. She was carrying a basket where you could see plants and flowers. The figure looked at the boy who was lying on the ground. He looked at the destruction that surrounded him and sensed that the boy had been training. He approached him and crouched down next to him, stretching out his hand to place it on his face. However, the boy grabbed her hand even with his eyes closed. Naruto felt the presence of someone. He immediately put his body on the defensive and was able to grab the hand of that presence. He opened his eyes, seeing what seemed to be a girl who looked at him with curiosity and surprise. "Hey, what were you planning?" Naruto asked a question. "Oh, nothing in particular, I just wanted to wake you up. If you keep sleeping on the floor you might catch a cold." "I see. Who are you?" "Isn't it rude to ask someone's name without giving yours?" "Okay, I'm Naruto, and you?" "I'm Haku, nice to meet you," he said with a smile. "I see you've been training. If so, I want to become stronger." "What is your reason for becoming strong?" "Well, you see, there are certain people I want to protect, and I also have a goal, but it's something personal." "I see, after all you are a shinobi. You know, I also have a person to protect. In fact, she is currently somewhat injured. That's why I am collecting medicinal plants," he said, pointing to his basket. "I believe that people take their maximum power when they have to protect those they love." "I agree." Naruto and Haku stayed talking a little more. Along the way he helped Haku collect more plants until Naruto decided to leave because he had to get home. He just hoped they were still asleep. "Well, Haku, I have to go now." "Me too. Oh, and by the way, I'm a man," he said with a smile. "Anyone who knows how to notice the beauty that you carry would know that you are a woman. In addition, you wear bandages on your breast so that they are not noticeable." You discovered me," he said with a very small blush. It was just out of shame. "Well, goodbye, I hope to see you again. By the way, tell Zabuza to get better." Haku tensed upon hearing those words, quickly took out senbon from a pocket and got into a battle pose. "How did you discover me?" she asked seriously. "Your presence is equal to that of the ninja hunter who saved Zabuza. My intuition led me to think that you are the one who saved him. After all, you have a friend to heal, so I decided to throw the bomb, and well, judging by your reaction I think I got it right." Haku prepared to throw the senbon towards Naruto, however she was paralyzed thanks to the boy's red eyes with Tomos. "I wouldn't do that if I were you," said Naruto with his Sharingan active. "For now I will leave in peace, since it is not the time to fight. However, I will be waiting for our battle, and listen to something. If it is necessary to kill Zabuza, I will do it, understood?" Haku didn't respond. "See you later," said Naruto, disappearing in a shunshin. At home, Naruto entered through the same window, realizing that Menma and Sasuke were still sleeping. He entered quietly and closed the window. "Ugh, thank goodness, I thought someone had noticed. Where were you, Naruto-kun?" A female voice rang. It was Kiyomi. "Shit," Naruto whispered. "Well, look, remember how I said I had to summon the head of the foxes? Don't tell me you summoned him near the town." "No, I went too far away." "How far away did you go?" I think it's very nice that you care so much about me, Naruto said, amused. There was a somewhat awkward silence. Naruto watched with amusement as a blush grew on Kiyomi's face. "I idiot," said Kiyomi, turning her head. "Hey lovebird," Sasuke had gotten up, "will you stop that already?" He said, irritated. "It's okay," said Naruto. It took a while until everyone was awake. This time it was Team 11's turn to watch over Tazuna, so Team 7 would have time to train. Meanwhile, the bridge is advancing rapidly, even though many people had given up because of it. Afraid that Gato would chase them, however, Mito and Menma, who had the ability to create too many clones, helped Tazuna to build it quickly. Naruto this time decided to go to the town to see how things are going. He was accompanied by Sasuke, who decided to accompany him in case something happened. Kiyomi had stayed with Team 11. Naruto and Sasuke observed the deplorable state of the town. It was somewhat depressing. There were many people in the streets, the homes were worn out, there were people begging for alms, and hungry children lying in alleys. Naruto felt his pants being pulled. He turned his head, realizing that the one calling him was a little girl holding the hand of an even smaller boy. The girl stretched out her hand towards Naruto. "This sir, could you help us, we are hungry." Naruto had a sad look. Normally he didn't carry food with him. This was really hitting him right in the heart. He saw a store in the distance. "Wait for me here, little ones," Naruto said, disappearing in a blur. Only Sasuke was able to follow him. After a while, Naruto reappeared, this time with a bag of bread. "Here," Naruto said with a smile. "Thank you sir," said the girl with a smile. "That was very good," Sasuke said with a smile, placing his hand on Naruto's shoulder. "Yes, do you know something, that bag of bread was worth too much more than normal. That man scammed you," Sasuke said. "Yes, but because he was desperate, he also has a daughter to take care of. When you have to protect someone, you go to certain extremes that you never thought you would go to. I guess you're right." Naruto and Sasuke continued walking until they ran into a situation. Please leave him alone." The woman screamed. "Shut up now," said a man, hitting the woman. The man who hit the woman turned his gaze towards two men who looked like thugs who hit a third pin to the ground. "So do you already have the money for the cat?" said one of the thugs who hit his foot on the man's head. "And no, but it's because I can't pay it. It's too much money, and Gato has done nothing but take away our chances of winning it. What's the point of that?" said the man desperately. "Well, if you don't have the money to pay us, I guess Cat would like us to bring your wife to him," said another thug, crouching down to the height of the man on the ground. Don't you dare touch her," said the man with all his strength. "Oh yeah? And what are you supposed to do, huh?" said the bully mockingly. "Hey, pick up the woman, maybe Cat will let us have fun with her too," said the bully, speaking to his partner, the one who hit the woman. The man approached the woman who was getting up, grabbing her cheek. "Gee, get away from me," said the terrified woman. "Come, don't make this more difficult," said the bully with a macabre smile. "Please someone help," the woman screamed, breaking into tears. The thug was about to touch the woman when a strong kick landed on the thug's stomach, which doubled over from the blow. Naruto grabbed his head and hit his face with his knee, breaking his nose. The two thugs who had the man on the ground stood up. "Hey, what do you think, you're a brat?" The two bullies addressed Naruto, however Sasuke appeared in the middle of the two. The black-haired man jumped and kicked the two bullies in the face, who grabbed his face in pain. Naruto did not give them time to rest as he landed a fist on the stomach of one of the bullies who spat saliva. Sasuke dodged a blow of the missing bully by landing a blow on his chin, knocking him out. "Hey, leave these people alone," Naruto said with a serious tone. Sasuke stood next to him. "DSK, insolent boy," said the bully, picking up his two companions. "You'll see, they will regret having done this, they will bring out the cat's anger." "You better get out, you're exhausting my patience," said Naruto, activating his Sharingan. Sasuke also activated his. He was starting to hate these people. The bully left there scared, however Naruto had an idea. Naruto bit his thumb, making the seals of the summoning jutsu. Kuchius no jutsu. "Please give me a spy fox." A very small explosion of smoke from which a small black fox with whitish tips appeared. The fox kept a small scarf around his neck. He had dark blue eyes. Behind him, 5 tails swung calmly. The fox looked around, finding his new summoner. "So it's you, nice to meet you, Naruto-sama. I'm Kuro, a spy fox," said the little fox, introducing himself. "Oh hello," Naruto said, extending his arm, making the fox jump and land on it. "Well Kuro, I have a job for you," the fox nodded. "Do you see those 3 guys over there?" said Naruto, pointing to the 3 thugs. "I need you to follow them and find out things about our enemy, a man they call Cat. I understand that he is a short man, and he's always wearing sunglasses, and if possible, collect information about our next opponents, a man named Zabuza and a girl named Haku, understand? If you follow those 3 guys, I'm sure you'll reach the cat's lair." "Understood Naruto-sama," Kuro said. The little fox disappeared in a blur of speed. "I see, you plan to find out more about our enemy," said Sasuke. I need to find out when Zabuza will attack so we can anticipate it, Naruto answered. Thank you very much for helping us, Shinobi-san, said the woman whom they defended. Thank you very much guys, I really appreciate it, said the man. Yes, don't worry, Sasuke responded with a smile. 1 week later. Naruto's spy fox had returned about 2 days ago, and Naruto had to admit that he did a really splendid job. Kuro had discovered when Zabuza would attack, and if that were not enough, he discovered that Haku had a bloodline, the element ice, Hyoten, and that she was very good with that element. Another thing she discovered was that Zabuza and Haku would be accompanied by another renegade ninja. It was Aoi Rakusho, a former leaf ninja who had stolen a great treasure of the village, the Raijin no Ken, Sword of the Thunder God, a creation of the Nidaime Hokage, Tabarama Senju. But perhaps the biggest revelation was that Cat planned to betray Zabuza once he completed his job or not. However, they could not say if they would be able to convince Zabuza, after all they had no evidence other than their words. Naruto congratulated Kuro and sent him back to the foxes. Now they had to prepare for the final battle against Zabuza, who would attack today. Izuna, Tsunami and Inari had to admit that watching a ninja prepare was a somewhat gloomy landscape. There were kunai and shurikens organized, Naruto and Kushina sharpened their swords, while the others stretched a little. After that, Team 7 and 11 along with Tazuna would leave for the bridge, which was almost finished. Tazuna only had to defeat Zabuza one more time, and thus Tazuna would finish his bridge. Naruto had left a shadow clone hidden in case something happened to Inari and Tsunami, who would be left defenseless in his house. After a walk, the Konoha teams arrived at the bridge, which was infested by fog, a sign that Zabuza was lurking. Haha, we meet again, Konoha ninja, Zabuza's voice echoed throughout the bridge. The figure of the renegade came into view. He was still wearing his leg and arm warmers, however, he was now wearing a sleeveless black full bodysuit, in addition to the bandages that covered half of his face now falling towards him. His shoulders. At his side, the hunter ninja who had saved him appeared with his mask on. The fog dispersed a little more, showing a thin man with green hair that fell to both sides, purple eyes, wearing a sleeveless full bodysuit. Dark blue with lilac edges, he wore a kind of glove on his left hand, while on his right he wore a longer fingerless glove. On his back he carried a kind of umbrella, while on his waist, he wore a colored handle. Black with a strange shape, it was Aoi Rakusho, the ninja who stole the lightning sword. 3 more people appeared next to him. They were young people who do not appreciate being over 14 or 15 years old. They wore Omegakure ninja bands, just like Aoi. Apparently they were genin who also escaped from their village. So those are the ninjas that Konoha commanded, said Aoi, sounding confident. You shouldn't trust yourself, everyone is very skilled, including the genin, said the hunter ninja who everyone already knew was Haku. Ha. Please, I'm sure my genin could handle them easily, said Aoi laughing, accompanied by his genin. The Konoha ninjas were just silent. From the fog, 6 Zabuza clones appeared surrounding everyone. I guess they weren't expecting that, Zabuza said amused. Kakashi looked at the clones impassively. Naruto activated his Sharingan and looked at his sensei, who nodded at him. Naruto disappeared in a blur, appearing in the same place after a second. Suddenly, all the Zabuza clones turned into water, signifying that they had been defeated. Oh wow, it looks like we have a speedster. I think you have a rival, right? Haku. Zabuza said to the hunter ninja who nodded. PFFFF, Aoi snorted. He didn't think what Naruto did was impressive. Okay, Team 7, Team 11, I hope you are ready. I will go for Zabuza. Kushina could serve as support to fight against Zabuza and Aoi at the same time. Sasuke, Kiyomi, I know you can handle yourself against a hunter ninja. Myth and Menma, they will also help against the hunter ninja, while Naruto, I trust that you can against Aoi. You will have Kushina's support anyway. Aoi's genin are not a big problem, so let's show what we are capable of. I finish with an eye smile. Yes. All the Konoha responded. Kakashi raised his ninja headband showing his Sharingan. Another look with that eye from the beginning, said Zabuza. You should be proud, you are the first enemy to see it twice, said Kakashi. Kushina unsheathed her katana and launched herself at Zabuza next to Kakashi. Zabuza blocked Kushina's thrust, then jumped back to dodge Kakashi's attack. While Zabuza, Kakashi and Kushina began their fight, Haku was lost in the fog. Kiyomi and Sasuke activated their Sharingan, nodded towards Naruto, and then he made hand seals. Futen. Tatapa. Naruto expelled a strong current of air from his mouth that dispersed the fog and sent Aoi and her team back. Haku's position was discovered and Menma, along with Mito and Sasuke, attacked him. Kiyomi stayed next to Naruto and Sakura. Kiyomi, why don't you go with the others? Naruto asked. I think Mito and Menma together with Sasuke will be enough, besides, you will need some help, right? He responded. Could it be Sakura, can you stay and take care of Tazuna-san? The pink-haired girl nodded. How about we go and kick some ass? Kiyomi said smiling. Yes, said Naruto. Kiyomi and Naruto launched themselves against Aoi and her team. Heh, how deluded, go. Said Aoi's genin headed towards Naruto, who jumped and kicked one of the genin's chests, sending him to the ground. Kiyomi appeared behind him and landed a strong blow on the stomach of one of the genin, who doubled over. The third genin tried to hit Kiyomi in the face, however, she crouched down and gave a roundhouse kick to the genin's side. Naruto finished it off by hitting his face, the genin fell almost fainting to the ground. Naruto directed the kicking genin who was getting up starting a taijutsu battle. Kiyomi had her own battle with the other genin. Aoi watched in surprise as her genin were easily beaten. The genin who was fighting with Kiyomi was beginning to get desperate, he was not able to land a blow, while Kiyomi connected all the ones he threw. The genin, tense, began to launch attacks left and right, however, the Sharingan predicted them. Without problem, Kiyomi used his flexibility to his advantage and dodged each blow with grace. The rival genin took out a kunai and launched cut after cut. Kiyomi took out his own kunai and blocked each of the genin's attacks, which attempted a lunge. Kiyomi dodged and grabbed the arm with a weapon. With his other arm, he elbowed the genin in the face, which loosened his grip on his weapon. Kiyomi took advantage and disarmed the genin. This attempted another direct hit. Kiyomi stepped back dodging. He stepped forward and kicked his side, concentrating chakra in his fist, and smashed it against the stomach of his rival, who screamed in pain and was thrown back spitting blood. Finally, the genin fainted from the pain. The Uchiha sighed and watched her friends battle. What could be said about Naruto's rival? He was being used as a punching bag. The genin attempted a blow to the stomach. Naruto stopped him and began the counterattack. Blow to the liver, kick to the knee, blow to the face, left blow, right hook. Each blow hurt like hell for the poor genin, who fell unconscious after an uppercut from Naruto. The genin who was knocked down first began to get up and wanted to attack Naruto, however, a direct blow landed on his face, causing him to faint. Naruto watched Kiyomi for a moment, who was approaching him, however, the two had to dodge a yellow lightning bolt. Apparently the lightning came from Aoi's sword. Heh, looks like they managed to defeat those useless people, said Aoi. A few moments ago you claimed that they could easily defeat us, Kiyomi replied. Maybe, but that doesn't matter now. What's going to happen next is that I will beat them up until they beg for mercy, said Aoi with a smile. Naruto took his shakudo out of its seal, unsheathing it, while Kiyomi firmly gripped her kunai. The Uchiha attacked Aoi, who received him with his sword. The blades of the tools collided with each other, starting a battle of physical strength. Anyone who knew the basics of the clans would know that it is very difficult to beat a senju in a fight of physical strength. Naruto began to gain ground on Aoi, who noticed it and jumped back. He jumped forward to try a horizontal cut. Naruto crouched down avoiding the cut. Kiyomi took advantage and tried an aerial kick towards Aoi, which managed to block it with his arm, however it was dragged backwards. He was able to remain standing. Naruto attacked with a downward slash. Now that he had completely overcome his first kill, he was not afraid to make killer moves. Aoi blocked the slash and began an addictive kenjutsu battle. Slashes came and went, while small sparks came out of the clash. Due to the contact with the lightning sword, Naruto jumped back and passed through hand seals. Kaiten. Kakaku no Jutsu. Naruto spat out the large sphere of flames that Aoi narrowly avoided, burning his arm a little in the process. I shouldn't have launched a jutsu of that magnitude, it could damage Tazuna-sen's bridge. I think lower rank jutsus are better, Naruto thought. Kiyomi launched herself at Aoi, clashing kunai with sword. While Kiyomi kept Aoi at bay, Naruto thought about what to do. The Raijin no Ken is very powerful, I must think of a way to counter it. Also, I will see if I can defeat it without breaking it. It would be good for Konoha to recover one of its treasures. Naruto continued thinking until he had an idea. Kiyomi. Get away. Naruto shouted at Kiyomi, who jumped away from Aoi. The Uchiha passed through hand seals. Raiden. Jibashi. Naruto extended his hand, sending a burst of electricity towards Aoi, who could not dodge it. However, Naruto was surprised to see that the Raijin no Ken absorbed part of the attack, reducing the damage. Certainly the Raijin no Ken is an incredible weapon, said Naruto, making Aoi smile. Hahaha, I told you, little boy. With this sword I am invincible. Aoi rejoiced, however he was still somewhat sore. Well, I have 3 things to tell you, Naruto interrupted, making Aoi raise an eyebrow. The first, you are not invincible. Aoi frowned. The second is that I can say that without that sword, you are just a poor talker. Naruto lowered his thumb, making Aoi growl, and Kiyomi giggle. And the third, Naruto continued, is that you forget that the weakness of lightning is the wind futon. Shinkijin, wind release. Void blade. Naruto brought the blade of his sword towards his mouth. As it was close, the Uchiha blew gently past the blade, which was being covered by a kind of layer of seeing pale yellow. After finishing, the result was Naruto's shakudo, infused by a second layer which was made entirely of wind. Okay, I'm ready, said Naruto. The Uchiha launched himself at great speed against Aoi, who received him with his sword. The clash of the swords produced a slight gust of wind. The force that the two put into their attacks. Naruto's wind sword slowly began to gain ground. making Aoi angry. The renegade ninja moved away and launched a beam from the sword which Naruto dodged, then made a downward slash seemingly into the air. Gyuden. Nami. A wave of cutting wind in the shape of a waning wave quickly headed towards Aoi, who narrowly avoided it. Aoi watched in surprise as a cut appeared on his cheek while a larger one appeared on his shoulder. Aoi cursed under his breath as he grabbed his wound. Naruto quickly ran towards him and introduced him into another battle. Every time Aoi defended himself, another small wound appeared on his skin, this due to the second layer of wind that covered Naruto's Shikudo. Damn you. Aoi shouted, trying to give a horizontal cut that Naruto dodged by crouching and sweeping the renegade's feet, who became unstable. Naruto gave an upward kick to the hilt of the sword, snatching it from Aoi's hands. Naruto quickly got up and kicked Aoi, who spit out blood. "Kiyomi, go help the others, I can take care of this guy," said Naruto. "Okay Naruto-kun, don't lose," said Kiyomi, heading towards the fight against Haku, which was going steady. Naruto began to fight hand to hand with Aoi, and as Naruto predicted, Aoi was very inefficient in Taijutsu. Aoi stepped back and took a big jump, taking out the umbrella she had on her back. Ninpo. Jaro Senbon. Senbon Rain. Aoi opened the umbrella from which hundreds of Senbon shot towards Naruto. Futen. Tatapa. The gust of wind scattered the projectiles. Aoi was still floating due to the umbrella. When she landed, she began to receive blows from Naruto. When she tried to defend herself, Naruto disappeared and appeared somewhere else. What the hell? It's like it hits me and disappears instantly. Aoi thought, frustrated. Shunshin level 2, slow but precise teleportations. Unlike level 1, this one not only attacks directly, it constantly attacks any part of the body. Unlike level 3, it is less fast and less aggressive. Naruto gave an uppercut to the renegade, sending him to the ground a few meters away from him. "You can surrender and turn yourself in to be imprisoned in the leaf. Maybe if you return the Raijin no Ken, your sentence will be less long," Naruto explained to Aoi, who got angry. "Never, I, Aoi Rakusho, will not return to the blade, much less will I return the sword. A brat like you cannot force me," Aoi shouted, barely getting up. "I guess I'll have to finish you off then," Naruto said with a calm voice as his Sharingan glowed, passing through hands, seals, ox, hare, monkey, Chidori. Naruto said softly, until a large amount of Raiten chakra was concentrated in his hand. The sound of birds chirping was heard throughout the bridge. Kakashi, Zabuza and Kushina turned to see where the sound was coming from, realizing that it was Naruto preparing a Chidori, while in front of him, there was a really bad Aoi just getting up. What? How is it possible that that brat could beat Aoi? He's supposed to be a Jonin. Zabuza said angrily. Zabuza, Naruto is much more talented than you think," said Kakashi. "Of course, I Dadabane trained him." Kushina said, smiling. "You Kushina-san, you only trained him in Fuinjutsu and some wind technique," said Kakashi. "Shut up," Kushina said. "Wait, that technique is going to kill Aoi, is the boy?" "Yes," Kakashi interrupted. "Zabuza, Naruto has already committed his first murder. Unfortunately it was at the age of 8. It is admirable that he did not give up being shinobi 8 years. Who was the unlucky one?" Zabuza asked. "A Jonin from Kumagakure." "What?" Zabuza was startled. "He trusted himself and lost to Naruto's intelligence and strength," said Kakashi. "Shit, I guess Aoi, well, he got too confident anyway. He already believed himself a lot just because of that lightning sword," Zabuza thought. Kiyomi watched as Naruto charged a Chidori to finish off Aoi. Is he going to kill him? Is that the best solution? Kiyomi thought for a moment. Naruto wouldn't kill without a good reason. Besides, I too will have to kill someone one day, and I'm going to back off. Not now, Kiyomi thought, determined. "It's time," said Naruto, and then started running, accompanied by the sound of 1,000 birds. Aoi stood up, completely watching as Naruto approached with a jutsu. He desperately tried to escape, but it was too late. Naruto approached him at an amazing speed and then stretched out his arm and directed the Chidori at his chest. Chidori, thousand of birds. The technique easily pierced Aoi's chest that she didn't even manage to scream in pain. Naruto felt the renegade's body weaken until he saw how he simply hung on his arm, removing his hand, letting Aoi's dead body fall. He closed his eyes for a moment, assimilating the act he had just done, breathing deeply as he thought it's for the greater good. He opened his eyes, looking at the battle of the genin against Haku. Sasuke had to give credit to the hunter ninja. He was very good, so much so that he could hold his own against 4 genin, who despite being genin, they were too good, as good as high-level chunin or more. During the battle he was attentive to what Naruto and Kiyomi were doing. He saw how the two had practically wiped out the genin. Finally he saw how Naruto faced Aoi and defeated him. He was shocked to see that Naruto had killed Aoi. That did him. "I thought it was very likely that they would have to kill the hunter ninja for the sake of the wave, so I wasn't going to hesitate." Haku's water attacks were countered by jutsus of the same element from Menma and Mito, which were overwhelming her. Suiton. Mizurappa. Menma sent a jet of pressurized water towards Haku, who dodged it. The water spread across the floor of the bridge. Mito tried a direct hit that Haku stopped. At that moment, Mito was surprised to see how the hunter ninja made seals with one hand. Suiton. Sensatsu Susho. Water style. 1,000 flying needles of death. The water irrigated thanks to Menma's jutsu rose, taking the shape of small needles that quickly headed towards Mito. However, Sasuke pushed Mito with his body, causing the needles to stab. On the ground, Sasuke received one or another cut. "Are you okay?" Mito asked. "Yes, don't worry, but you have to be more careful." Apparently he knows how to make hand seals with just one, Sasuke said. "You really are a nuisance." Everyone heard the voice of Haku, who was drawing seals. "It's time to show him my most powerful technique, maybe then you'll die once and for all." Hyoten. Makyo Hyoso, ice crystal demonic mirrors. The water that was all over the battlefield rose and began to settle around Haku. The water began to turn into ice, taking the shape of a mirror. You could even see your reflection. The mirrors surrounded all the genin, except Naruto, who was at a great distance. Haku got into one of the mirrors, surprising the genin. Suddenly, in all the mirrors the figure of Haku appeared, which I take senbon in each hand. "Let's see how they deal with this," said Haku, and then each Haku that was in the mirror launched the senbon. A shower of senbon went towards the genin. Kiyomi and Sasuke followed them with their Sharingan and managed to dodge, while Mito and Menma had problems. Another shower of senbon headed towards them. This time Menma passed through hand seals. Futen. Rapusho. Menma clashed his hands and a gust of strong wind came out of him, deflecting all the senbon or making them lose their strength. Haku began to move from mirror to mirror. Sasuke and Kiyomi were surprised. Haku was going at a surprising speed. His Sharingan could follow him, but they could still know that he was too fast. Haku began to throw senbon from many directions, making it increasingly difficult to dodge them. Some senbon hit the target, however, they were able to endure it. Kaiten. Kikaku no Jutsu. Sasuke spat a large fireball towards the mirrors, however they did not suffer any damage. "You're going to have to do better, my mirrors don't melt that easily," said Haku. The battle developed between Haku's senbon and the genin's attempts to avoid them. Naruto was trying to enter the dome, however, as a Buza clone appeared and introduced him into another battle. "I have to think of something. At this rate we are going to end badly. We have to overcome his speed, or melt his mirrors." Naruto's Shunshin would be the most effective, but Sasuke looked at Naruto's battle with the clone by Zabuza. "He's not here now, so I'll have to make my fire hotter." "Wait, I have it." Mito, Menma, do it to Toppa. Kiyomi, follow my signal, Sasuke indicated to his team. "And since when are you the boss?" Menma said. Mito hit his brother. "This is not the time, idiot, just do it." They all went through hand seals. Kaiten. Ryuken no Jutsu. The two Uchihas expelled a large flare of fire that began to melt the mirrors a little, but nothing more than that. Futen. Totapa. The two Uzumakas expelled a large wave of wind towards the flames, which fanned and began to melt the ice quickly. "Damn, they are melting them, and if I reinforce them with my chakra I will be completely exhausted. I can't do anything," Haku thought, frustrated. Haku was trying to move, the fire was starting to affect her, so she was suffering from slight burns. The atmosphere was so hot that some steam and some smoke were already beginning to show. The combination of jutsu ended and the panorama was disastrous. There were ice mirrors in half, and some were simply no longer there. The floor of the bridge was somewhat charred, but nothing serious. Sasuke and Kiyomi let out some smoke from their mouths as they breathed heavily. They had been blowing for a long time. Haku materialized in a mirror with slight burns. "Well, he's defenseless," said Menma. "Not so fast, he can still move to the other mirrors, even if they are halfway," Sasuke said, dodging other senbon. "Damn, I have to move faster, but I'm not as fast as Sasuke or Kiyomi." Mito was thinking, "I can be faster, if only." "I know what you're thinking, and no." A thick voice sounded in Myth's mind. "Hey, please Kyuubi, it'll just be a moment. Why should I lend my power to someone like you?" The Kyuubi roared. "Well, look." Mito sighed. "I know about the conversation you had with Naruto, well, at least your other half. I know how badly the humans have treated you, but please understand that they don't. We are all like that. A clear example of that is Naruto. Please, just please, it's to help my friends." The Kyuubi was silent for a moment. "Don't waste the opportunity." The Kyuubi set and sent some chakra towards Mito. All the genin, including Haku, were surprised to see how Mito was surrounded by a red chakra. Mito's fangs grew, her nails lengthened, her hair became wilder, and her eyes became those of the Kyuubi, red with a torn pupil. The myth wounds healed quickly by releasing some steam. Haku cast senbon, however. Mito let out a roar that sent a strong current of red chakra that rendered the projectiles useless. "Sasuke, please, I need you to track the ninja and tell me where he will appear, but quickly, I don't have much time," Mito said, preparing for the attack. Haku began to rotate in the few mirrors she had left, Sasuke tracking her with his Sharingan. "Mito, to your left." Sasuke notices Mito. "Good." Haku appeared in a mirror to the girl's right, however. Mito charged at full speed and prepared a fist. Sasuke and Kiyomi were surprised by the new speed of Mito, who punched the renegade ninja in the face, and he flew out of the mirror. Haku was thrown away from his technique, losing control. The mirrors disintegrated by themselves. The mask broke, showing Haku's face. I'm sorry Zabuza-sama, I have failed you, I am a useless tool. The Kyuubi's chakra aspects disappeared from Mito, who let out a sigh. Thank you Kyuubi, Mito said in his mind. Whatever, the Kyuubi responded indifferently. He what? The grumpy little fox, grrrr, you inept brat, the Kyuubi cut the connection. The other boys quickly approached Mito, observing the state of Haku, who was lying on the ground. Haku got up slowly and staggering. He had maintained his technique for a long time, so he was tired, but the blow and burns, he was in bad condition. Please, Shinobi, kill me, why don't you defend yourself anymore? Menma said. You have defeated me, so today I realize that I am a useless tool. I am no longer of any use to Zabuza. I am not worthy of continuing with him, said Haku, crestfallen, waiting for his death. Zabuza. If it's about you wanting it, that's the most pathetic way I've ever heard it. Not only did I love Zabuza, but also my father and my mother. My parents were so kind to me, we were happy sometimes, but then everything changed. What do you mean? Mito asked. Well, it's a blood thing, hey. My father was the one who changed. He killed my mother and almost killed me. The people in my land began to hate anyone who had Kake Genkai in their blood. It was after that my clan began to hiding her abilities. My mother managed to hide her abilities for years. She met and fell in love with a farmer. From there I was born. One day when I discovered my abilities, I began to control the water of a small pond until it turned into ice. My mother scolded me, and I tried to hide my ability, but it was too late. My father had seen everything, so in the afternoon my father pierced my mother with a knife, and when he was about to kill me, you killed him, said Naruto, arriving. He had defeated the Zabuza clone. Haku just nodded. After that I ran away from my house, and soon after I fainted. When I regained consciousness, my father and mother were dead. That was when I became desperate. No one in the world needed me. I was useless. One more nuisance. It is only through the eyes of others that our little lives have meaning. Then Zabuza came and looked at me. His eyes were not filled with hate or fear. He gave me meaning. He made me useful. I as his tool. That's bullshit, Naruto said. Haku looked up in surprise. I said it, I will never be able to see someone as an object or something like that. People who even think of it seeing someone as an object can't help but be labeled as something worse than trash. Zabuza, either he really feels something for you more than a blacksmith feels with a hammer, or simply, he is an idiot who doesn't deserve to live. I won't let you insult Zabuza like that. Haku moved as best he could and tried to hit Naruto, but Naruto stopped him easily. That's the reaction of someone who insults a loved one you really love. Zabuza like a father after all, he's taken care of you since you were small, so to speak, and if Zabuza treats you like a tool, he doesn't deserve you. Naruto showed his Sharingan, turning to Haku, who by mistake stared at him. Meijin. Kasagi. Demonic illusion, binding of pillars. Naruto's Sharingan shined as it slowly rotated. Haku felt as if stakes were stuck in his entire body. He screamed in pain as she crouched on the ground, holding her body. Then she felt like she was paralyzed. I'm sorry, but this time we have a mission to fulfill. We can't allow Zabuza to kill Tazuna-san. That ninjutsu will leave you paralyzed. You are an innocent girl. Well, more or less. I just hope you have time to reflect. If you are lucky, Zabuza will simply be imprisoned. If you are unlucky, Zabuza will suffer today at the hands of our senseis. Things for Zabuza were not going well at all. First Aoi fell at the hands of the Uchiha brat, then Haku lost against the Genin, and now, he was losing outright against the copy ninja and the bloody habanera. They had been against this battle from the beginning. She was able to use her fog to escape a couple of times. However, Kushina was a Futon user. Kami, as she hated wind users, she had cuts from the body courtesy of Kushina, and if that were not enough, bruises from Kakashi's blows. Very well, Kushina-san, we're almost there. We just have to immobilize him, and we'll finish him off, said Kakashi, who this time didn't look so tired anymore. You plan to use the Chidori, right? Yes, but this time it will be my version, he said, smiling. Kakashi launched himself against Zabuza, dodging the defensive slash that the renegade launched. He quickly began to hit. Left punch, right hook, punch, elbow to the stomach, low leg and high kick. Zabuza crawled back, getting a little lost in the fog. Well, now I can attack them by surprise. Zabuza was interrupted when some golden chakra chains began to chase him. He jumped away, but received a punch from Kakashi, who appeared next to him. I'm sorry, but I haven't lost sight of you, said Kakashi as his Sharingan spun. The chains imprisoned Zabuza, who was left at Kakashi's mercy. Look at you now, is that what your ambition led you to? There you have your failed assassination of the Mizukage and your attempted coup d'etat. You became a renegade with an easy-to-learn name. I don't know if I should feel sorry for you, but now, enough talking, it's time to finish this. I won't kill you with a copy jutsu, I'll kill you with my own jutsu. Ox, hare, monkey. Kakashi gathered chakra in his hand, however this time it was different. The electricity spread throughout his hand and the lightning intensified. A small circle of lightning appeared below Kakashi as he bent his knees. All the lightning that danced around seemed to come together. In his hand. Rikiri. Lightning cutter. Kakashi stood up straight and stared at Zabuza. I won't let you kill Tazuna-san. He is a noble man with a big dream. Those little people and their little dreams, why should I care? I have my own dream, Zabuza said with a hoarse voice. But to have a dream you have to have a future, you don't have one, Kakashi responded. Your future, it ends now. Kakashi started running towards Zabuza. All the other genin next to Haku on the ground watched the scene. Haku couldn't blink, she was so scared, she didn't want Zabuza to be killed. The one who didn't look at her with hatred, the one who took care of her, she didn't know I was going to let them kill him. I must be useful, even if it is one last time, he said. Well, with all his strength, he made half a ram seal. Naruto turned to see Haku, who was no longer there. In her place there was a small trail of fog and some brightness. Shit, Naruto thought. An ice mirror materialized in front of Zabuza before Kakashi arrived. The characteristic red color of blood completely stained Kakashi's hand and some of his clothes and face. The ground was bathed in blood. He had hit his technique, but on the wrong target. The Anbu girl had suddenly appeared in front of him, just when he could no longer stop. Another mistake, Kakashi. Zabuza said mockingly. Kushina had retracted the chains from her. Kakashi literally had his hand inside Haku's body, the limb protruding from the girl's back. The girl put herself in the middle of my attack, saving your useless life even if it cost her hers, said Kakashi, somewhat bewildered. Well done, Haku, thought Zabuza, who began to raise his sword. He interfered with my attack so that Zabuza could attack me, Kakashi thought, now surprised. I knew I had found a treasure when I saw you. Girl. Zabuza was about to make a horizontal cut to cut Kakashi next to Haku, but the kick landed on Zabuza's face, who lost his trajectory. Kakashi disappeared in a blur with Haku in his hands. Naruto, who had kicked, landed quickly, took out a kunai and stuck it in Zabuza's left arm, who grunted but couldn't do anything as a kick landed on his stomach, sending him backwards. Naruto, don't interfere, this is my fight, Zabuza is my prey, understood? Kakashi said with a stern voice. Naruto didn't reply and walked away, but now Zabuza's left arm was useless. Zabuza launched himself at Kakashi even though his arm was disabled. He attempted a cut but received a direct punch in the face. Why? Why can't I beat him? Zabuza took another punch and then a spinning kick that sent him backwards. He attempted a downward slash, but Kakashi disappeared and appeared behind him, his hand on Zabuza's neck. I knew that you don't have the level to move forward, you don't know what true strength is, said Kakashi. He stuck another kunai into Zabuza's other arm, disabling him as well. It's time to die. Kakashi was about to finish Zabuza until applause was heard on the other side of the bridge. My, who knew that the fearsome Miss Demon would end up like this? I must say you did a terrible job, I'm disappointed. The man who spoke was Cat, who was in front of a bunch of bullies. Beidou and his gang were a few meters from Haku's body, where a few meters further away were Zabuza and the others. I suppose that you three are not capable of doing a job well, and look, you charge a lot, huh? Zabuza. But look, for the same price that I bought you, I could buy all these gentlemen, doesn't that seem extraordinary to you? Said Cat, referring to the army of thugs behind him. Beidou began to walk until he reached Haku's body. That reminds me, you broke my wrist defending that Zabuza. I think it's time to get revenge, said Cat, and then kicked Haku's body. Hey, get away from her, you bastard. Mito said, advancing, but Sasuke grabbed her. Hey Myth, calm down, stay calm. Said Sasuke, although he couldn't deny that it made him angry, he knew how to hide his feelings. And what are you going to do, Zabuza? Are you going to stand there watching them kick her? Mito shouted angrily. Calm down, girl, Haku is dead, what does it matter? What? You mean you can stand there and watch them treat her like trash? You and her were together for years, that doesn't mean anything to you? Sasuke tried to calm Mito down, but she continued. You still don't understand the shinobi way. I only used her as a cat, I used myself, now it's over, her uselessness is over, the loss of her strength and her abilities, I do care about that, but about the girl. Nothing, Mito growled at Zabuza's words. I can't believe you feel that way, but what can you expect from someone like you? Naruto said, walking past Zabuza and standing in front of him, turning his back to him. Zabuza, you are ungrateful, Haku literally gave everything for you, she spent almost her entire life by your side, you were the most important to her, and that didn't mean anything to you? Come on, it wasn't even her. I want to be a shinobi, however he decided to become one, just to fulfill your dream. Hey, he gave his life to save you, doesn't that mean anything either? Zabuza Remain silent, you know something. I'm not going to give you a speech about why you should stop being the way you are. I'm not trying to take your side either. She never had a dream of her own, but she doesn't care in the slightest. You just push her aside. You don't deserve her. Naruto gripped his sword firmly while Kakashi stood next to him. You talk too much, brat. Naruto turned his gaze to Zabuza, who was crying. Your words cut me more than any knife. While Haku was fighting, her heart was breaking. She was always so soft and gentle. She felt sorrow and pain, and now I'm feeling it. Zabuza began to bite his ripping off the bandages, showing for the first time his mouth, which had sharp teeth. What's wrong? Did the mouse eat your tongue? Are you surprised to see that I'm also human? Even shinobi are human. No matter how much we try to escape that fact, we always fail, or at least I failed. There was a long silence after that. Child, lend me a kunai, said Zabuza. So you're going for the midget, huh? Yes, if you don't mind, I want to do it alone. After all, my time has come. If you can, protect the people. I have already caused them too much damage, Zabuza said. Naruto gently threw a kunai which Zabuza caught in his mouth. Zabuza started running towards Cat, who hid behind all the bullies. Listen, I want you to finish it now, said the scared Cat. Zabuza started fighting all the bullies by cutting them with the kunai in his mouth. Cut in the chest, cut in the neck, in the head, he kicked them, he used their movements to his advantage. A thug managed to bury a sword in his back, but he did not give up, he kept going, his goal was so close, no. Was going to fail now. Zabuza continued running, cutting the thugs in his path who fell dead. He made a big jump and landed in front of a thug whose neck he cut. He continued running, making his way through the thugs until he finally reached Cat. Zabuza crouched as low as he could and buried the kunai in the Cat's chest, which screamed in pain. However, 8 thugs buried their weapons in Zabuza's back, who did not even scream, but separated himself from the Cat. If you were so desperate to go to the same place as that girl, go ahead, but don't touch me, no more, said Cat, holding on in pain. Oh no, I don't think I'm worthy of going to the same place Haku goes, but you and I. Zabuza approached Cat. Gee, get away from me. Get away. No friend, it's somewhere else we're going to go, you and me together, Cat. Down there are so many demons of all sizes and shapes. Oh yes, I fit perfectly in that place. But your Cat, I'm afraid you will have a very long and painful eternity. Zabuza moved his head, cutting another time on the Cat's chest. He moved his body to the opposite side, making another cut. The Cat let out screams of agony, and finally, he made a cut near the Cat's neck, who was left lying on the railing of the bridge. A really badly injured Zabuza and a Cat slowly dying was the result. The renegade ninja Volt directing a fierce look at the thugs who separated, creating a clear path towards Haku's dead body. I want you to kill those ninjas who frustrated my plans, and also destroy that damn town. If you do, all the money will be yours. Were the Cat's last words, who fell towards the water due to the weight of his body. The thugs listened attentively. You heard that? We can keep the money. But first all the thugs turned their gaze towards the ninjas, and behind them was the town. Cat's last wish must be fulfilled. All the thugs began to run towards the ninjas who were waiting for them impassively. Zabuza walked as best he could, however he was very slow. I guess we have to finish them, if we don't they'll wipe out the town, Sasuke said. Yes, said Kakashi, well, we'll have to teach them a lesson. They have quantity, it doesn't matter, we have quality. Konoha has always stood out for that, said Kushina, standing next to Kakashi and Naruto. Sasuke, Kiyomi, Menma, Mito, do you think they're ready? Kakashi asked worriedly. I knew this day would come. After all, Naruto had his first murder at age 8, that's the world of shinobi, said Sasuke. Naruto walked over to his friends and grabbed them by the shoulders. Sasuke, Kiyomi, Menma, I know it's painful, but keep in mind that if we let these guys pass, they will kill innocent people who only want the best for their family. Those thugs, they simply want the money, who knows so, but from what we have seen, it is not good at all. This country needs to be saved. Just think that if they killed someone, it was for the greater good. The 4 genin nodded. Naruto, my sword, Sasuke said. Naruto smiled and took out a sealing scroll which he handed to Sasuke. Sasuke opened the scroll and conducted chakra. In a small explosion of smoke, a Chikuto similar to Naruto's appeared. Sasuke grabbed it firmly. Kiyomi took out 2 kunai and took them in a reverse grip. Menma and Mito did the same. Kakashi and Kushina smiled sadly, then grabbed their own weapons. The bullies came closer and closer until they reached the Konoha ninjas. A thug tried to stab Sasuke, but Sasuke cut his neck with a clean cut from his sword. It's for the greater good, Sasuke thought with all his strength. A thug tried to cut Kiyomi in half, but she buried her kunai in the thug's chest. It's for the greater good, he thought. Mito and Menma took out 2 thugs at the same time. It's for the greater good, they thought. Team 7 and 11 destroyed all the thugs they could, however, some managed to get past them and headed towards the town. Naruto was about to do something until he received the memories of the clone he left in the care of Inari and Tsunami. Inari and Tsunami had been attacked by two cat thugs. They were easily defeated by the clone, however. Inari had convinced the people to fight for their village. A lot of villagers were heading in a group towards the bridge until there the clone's memories arrive. Apparently Inari has become very brave. Naruto smiled. I guess we have to endure until they arrive, although I don't think it will be that difficult. These guys don't reach high genin. The thugs who managed to overtake the ninjas were heading towards the village, however, they were stopped by a large group of villagers led by Inari, who was wearing a small helmet along with a crossbow with small arrows. The villagers carried rakes, sticks, some carried knives or improvised weapons. Look, those are the cat bullies, said one of the villagers. What are we waiting for? Let's fight for our land, shouted another of the villagers. Yes, the others shouted. The villagers fought and managed to make the thugs retreat. There are too many, said one of the thugs. And to finish it off, there are also those shinobis. Another complained desperately. Fuck the money, I'm going to save my life, said an escaping thug. Little by little, the thugs withdrew until there were none left. There were no casualties on the part of the villagers, Cat was dead, and no one would miss him. Finally, after so many years, they were free. The genin were in another world. Sasuke kept a blank stare as he looked at a dead thug at his feet. Kiyomi and Mito were on their knees, while Menma was completely sitting with a look at nothing. Everyone began to shed small tears. They had killed for the first time. The weight of their actions fell like a bucket of cold water on their shoulders. Naruto approached Sasuke, who was looking at his hand stained with blood. Naruto placed his hand on Sasuke's shoulder, staining Sasuke's shirt a red tone. He also had blood on his hands. Don't worry, Sasuke, we saved the wave, all our efforts were not in vain, said Naruto. Why yes, Sasuke said, passing his arm over his eyes to wipe away the tears. Sasuke and Naruto watched the others. They approached Menma. Come on, aren't you supposed to be stronger? This is one more step towards that, said Sasuke. DSK, shut up, I'm fine, I don't need you to comfort me, said Menma, wiping away her tears. It's fine if you say so. Sasuke and Naruto approached Kiyomi and Mito. Sasuke crouched down next to Mito. If only you could see yourself, Sasuke said, amused. Shut up, said Myth, you know something, this reminds me of the time I saw you cry in the middle of the street. Sasuke laughed a little. I don't need you to make fun of me now, said Myth. Hey, seriously, stop crying, I know you're strong, we have to get over this, you know. Where's the stubborn Myth I know? The Myth that calls you stupid emo? Sasuke stopped his smile. Yes, that's exactly it, but that Myth always has a nice smile, Sasuke said without realizing what he said. Mito said, blushing. At that moment Sasuke realized. A slight blush appeared on his cheeks. This I mean a nice smile like any girl's, you know. Like Sakura's. Mito said, amused. Sasuke didn't say anything. Mito started laughing. He's stupid emo. There it is, Sasuke said, smiling. Sasuke helped Myth rise. Kushina watched the interaction with a mischievous smile. Hee, Kushina laughed. Kushina-san, said Kakashi with a drop of sweat. Oh please, don't deny that they look cute together, Kushina said in Kakashi's ear. Naruto crouched down in front of Kiyomi. So this is how I looked when I killed for the first time, we can't compare, you killed when you were 8 years old. Kiyomi said. The blow is still just as strong. The important thing is that we resisted, I suppose. Do you know something? You're pretty when you cry. Naruto wiped away Kiyomi's tears with a finger that wasn't dirty with blood, but you look prettier when you stop crying and smile. Naruto extended his hand to Kiyomi. How about you give me a smile? Kiyomi looked up, a sweet shade of pink adorning her porcelain skin. She smiled and grabbed Naruto's hand. Naruto helped Kiyomi up. As he tried to release his hand, Kiyomi tightened his grip. Thank you, he said. Naruto smiled. It was then that between the cheering of the people and the strength of the moment, they turned their gaze to the front, where Zabuza was still trying to reach Haku's body. However, due to weakness, Zabuza fell face first to the ground. Kakashi and Naruto approached Zabuza. It's admirable that you're still alive, said Naruto. Yes, however it sounds like it's the end. Zabuza said weakly. Yes, said Kakashi. I want to ask you a favor, what do you want? Kakashi answered again. Take me to her, please, I need to see her one more time before I leave. Kakashi covered his Sharingan with his band and responded with a sad look. Yes, sure, Naruto, help me with this. The Uchiha deactivated his Sharingan and nodded. Naruto and Kakashi removed the weapon stuck in Zabuza's back. Kakashi placed Zabuza face up and then carried him in a bridal manner. Kakashi carried the dying Zabuza accompanied by Naruto. Everyone watched the scene in silence. In the middle of the journey it began to snow strangely. Hey. Impossible, said one of the villagers, surprised. Snow? This time of year? Another villager expressed his confusion. It's your Haku, it's your tears, Zabuza thought. Kakashi and Naruto arrived next to Haku's body. The copying ninja left Zabuza lying next to Haku. Thank you, Kakashi, child, Zabuza said, getting weaker. Naruto and Kakashi nodded as they walked away. You were always by my side, the least I can do is be with you in the end. Zabuza with great effort brought his hand up to Haku's face. The tips of his fingers managed to touch the girl's soft skin, cold, but so warm at the same time. I know it can't be, but I would like to be able to go where you are going as. I would like to accompany you. Haku strangely. The sun's rays managed to surpass the clouds that covered the sky, illuminating Haku's face. The tiny snowflake rested under Haku's eye, melting instantly thanks to the sun, making him assimilate a tear. The sun's rays spread out to cover the place where Zabuza and Haku had finally died, while all around it was still snowing. She told me that where she came from, it was always snowing, Naruto said softly. Of course, his spirit was as pure as snow, said Kakashi. Naruto stared at Haku and Zabuza's body. Perhaps was it pain that he felt? This is what he thought when he was younger, the lives of those affected by the hatred of the shinobi. He closed his eyes, opening them to show his mangekyou that was slowly spinning. He closed his eyes again, and then opened them again, showing his infinite black emptiness. Rest in peace, Evenir. Zabuza, he thought, and then turned towards the others. 3 days later, Tazuna had finally finished his bridge. He no longer had to worry. With the help of the people and the hundreds of Menma and Mito clones, the bridge was finished in 2 days. Currently, Team 11 and 7 were at the end of the bridge. Behind him, Tsunami, Inari and Tazuna along with the entire town, who were there to say goodbye to their heroes. Inari was in front of Naruto, holding back the urge to sob. Calm down, Inari, sometimes it's okay to cry, said Naruto, rubbing Inari's head, who couldn't take it anymore, and hugged Naruto. Promise me that one day you will visit us, said Inari between tears. Sure, someday, said Naruto, crouching down to Inari's height. You have to promise me that you will continue to be brave. Remember that you have to protect your mother and from time to time your grandfather, who sometimes gets a little drunk. Inari nodded, laughing. Naruto, come on. We have to go. Naruto heard Kiyomi's voice calling him. Well, I have to go. Naruto got up and looked at Tsunami, Tazuna and Inari. Well, Inari, keep being so brave. Tsunami-san, keep being a good mother, and Tazuna-san, try not to get so drunk, okay? I don't promise anything, kid, said Tazuna, laughing. Papa, said Tsunami. See you soon, said Naruto, walking towards his team. The Konoha teams disappeared from everyone's sight. Come to think of it, we haven't named the bridge, a random villager opined. I say we name it Tazuna's Super Bridge. Yes. That would be the name, Tazuna said proudly. Tsunami hit his father on the head. Oh, why is that? Tazuna said, rubbing his head. Don't be stupid, Dad. We're not going to call him like that, said Tsunami. Inari was thinking about a name until he had an idea and expressed it. How about we call it Leaf 18? After all, it was teams 11 and 7 of the Leaf that saved us. They are from the village of the Leaf, and 11 plus 7 equals 18. I think. Tsunami rubbed his son's head. That's an amazing name, said a villager. Yes. That would be the name, shouted another. Not bad, said Tazuna. Listen everyone, the name of the bridge will be Sheet 18. In honor of our saviors. Tazuna shouted. Yes. The villagers shouted. The sun of the land of waves shone happily. After all, the era of cat terror had passed. From now on, they would be happy and peaceful days. Have you heard the rumors? What? No. Tell me what it is about. They say that the Hokage's son's first C rank mission rose from rank to A rank. Oh god, are they okay? Yes, Hokage-sama sent the team of the last Uchihas as support. They say that today they finally arrived from their mission. What bad luck that your first mission outside the village happened this way. Yes, I just hope something hasn't happened to them. Rumors always spread like a plague. There is always someone who obtains the information and then passes it on, and the information continues rotating through the mouths until it reaches everyone's ears, and then all the mouths do it. They talk over and over again. Finally, the gates of Konoha became visible to the two teams returning from their long mission. Teams 7 and 11 were returning from the mission to the country of waves, which, unfortunately, had escalated from rank C to rank A. Without, however, he had managed to overcome adversity, and without casualties, the country of the waves was now free from the tyranny of the cat magnate, who, by the way, had been murdered by the person who once worked for him. Zabuza and Haku had been buried near the Great Bridge Leaf 18. In honor of them, they left Haku's belt and Zabuza's great sword, which was stuck in the ground. The two teams reached the gates and approached the position of the Eternal Guardians Chunin, Izumo and Kitetsu. Izumo is a Chunin with brown hair who is hidden under a ninja band in the form of a scarf that covers his entire head. His hair falls to the sides, and a lock covers his right eye. He wore the standard Chunin suit. Kitetsu was a man with messy hair that spread everywhere, dark blue. He had strange bandages covering the bridge of his nose extending across his face. He wore the standard Chunin outfit. Oh, and they both have black eyes. Hello. Team 7, Team 11. Kitetsu said. Hello guys, how have things been today? Kakashi asked. Well, the same as always, boring and boring, replied Izumo, who had his feet on the observation post. Yeah, but you have to be attentive, more awake, said Kakashi. "You're not the one to tell us that, Kakashi-senpai," said Kotetsu, amused, as he registered the entry of Team 7 and 11. "Hey, you're right, well we'll go report to the Hokage, see you around," said Kakashi approaching his team. "By the way, Kakashi-senpai, are you going to register your team for the Chunin exams?" Izumo asked. "Yes, although there is still time for that," said Kakashi. "Okay, bye." "Okay guys, go rest, we're going to report the mission to Sensei," said Kakashi, and then disappeared in Shunshin. "See you?" Kushina said, disappearing in another Shunshin. "What will you do?" Mito asked. "Sasuke-kun, do you want to go out with me for a while?" Not 2 seconds passed before Sakura dreamed about the black-haired man again. Thanks but no thanks, Sakura," Sasuke said. "It's okay, it will be another day," he said as he left and blew Sasuke a kiss. "How come he still doesn't give up?" Kiyomi asked. "I don't know," Sasuke said, sighing. "Well, I'm leaving, you see losers there," Menma said, leaving. "Ash, he's never going to change, that fool," Mito said, annoyed. "Maybe I will," Naruto thought. Naruto had read since he was very little. There was a time when he read about the Bijuus and also about the Jinchuriki. It turns out that when a Bijuu and his jailer have a hell of a relationship, like the one between Menma and the Kyuubi, Jinchurikis tend to change their attitude without realizing it. This effect is multiplied by Menma being the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi, the creature with the most evil chakra in the world. The ease with which Menma gets angry can be a danger. The imbalance in his emotions leads him to be easily consumed by the chakra and the hatred of the Kyuubi, which causes me to sometimes lose my mind and act very aggressively and without control. Naruto had witnessed this when he saw how with a few simple words, Inari had made Menma angry. The ease with which the Kyuubi's chakra managed to almost consume him completely was terrifying. The worst of all is that it is not known if there is some solution to this problem. Due to the Jinchuriki's change of attitude, it is very difficult for him to mend his relationship with his Bijuu, which makes him increasingly dangerous. And to top it off, Menma was envious of him. Any action that Naruto does is seen as a challenge that Menma cannot overcome. That frustrates Menma, so if you ever see Menma get out of control against Naruto, it could mean a really strong battle that Naruto doubted if he would win, although of course, he never fought against a Jinchuriki before. How had he come to this conclusion? Not even he knew. The only thing that the books about the Jinchuriki said was the part from the bad relationship between the jailer and the prisoner to the Jinchuriki's changes in attitude. The rest was pure analysis of Naruto, and if he got it right, Naruto had a trick up his sleeve which he planned to do. "I have an idea, I think I can make you go from being sealed in Menma to being sealed in me," were the words that Naruto said to the Kyuubi in Menma's mind. That sounded so selfish, he thought. Anyone who had heard him would think he was another power-hungry Uchiha. However, this was no longer just because of him. With Menma and Kyuubi being a bad combination, they have been hurting each other mutually all the years in which Menma knew about what was inside. That's why Naruto had a new project on his hands, a seal capable of moving a Bijuu from one seal to another, difficult to explain and also difficult to do, however. Naruto was already a seal master, since he has completed level 10, well, at least he plans to complete it today. He will do the final test of the level 10 Fuinjutsu book. Once completed, he will begin with his seal, although of course, he still plans to continue with the Hiraishin. This nowhere near completing it, even though he has already been working on it for about 5 years. Naruto was taken out of his thoughts when he saw Kiyomi and Sasuke staring at him. "What's wrong?" Naruto asked. "Well, you just stood there for about 5 minutes while muttering nonsensical things," said Sasuke. "Is something wrong?" Kiyomi asked. "No, don't worry, I was just thinking," Naruto responded. "It's okay, I just wasn't worried," Sasuke said with a shrug. "Hey, myth?" Naruto asked. "He left when you started mumbling things," Kiyomi said. "Now how about we go eat something?" "Dango," answered the two brothers. "Okay," Naruto laughed. Skip time. 2 months. 2 months have passed since the mission in the Country of Waves. Team 7 continued doing missions, this time without Team 11. Naruto had started working on the seal that would transfer the Kyuubi, and to tell the truth, it was not going bad at all. Somehow many clones and sleepless nights have helped, there was no sweat or tears. However, there was a problem. When I completed it, in what situation would I use it? Would it attack Menma off guard? No way. First he should have Minato and Kushina's approval. After all, it was Minato who sealed the Kyuubi in Menma, and the moment he uses it, it will be a battle someday. Another thing that he was developing was his Hiraishin finally after so long his own Hiraishin formula was complete. However, there were still things missing to be able to use it, plus he didn't have a place to test the Hiraishin. Those are the advances in Fuinjutsu. Another thing that developed was with the help of Kiyomi and Sasuke, they discovered that the energy of the Chidori can change shape. That helped them create their own jutsus with the help of the Chidori, which will be explained later. Finally he Found out that the Chunin exams would begin in 4 months, so by that time, he would have already turned 15, Sasuke and Kiyomi would turn 1 month after him, while Menma and Mito would turn 2 months after him. But that's not the point, he had found out that ninjas from other villages would come to take the exams, that would give him the opportunity to meet more people from different places. But anyway, the only thing left to say is that Naruto, although he did not show it, was extremely excitedly waiting for the beginning of the Chunin exams. Little did he know that it would be one of the most extreme and tense stages of his life. Skip time. 4 months later. Celebrating a birthday was never something that Naruto loved, but he didn't complain about spending time with his friends. He had gone to the Akimichi barbecue with Kiyomi, Sasuke, Mito, Shikamaru and Choji. Menma didn't want to come, but Naruto he had a great time. It wasn't anything spectacular, but for him, it was the best. But where is he now? 2 weeks had passed since he became 15 years old. Our beloved Uchiha was in his apartment, dressed in his usual clothes. Next to him, a small gray fox was sitting while swinging his only tail happily. Naruto had met with Kairon many times to get to know him better. In the course of the meetings, he met Kairon's older brother, who was an assault fox, and thus, he got to know the other foxes. It fits to say, the invocations like their new bear. They seemed to them to say the least very friendly, and from what they had heard, he had passed the test that the chief gave him, so they insinuated that he was strong, at least spiritually. Naruto and Kairon were in a random conversation until they heard a knock on the door. "Come in," said Naruto. Kiyomi walked through the door. "Hello, Naruto-kun. You see, we have to go, Kakashi-sensei called us to a meeting," he said calmly. "Sure, you go ahead, I'll catch up with you, okay?" Kiyomi nodded, leaving. "Well, you see, I have to go," said Naruto, getting up from his bed. "Okay, see you later," Kairon said, extending a paw, closing it into a kind of fist. Naruto bumped his fist with Kairon's, who then smiled, disappearing in a small explosion of smoke. Naruto sunshined and appeared next to Kiyomi and Sasuke, who were with the Uzumaki twins. "Hello," he said simply. "Hello, Naruto," Mito said. Menma just grunted. "Say hello, idiot." Mito hit his brother. "Hey now." "Hello. Happy?" said Menma, irritated. "Better," answered the blonde. "No offense, but what are you doing here?" Naruto said. Mom also called us to training camp 7, answered Mito. "I see the genin went to the aforementioned field. Upon arriving they observed that there was no one. It was normal, Kushina should be looking for Kakashi." Once they sat down, they watched as Kakashi appeared in an explosion of smoke, who was being grabbed by the ear by Kushina. "Ready? We're here, now please give me my book," said Kakashi, somewhat scared. "Okay, but don't repeat it again," said Kushina, handing an orange-covered book to Kakashi, who received it and put it in his pocket. "Good morning, guys," Kushina said happily. "Good morning, Kushina-san. Mom, I suppose you're wondering why we gathered you here, right? Silence if you ask them, right? We actually have an idea why we're here," Kiyomi said. "Oh, okay, well, then." Kushina didn't know what to say. "Anyway guys," Kakashi continued, "you are here because we are going to apply for the Chunin exams, which will be held here in the Leaf Village." The genin nodded. "Very well." Kakashi and Kushina took out some papers from a roll. "Each one has to come to the academy in a week, where the first phase will be done. These papers are documents that they have to fill out. Oh, and by the way, if anyone on the team decides not to take the exam, no member of the team will take some." Could see how Sakura tensed. "Well, I hope everyone goes to the exams. Don't disappoint us, after all, we trust you, Mito and Menma. I'll wait for you for dinner, don't be too late, okay?" Kushina said and then disappeared in a whirlpool of leaves. "Goodbye," said Kakashi, disappearing into another whirlpool. "Well, I guess we have to prepare," said Kiyomi. "I'll go train," said Myth. "I'm going with you, I could use some training," said Kiyomi. "We could train here." "Oh, it's fine, I'm staying," Sasuke said. "Well, there you go, I'm not going to train with you losers," Menma said, leaving. Mito sighed. "What are you going to do, Naruto?" Sasuke said. Naruto directed his gaze toward Sakura, who had her head lowered with a thoughtful expression as she unconsciously clenched the paper in her hand. "I'll catch up with you later," he said as he approached Sakura. He touched her shoulder, calling her attention. The pink-haired girl looked up. "You know something, Sakura, I haven't had lunch, would you like to go with me?" Naruto said. Me?" she said, surprised. "Yes, come," he said, grabbing her shoulder and then disappearing in a blink of his body. Location: Ichiraku Ramen Restaurant. Naruto and Sakura appeared outside the small ramen stand. The Uchiha invited the Haruno in, who entered completely surprised. Sakura didn't expect Naruto to invite her to lunch. She liked Sasuke, but she wasn't going to deny that Naruto was just as handsome. However, she doubted that the reason he invited her was something related to love or things like that. "Hello, Mr. Tucci," said Naruto, entering the stall. "Oh, hello, Naruto. How are you feeling? Come sit down." I guess you're coming with Mito and the others, right? Tucci said while preparing the things to cook. It was good Mr. Tucci, and no this time I come with another partner he said while Sakura entered the stall. Hey, hello. My name is Sakura Haruno, nice to meet you, said the pink-haired girl. Hello girl, come sit down, could you please help me? Tucci shouted the last part. From behind the stall a girl with light brown hair appeared, she had infinite black eyes like Naruto's, and she had light skin, she was wearing a white cook's outfit along with a blue apron. The girl approached Naruto. Hello Naruto. How are you? Am said with a smile. It was good Naruto responded. Anyway, what are you going to order? Am said. Hey, can I have a vegetarian ramen please? Sakura said. You give me a miso ramen, said Naruto. Okay, a miso and a vegetarian come out, dad. Am shouted. On my way. Tucci answered from the kitchen. After a few minutes of silence in which Sakura occasionally observed Naruto who seemed thoughtful, she also entered into her thoughts until Am brought both of their plates. Enjoy it, Am said smiling. Naruto and Sakura began to eat their lunches calmly. This time, it was Naruto who gave some glances to Sakura, who now looked more thoughtful. Sakura, you're worried right? Naruto began. Of course not, how do you think? He responded. I think you should know that you can't fool me, the Uchiha said calmly. Sakura was silent. I can deduce that you are worried about the news that Kakashi-sensei gave about the Chunin exams Naruto continued. Why yes said Sakura quietly. I guess you can't help it I know, I'm very weak, I'm just not at the level of any of you, Mito and Kiyomi are a perfect example of a Kunoichi, they are strong and beautiful, Menma and Sasuke are also very strong and not. Even talk about you managed to face a Jonin by yourself what am I saying, you literally defeated him I didn't do anything, I just stayed behind and didn't help at all, Sakura sounded very sad. I can't deny that Sakura looked down further as her eyes became moist. But you have to understand something, none of us are different from you at least sometimes we feel useless, Sakura looked impressed at Naruto, who continued, you see, there were many times when I felt like a complete useless person, but I always tried harder that's what you failed at, Sasuke, Mito, Menma and Kiyomi, they trained and worked hard since they were little. To be strong, you only cared about your appearance and reputation, hoping that Sasuke would notice you, you went on unnecessary diets, you cared about the softness of your hair and your figure, that's not bad, no matter what. However, what is wrong is that you have dedicated yourself only to that. Sakura didn't continue because Naruto continued. You can't excuse yourself, you know well that you could have done more, however, you didn't, and now that you realize that the shinobi world is cruel, you really think about the consequences of not having trained in your life, you know that you are afraid, the Chunin exams are seen as a challenge, you don't feel ready, and you have the idea of not participating. But now you know that if you don't participate, Mito and Menma will be harmed, in addition to disappointing Kushina-san Sakura was impressed, Naruto just deciphered everything she felt. But you should also know that it is not too late, I know that there is little left before the exams begin, but you can train as much as you can this week, in 1 week you can increase the level that you now have, you must understand in one, you see for all that you must become strong, not only to pass the exams, but to save your life and the lives of those you love, because now you are a shinobi. Protecting is your responsibility. First things first Sakura, boost your confidence, it's time to change, also, I'm sorry to tell you this, but you have to forget about Sasuke Sakura opened her eyes. Because you have ignored your training because of wanting to look good so that Sasuke sees you and your behavior towards him makes him uncomfortable. He has been very gentle with you, but you have to understand that he does not see you with love, you really plan to pass the time. Have you spent most of your life asking Sasuke on dates, knowing that he'll most likely reject them all? Silence. I'm telling you this now, because it's going to be more painful when he tells you directly, Sakura, I'm just telling you something, show who you are, train, let yourself know that you are more than what you think of yourself, change for the better, and you will see. Like life will also change, everything starts with yourself. Naruto finished his ramen and handed his plate to Am, while he took out a few ryos and paid for his and Sakura's food, I trusted you, yes. Was the last thing Naruto said before disappearing. Sakura opened her green eyes at the dark-haired boy's last statement. Did he trust her? The statement Naruto made about her and Sasuke had hurt her, more than anything. Naruto had been hard. He told her the truth. Hell, even he was able to guess everything she felt, how can someone be that accurate about what others feel? Sakura stopped for a moment and thought about her teammates, Menma was somewhat distant with her, but he had helped her a couple of times, and Mito was the closest to her, he had helped her a lot on some occasions of C-rank missions, her sensei, Kushina also helped her and gave her some training regimens, but at that moment I preferred to watch Sasuke train. Gucci and Am watched a pink-haired girl who had her gaze on her empty ramen bowl. AM walked over and picked up the bowl, approaching her father again. "Did you hear what Naruto said?" AM whispered in her father's ear. Tucci nodded and continued looking at the girl, who seemed like she hadn't even noticed that the bowl was gone. "It's time to change, it's time to change, it's time to change." That phrase sounded in Sakura's mind, it echoed and hit her head hard. "He's right, it's time to change." Sakura got up and thanked for the food. She left the restaurant and headed to training field 7, where everyone was training. She would go with them, I would train. From the top of a roof, Naruto watched as Sakura left the raiment stand. She had a determined face. Finally, she made her way to the training field. Naruto smiled and disappeared in the blink of an eye towards his house. He had a seal to advance. 2 days later. Things were going well for everyone, in fact, everything was completely normal. Naruto used shadow clones to advance with a bridge seal, that's what he called his first creation, his name will be explained later, while Naruto original practiced with others. Naruto, along with Kiyomi and Mito, were walking through the streets of Konoha. Menma had separated from them, and Sasuke decided to stay and train a little more. "So you're training Dad's jutsu?" Mito said surprised. "Yes, but the truth is it cost me too much. I have been working on that seal since I reached level 9 of Fuinjutsu 3 years ago. If it weren't for the shadow clones, it would have taken even longer to even create my own formula. Now I have it ready, I just need to train it, which is not easy either. I guess I'll ask your father for some advice." Alright, the three continued walking until suddenly, Naruto noticed a box that was supposedly following them stealthily. The Uchiha touched his friend's shoulders and pointed out the small box. Kiyomi made a confused face while Mito patted his face. "Konohamaru, get out of there, that can't even be called a costume." "Wow, you discovered me, just as I would expect from my teacher." A voice came out of the box suddenly, the box exploded in a cloud of smoke of different colors. "Damn Yuden. You put too much smoke." Another voice came out of the colorful cloud. "I'm sorry," another voice rang. Naruto looked impassively at the large cloud of colors in front of him, finally it dissipated showing 3 boys no more than 9 years old. "Hello Konohamaru, who are your friends?" said Mito. "I'm Yuden and I like numbers," said a boy with glasses. "I'm Ogi, the strongest and cutest kunoichi in the village," said a little girl. "And I am Konohamaru, grandson of the Sandaime and future Hokage," he finished. "You already know how they are." The 3 boys performed a kind of group pose. "Well, stop that, hey Mito Ni-chan, who are they?" Konohamaru asked pointing at the boys. "I'm Kiyomi and I like dangos," said the Uchiha imitating the children. The girl looked at Naruto telling him with her eyes to introduce himself. "I'm Naruto and I like training," said Naruto. Pfffff. Kiyomi held back her laughter. Okay, hey Mito Ni-chan, do you want to play ninjas?" Konohamaru asked. "It's okay just for now that I'm free," said Mito. The 3 boys began to run, being chased by Myth. Naruto and Kiyomi watched this scene with amusement, they followed the group walking calmly. In the middle of the game, Konohamaru made a sharp turn in a corner, as he turned he collided with someone falling to the ground. "Damn kid, that hurt." A voice sounded from behind the corner. Mito and Konohamaru's friends approached the corner, realizing that there was a boy a little taller than Mito who was holding Konohamaru by his scarf. "Hey Kankuro, leave the child alone, we don't want any problems," a female voice sounded behind Kankuro. "But Tamari, this brat bumped into me and hasn't apologized, I think I should teach him manners the hard way," Kankuro responded. "Ash, do what you want, but I hope you face the consequences," the girl responded. Kankuro was a boy who wore a complete black suit, he wore a hat of the same color that fell to the sides of his face, the hat had a kind of pointed ears, speaking of his face, it was painted with some kind of stripes. Purple ones that formed patterns, black eyes, he had black ninja shoes. The hat had the ninja band integrated with the symbol of the Sand Village, the most significant feature of it was the kind of bundle wrapped in bandages that it carries on its back. Tamari was a white-skinned girl with blonde hair tied in 4 short pigtails, captivating dark green eyes, she wore a tight lilac dress with chainmail lace that reached her thighs, and she wore a red band at her waist. Adjusting the dress, black ninja shoes, she wore the Sand Ninja band as a kind of band on her neck, basically the same as Kiyomi, on her back, she wore a kind of giant fan that was closed. "Meh, I'm bad with descriptions." "Hey, what do you think you're doing?" Mito said angrily as they were mistreating her little friend. "Hey, who are you girl?" "Ah, it doesn't matter, you better get out, I'm busy teaching this kid a lesson," Kankuro said raising his fist. Kankuro brought his fist to Konohamaru's face who closed his eyes, however the pain never came, the little boy opened his eyes, seeing how the fist that was aimed at him had been stopped by a hand. Kankuro watched as a black-haired boy with black eyes stopped his blow as if it were nothing, suddenly he felt his hand being crushed. "I didn't know there could be people so cowardly as to hit a little child," Naruto said, squeezing Kankuro's hand. "Hey." Kankuro said, but he couldn't continue as he felt the pain of his hand being squeezed. Wow, a handsome boy, apparently Konoha has good matches, Temari thought with a very small blush. What are you waiting for? Let go of the child. You let go of my hand, you bastard. Said Kankuro. You already know what to do to get him to let go, so do it. Kankuro's hand cracked, indicating the bone damage. Kankuro let go of Konohamaru who sat down but got up immediately. Naruto let go of Kankuro's hand who grabbed it with his other hand enduring the pain. Are you going to explain to me why you were going to hit the third Hokage's grandson? Everyone in the village knew that Konohamaru was Hiruzen Sarutobi's grandson, the third Hokage's grandson. Kankuro gulped. That's right, now explain to me the reason, said Naruto passively. He collided with me, Kankuro said, lowering his head. Naruto had his eyes blank. Really? Why did he collide with you? That's pathetic, said a voice coming from a tree. It was Sasuke who was on the tree branch, playing with a stone. Until you finally speak, said Naruto. Wow. Another handsome boy. Konoha surprises me more and more, Temari thought with another blush. TSK, and who are you? Kankuro asked, still holding his hand. I would tell you my name but I think you should apologize to the boy first, Sasuke said, grabbing a rock and squeezing it. Screw it, I'm not going to do that. Kankuro said, trying to maintain his pride. Get lost, Sasuke. Said, opening his hand, letting some dust fall from it, a sign that the stone was shattered. Kankuro growled. Sasuke threw a small stone that hit Kankuro's head. Oh. Hey, what the hell? Kankuro tried to look at Sasuke, but he was no longer on the branch, but was next to Naruto. Well, I guess we're leaving, said Naruto. Oh no, you're not leaving, said Kankuro. Now Kankuro, stop looking for problems, said Temari. Just wait, Temari, I have a few things to fix. Now what do you want? Naruto asked. I think you owe me a handshake, friend, said Kankuro. I don't have time for that, I'm going to train with my friends, said Naruto turning around. Hey, you're not going to escape. Kankuro grabbed Naruto's shoulder, turned him around and grabbed him by the collar of his shirt, pulling him towards him, facing him. You're going to pay for what you did to me, did you hear me? Kankuro said angrily. I don't owe anything to a sissy cat, said Naruto. Silence. The FFFF. Kiyomi covered her mouth from behind everyone. She had been watching the situation from behind. She was holding in her laughter as best she could. How effeminate. Kankuro said, getting angrier. You have makeup on your face, said Naruto. Kankuro growled, it's not makeup, it's war paint and I'm not a cat. Whatever you say. Naruto hit Kankuro's hand, removing him. He was about to leave when he felt a presence that had been bothering him for a while. Hey, when are you going to get down from there? You're making me uncomfortable, Naruto said, looking towards the tree where Sasuke was previously. It was then that everyone turned their gaze towards the tree. Behind it was a figure that seemed to be carrying a large pumpkin on its back. The figure disappeared in a swirl of sand and appeared in front of Kankuro. Georgia Gagara, Kankuro said with a broken voice. Silence. You are a shame to our village, said the one known as Gaara. Gaara was a figure somewhat smaller than the myth itself. He wore a black full bodysuit with bandages on the ankles, black sneakers, a type of white cloth passed over his shoulder, traveling through his torso and reaching the other part of his waist and went down the middle of his legs. The large pumpkin that he had on his back was supported by a really thick brown belt that went over Gaara's other shoulder. His skin was a really pale color with empty green eyes. He had no eyebrows, spiky and somewhat disheveled red hair. He had a kind of black shadow that was around his eyes, resembling dark circles. Or rather the marks of a raccoon. Above her left eye was the kanji for love marked in deep red. Tsunagakur's ninja band was tied to her belt. I'm sorry for the scandal my brother has caused, Gaara said, his voice sounding like a whisper. Okay, calm down, said Naruto. Inside Myth's mind, the Kyuubi opened his eyes somewhat surprised. This presence, so you're there, right? You stupid raccoon, the Kyuubi thought. I'm interested, tell me your name, Gaara said, pointing to Naruto. I think you should introduce yourself first, said Naruto. True, my name is Sabaku no Gaara-san. Gaara, these are my brothers Sabaku no Temari and Sabaku no Kankuro. Well, my name is Naruto Uchiha. Gaara gave a somewhat murky smile. So Naruto Uchiha mother asks for your noble blood. Gaara released a killer instinct that made his brothers retreat. The three little children got scared and ran after Mito. His mother. Naruto thought. Naruto expanded his sensor sense and noticed that Gaara had a second chakra. What the hell? The only ones who have two chakras are supposed to be Jinchuricus. Naruto looked into Myth's eyes, the bright purples turning to slit red for a second before returning to normal. So you want to talk, Naruto thought. Tell your mother that she will have to wait. Okay, but he's not very patient. Let's go. Kankuro Temari. Gaara turned around and left with his brothers. You're okay, Naruto said, crouching down to Konohamaru's height. Yes, boss, said the boy. Boss, said Naruto. Yes. You're very strong, I didn't even feel when you showed up and you broke that guy's wrist effortlessly. That was so cool. I guess, Naruto said before getting up and addressing Mito. "Hey brat, I want to talk to you and the Uchiha brat, with Naruto." Myth asked in his mind. "Yes," the Kyuubi responded. "Alright." Mito's eyes turned red. Naruto activated his Sharingan and looked into Mito's eyes. At that moment they all turned black. Water, but rarely is it not wet. Naruto was in the same room where he had met the Kyuubi for the first time. "Okay, I'll be quick brats." Mito and Naruto were in front of the yang half of the Kyuubi. This half was equal to the yin, with the difference that its fur was a bright orange color. "Well, as you may have realized, Uchiha, if you used your sensory ability, that the boy without eyebrows contains a second source of chakra, specifically a denser one. I could feel the other chakra, but not if it was denser," said Naruto. "Okay, what happens in the end?" asked Mito. "That boy, he is the Jinchuriki of the one-tailed Biju, Shukaku. I see. Wait, Shukaku. Is that his real name?" Naruto asked. "Yes. Why? You still don't tell me your real name. I already told you the conditions. Don't be impatient," the Kyuubi responded, grunting. "What I'm saying is that it is very strange that they have brought the Jinchuriki of the village here. They may be confident, after all Konoha and Tsuna are in alliance, yes, but still, the Jinchurikis are unfortunately considered the most important weapon. I'm just saying that it is somewhat out of place. Be more attentive," said the Kyuubi. The two boys nodded. "Well, get out now, I want to sleep," said the Kyuubi, lying down. Mito touched Naruto's cheek with a finger. "Pup." Touching Naruto's cheek, he suddenly disappeared. Were you able to expel it from your mind?" said the Kyuubi, somewhat surprised. "Yep, apparently it's easy to control once he doesn't resist." "That's very strange, you better explain it to me later." "Oh, how sweet. Do you want to talk to me? Don't make me sorry brat now. Now don't be angry little fox." Inept brat out of connection. I can only assume they were talking to the Kyuubi. Sasuke whispered. They were still on the street. "Yes," said Naruto. "What did he tell you?" Kiyomi asked. "Well. Don't worry, I'll tell you later. It's very dangerous here. They could hear us. Okay, see you at the exams. I want to rest a little," Mito said, leaving. "Goodbye," the three responded. 5 days later. "Alright, time to start with the good stuff." Teams 7 and 11 were at the entrance to the academy. The 6 genin were calm until suddenly an explosion of smoke appeared, showing Kushina and Kakashi. "Hello," Kushina said. "Yo," said Kakashi, raising his hand. "I see everyone came, even your Sakura." "Very good," the Reteat gave Sakura a thumbs up. Sakura nodded. "Very well, don't be afraid to say much, just that you have to go to room 307. See you." Kushina and Kakashi disappeared in a swirl of leaves. "That Shunshin is very pretty," said Kiyomi before entering the room with her companions. The two teams moved forward until they climbed to the second floor until they saw a room with a lot of genins in front of it. At the door of the room, there were 2 other genin who did not let anyone enter. Naruto and the others approached the room and realized that their number was 307. Naruto and the others felt a small interception in their chakra. Naruto activated his Sharingan, verifying their suspicions. "It's a Jinjutsu, I guess they do it to eliminate once and for all those who can't dispel it," said Naruto in a whisper. The genin listened to what he said except for one, who ruined everything. "Ha ha ha. That Jinjutsu is pathetic, come on, dispel it once and for all." Mito slapped Menma. "Idiot. That Jinjutsu was to eliminate the weak, now you gave us more unnecessary competition." Naruto sighed. Menma's attitude is getting worse, he thought. The teams were about to go up to the 3rd floor until someone interrupted them. "Hey. Are you Naruto Uchiha?" A voice called to our protagonist. Naruto turned around looking at who was calling him. It was a boy who wore a completely green spandex suit. He wore orange leg warmers from his ankles to his knees. He had bandages that reached from his elbow to his hands, leaving his fingers free. His hair was shaped like a bowl, and he had bulging black eyes. The most striking thing about him is possibly the large masses of hair he calls eyebrows. He wore the Konoha ninja band tied around his waist. "Yes, who's asking?" "My name is Rock Lee." "I see, a lot of pleasure," said Naruto friendly. "It's still a pleasure to meet you. I have a proposal to make you," said Rock Lee. Yeah, what's wrong?" "Vera, I heard that you are a great prodigy. I wonder who spread that rumor," Naruto thought. "So I wanted to know if would you please grant me a friendly duel?" Rock Lee bowed a little. "Hey, you don't have to bow down. Look, I would like to have a fight with you, but I think it's more efficient for us to save our skills for the exam. Who knows, we might have to face each other," said Naruto. "Oh, I understand, next time. Unlike other prodigies, you're not arrogant, I like that," Rock Lee said, smiling openly. "Ah yes, by the way, one more thing." Rock Lee turned around while standing in front of Sakura. "You're Sakura Haruno, right?" Rock Lee asked. Why yes, why?" said Sakura. "Please be my girlfriend, I will protect you with my life," Rock Lee said, raising a thumb while smiling and winking. Naruto swore he watched Rock Lee's teeth shine. "What? No, absolutely not," said Sakura. "Oh, okay." Rock reads under his head. "Lee, what are you supposed to do?" A female voice called out to Rock Lee. I'm sorry Tenten, I have to go, see you later Naruto. Rock Lee said and then went with his team. Naruto looked at Lee's team, it was him, the girl who called him and a Hyuga, a very serious Hyuga. I've seen him before, Naruto thought. It's Neji Hyuga, the prodigy of the Hyuga clan. Neji looked at Naruto. So those are the last Uchihas, they don't look like much Neji thought and then walked past them with his team. We have to go up, let's go Sasuke said so that everyone went to the third floor. Upon reaching the third floor, after walking for a while, everyone found room 307, which they entered, they were greeted with waves of murderous intent. And what's wrong with these? Kiyomi asked. They are sending us murderous intent like crazy said Myth. What is the killing intent itself supposed to be? Sakura asked. Basically they are negative feelings that make you direct your hostility towards someone, Naruto explained. You're supposed to cause fear with murderous intent, but I don't feel anything Sasuke said. Ha. It's because we're stronger than all these losers, Menma said with his ego rising. Maybe, but how do we stop them from sending that? Mito asked. Easy, if we want them to stop sending it after a while, we simply have to show that it doesn't affect us, but if we want them to stop now, the air around everyone became heavy, you must show them that yours is superior said Naruto seriously. What the hell Menma thought. Because I feel like it's cold Sasuke and Kiyomi thought. The genin who cast instinct first began to sweat, even though they felt cold. I feel like it's hard to breathe said a random genin. He is powerful said a genin in a whisper. Heh, I want your blood more and more Uchiha certain Reed thought. Naruto changed his look to a calm one, at that moment everything returned to normal. What was that? Menma asked. That was my killing intention said Naruto. What the hell? Menma shouted. How come your murderous intent is like this? Myth asked. Sometimes I felt a lot of pain Naruto responded. Oh, I'm sorry Myth said. Don't worry, how about we go inside now? Naruto said with a smile. Upon entering the genin they met Team 10. Wow, so you guys are here too, this is so troublesome. Hello, Naruto. Said a certain broad-boned boy. Hello Chaoji, Shika said Naruto as he approached with Sasuke. Do you want? Chaoji offered them his parents. Each one took one of the Chaoji potatoes. Sasuke was eating quietly until he felt a weight fall on top of him. Hello, Sasuke-kun. Did you miss me? Ino Yamanaka had jumped on top of Sasuke with a smiling voice. Sakura watched this scene with anger until she remembered Naruto's words. The pink-haired girl took a deep breath and calmed down, waiting for things to take the obvious direction. Ino, get off now, will you? Sasuke said. Hey Sasuke-kun, why are you so mean? Ino said with a playful voice, although she was surprised that Sakura didn't start fighting. Wow, looks like the whole gang is here, said another voice. Ah, them too, how problematic, Shikamaru murmured. Teammate had arrived. Hello, me Menma-kun said Hinata blushing. Hello, Menma murmured disinterestedly. Hinata gave a sigh and approached her friends. Shino went next to Naruto and the others. The team with a ninja band that had a musical note looked attentively towards the Konoha teams. Are they the ones he talks about all the time? Asked a boy with blue hair. Apparently yes, he really wants his bloodline, said a boy with a bandaged face. I don't think that Sharingan guy is a big deal, said a girl with black hair. Who knows, that snake loves her for a reason, answered the one with the bandaged face again. The Konoha genin continued living together until a white-haired boy approached them. SHHHH, you should shut up, you're drawing a lot of attention said the boy. And who are you? Menma asked. Sorry for not introducing myself, my name is Kabuto Yakushi, and like you I'm going to take the Chunin exams, even if it's my 7th time he 7th time. Myth asked. Wow, you must be very weak Menma said jokingly, don't believe it, these exams are actually difficult said Kabuto, adjusting his glasses. But. I have a help for you Kabuto took out some letters from his pocket see these letters, well, these are our link to my chakra, I can give you information about the participants of the Chunin exams, Naruto hesitated. Can you give me information about Rock Lee? Naruto asked. You gave me the name, don't you make it fun Kabuto led chakra towards the card and suddenly, Rock Lee's information appeared next to a photo of himself. Rock Lee, apparently he is a year older than you, however he did not take last year's Chunin exam, his team is made up of Might Guy, the green beast of Konoha as Jonin Sensei, Tenten and Neji Hyuga, his experience in missions is 40 D rank and 23 C rank, in recent months, his Taijutsu skills have grown exponentially, but his other branches, such as ninjutsu and jinjutsu, are low. Naruto thought critically, he heard Rock Lee's information, but more so, he was trying to decipher Kabuto. Can you give us information about Sabaku no Gaara? Mito asked. Okay Sabaku no Gaara here he is, he comes from the Sand Village, his team is made up of his brother Sabaku no Kankuro and Sabaku no Tamari, Jonin Sensei is Baki, with no last name apparently. It is not known. It is very clear what his abilities are. Unfortunately, we do not have information about that. However, we know that he has something he calls perfect defense. There is no record of his D rank missions, but he has 20 C rank and 3 rank B. But I found something else. Apparently he returned from each of his missions without a scratch. The genin were surprised at that. That guy has returned from his missions without a scratch. TSK, troublesome, Shikamaru murmured. Give me information about Naruto Uchiha. Menma said. Even Naruto was a little surprised. Naruto Uchiha, here he is. His team is made up of the other two last Uchihas, the brothers Sasuke and Kiyomi Uchiha. His Jonin sensei is Kakashi the ninja who copies. His skills are Kabuto. Swallowed, everyone realized that his taijutsu is of a high level, like his ninjutsu, as it contains 3 natures of chakra. His genjutsu is very powerful and is enhanced by his bloodline. He has carried out a total of 35 rank missions D, 25 rank C, 2 rank B and 1 rank A. Everyone turned their gaze to Naruto. Naruto snatched a letter from Kabuto and tore it up. I'm sorry, but I won't let you reveal any more information about me, Naruto said with a serious look. Yes, suddenly, a really tall man entered the room followed by men shorter than him. Very well, you vermin, you better listen to me. I want everyone to sit according to the number that these idiots will give you, understood? All the men who came behind the Jonin handed out numbers, so, after a while, all the genin were sitting in their places. Naruto was sitting almost in the middle of the room. Next to him there were filler genin. Behind him a few Sasuke was standing there, and in front of him was Kiyomi. Very well, I'm going to introduce myself, said the tall man. My name is Ibiki Marino. Ibiki was wearing the standard Konoha Jonin outfit underneath a sleeveless black trench coat. His ninja headband was in bandana style covering his entire head. Most notable feature, possibly the 2 giant scars that ran across his face. Now, I will explain to you what you are going to do. Each of you will receive an exam. There are 10 questions. If you are wondering why the exam sheet has only 9 questions, from now on I warn you that the 10th question will be dictated at the end. Each one will start with 100 points. Each failed question is minus 10 points. If they lose all their points, they are out. If they try to copy, they are out along with their entire team. For that, all these idiots next to me will be watching them. The genin listened attentively. You only have 45 minutes to complete the exam, so you better start as soon as you receive the exam. Now go ahead. All the participants received their exam. Naruto looked at the exam sheet only to be surprised. These questions are too advanced. He thought at least they are of Jonin level or whatever. I can answer most of them. All those years of study have been of some use. Naruto turned his gaze, realizing that Menma was sweating profusely. Wait a moment, Naruto began to analyze. These questions are too advanced for a normal genin to be able to answer. Naruto moved his gaze until he saw how a very small group of genins were answering the questions no problem. That's it. Those are not genin, they are chunin in disguise, so if they already know the answers, the objective of the exam is to copy. Sasuke had the same thoughts as Naruto. Heh, I already have this ready. Sasuke stared at one of the hidden chunin and activated his Sharingan. I'll copy that guy's hand movements. Sasuke moved the chunin's hand in the same way and speed. A piece of cake. Kiyomi began to do the same. Naruto smiled, his team was doing well. The other genin of Naruto's generation also advanced. Kiba helped himself with Akamaru, who saw the others' responses from Kiba's head. Shino did it with his insects. Apparently Lee helped himself with his ninja band, and some mirrors that were on the roof, which were managed by Tenten, Niji and Hinata, used their Byakugan to see through people. Ino used the mind transfer jutsu to copy Sakura. Shikamaru was already intelligent by nature, and Choji waited for his answers. Companions Mito was smart, so he was handling it well. So, should I throw the kunai at an angle of 45 degrees or 60 degrees? Oh, this question is getting complicated. It's 45 degrees. The Kyuubi's voice resonated in Myth's head. Are you helping me? The blonde asked in her mind. On this question alone, I'm surprised that someone as stubborn and annoying as you has intelligence in that brain. Oh, you're flattering me. I'm also surprised by the power you have to make me regret helping you every time I do, you inept brat. Ijiji Gaara made hand seals. Strangely, sand began to gather around him. Gaara closed one of his eyes and opened his hand. The sand gathered in his hand and formed a kind of eye that began to float. Opening of the third eye. The sand that was previously floating got into the eyes of one of the chunin, causing him to clean them. The eye was positioned in front of his exam. Gaara was able to see everything that was written. Naruto and Ibiki noticed how he copied. He has an interesting power, Naruto thought. Just look at the tranquility with which it passes it. Seems that this generation has promised. Naruto observed how Ibiki did not scold Gaara, despite having seen him. That works for me. Naruto activated his Sharingan and looked into the eyes of some chunin who happened to be looking at him. The chunin watched as the Uchiha boy looked at him with those magical eyes. He felt a little dizzy before returning to reality. The crow crashed into the window where he was lying. He turned around quickly, thanks to the scare it gave him. "What's wrong with you?" asked a chunin next to him. "Didn't you see how that bird crashed?" asked the first one. "No, you must be going crazy," said the other, returning to watch. Naruto continued putting genjutsu on every chunin he saw in the eyes, but you might wonder, what was he doing? Well, basically with the genjutsu he threw, he made the chunin believe that he was taking the exam calmly. However, he could move as much as he wants, and the chunin wouldn't notice. Basically he could stop whenever he wanted to give the answers to Kiyomi and talk to her in the process. And the chunin wouldn't say anything to him. Menma received help from Hinata, who gave him the answers taking advantage of the fact that they were next to each other. There were 10 minutes left until the test was over. Now Naruto had managed to pass some answers to Kiyomi and Sasuke, although they didn't need them at all. Now Naruto had something else in mind, which was Kabuto. He didn't know why, but it seemed too suspicious. Kabuto had too much information, as much as that of a cage except for Gaara, but nevertheless he had information about ninjas from the villages that was too suspicious. Added to the fact that he had repeated the exam 7 times, Kabuto may be supposedly bad. But not enough to fail so many times, right? The 10 minutes passed and Ibiki finished the test. In the end, there were fewer genins in the room than before, since they had been caught cheating. "Very well, Vermin, the time has come for the 10th question. But before dictating it, I need to tell you something. You have 2 options. You can go now blocking the 10th question. You will be disqualified, but you will be able to try the exams again in 6 months. Then we choose to answer it," some genin shouted. "Heh, that's the fun part. If you choose to answer them, but you answer them wrong, you will be disqualified, and not only that, but you will no longer be able to take the chunin exams in your life, which means you will never advance as a ninja." More said Ibiki smiling. All the genin remained silent. It is as if a bucket of cold water had fallen on their shoulders. "What? No, they can't do that," a genin shouted. "Oh, of course we can do it." Ibiki responded, "Don't worry, if you prefer the first option, just raise your hand. The bad thing is that your entire team will be disqualified." Now I remember this guy, thought Naruto. Ibiki Murino, head of the Konoha torture and interrogation squad. Really knows how to play with minds. A few minutes passed where many teams were disqualified because one of their members gave up. There were even teams that gave up at the discretion of everyone. Menma was about to raise his hand but he stood up from his seat and then gave a speech about how he wasn't going to go back on his word and become a great shinobi and the next ninja god. Ego sky high. The thing is that Menma's speech motivated more genins to stay on the last question. Naruto knew what this test was for. First, they would force the genin to cheat on the exam. It is an information gathering test. And finally, Ibiki would play with the minds of the genin to make them get into tension. The situation created by Ibiki was similar to the situation in which you have a difficult mission ahead of you. To be chunin you have to face the missions no matter how difficult they are. Like this, what Naruto supposed. To pass the test, you just had to stay in the classroom. But now, Menma had increased the competition again. All the genin motivated by Menma's speech had stayed. Ibiki observed this before saying the next words. "Very well, to all those who stayed for the last question, I only have this to say: you passed." "What?" shouted all the genin except Naruto, Sasuke and Kiyomi. "Heh, it seems like the Uchihas already knew," Ibiki thought. Those in the sand don't look that surprised either. After that, Ibiki would explain the real reason for the test, which turned out to be the one that Naruto had proposed. When Ibiki was about to let them go, the window suddenly broke and a kind of figure wrapped in a sign entered. The figure turned around and the sign spread. 2 kunai came out from the center and stuck the sign to the ceiling. The sign said something like, "The second phase of the chunin exams with Anko Mitarashi." Or something like that. Anko was a young girl with a slim build, a very well-defined body covered only by a Mayan suit that was under a brown miniskirt. On top of everything, a beige trench coat, knee pads that reached to her heels, and ninja shoes. Standard, purple hair tied up in a tomato, empty light brown eyes. In his mouth, he carried a toothpick that seemed to be a dango. "Hello little leeches. My name is Anko Mitarashi, and I am the promoter of the second test of the chunin exams. You got ahead of yourself," as always said Ibiki, coming out from behind the sign, leaving Anko embarrassed. "Well, it's time to go to the second test site. I want you all at training ground 44 in 1 hour. Whoever arrives late will be disqualified, understand?" Anko disappeared in an explosion of smoke. All the genin got up from their seats and headed to training ground 44, better known as the Forest of Death. Naruto stayed a little longer in the living room. Ibiki noticed this. "What is it, boy?" Ibiki asked. "Mr. Ibiki, I am not one to give orders or anything like that, but this situation is somewhat strange. I would like you to notify the Hokage to keep an eye on a participant called Kabuto Yakushi, since he handles relevant information about the participants that normally only cages should have. Okay, I'll tell the Hokage your request." "Thank you." Naruto disappeared in a shunshin. "Heh, that kid," Ibiki thought. Use a genjutsu to make himself practically invisible to the Chunin. Really ingenious. We'll see what you're capable of doing in this second test. I think it won't be as easy as this. Ibiki left the room and headed to the Hokage's office to pass on the information provided by Naruto. Location: Fire Country, Konohagakure no Sato, Training Ground 44. Training Camp 44, better known as the Forest of Death, is an area of land covered by trees of truly gigantic size. Inside the forest, the light was scarce, and worst of all, wild animals resided within it. More than animals, they were monsters shaped like these, but as dangerous as it is, this was the place to which all the genin who were able to pass the second phase of the Chunin exams went, the Forest of Death, place of the second phase of the exams. Anko Mitarashi was eating dango at the entrance to the Forest of Death. It was surrounded by a metal fence that covered the entire perimeter, so to speak. In the distance, the Jonin managed to see how all the genin were coming in a disorganized manner, trying to arrive on time, because after all, whoever arrived 1 minute after the agreed time would be disqualified, according to the words of Anko Mitarashi herself. The genins arrived in front of her with great fury. They were talking about trivial things. Some took a breath because they had run from the academy to hear, others simply remained silent, and others stared at her. A bunch of perverts. Just at that moment, Naruto appeared in a shunshin next to Kiyomi and Sasuke. "Hello," said Naruto, appearing behind the boys. "Kaya?" Kiyomi gave a small scream. "Hey, don't scream," Naruto said. "What's wrong with you?" "You were the one who scared me," said Kiyomi. "Never let your guard down," said Naruto. HMPH, Kiyomi groaned. "Hey, was that an Uchiha growl?" Naruto asked. "Yeah," said Kiyomi curtly. "He's really angry," Naruto whispered to Sasuke. Yes, apparently yes, you're going to have to apologize or he's going to ignore you all day," Sasuke responded. "Kiyomi, I don't think it's time for that, we're in the Chunin exam," said Naruto. Kiyomi turned around and didn't respond. "It can't be," Naruto facepalmed. "Please forgive me?" Naruto asked. Kiyomi didn't respond. "I think you said it reluctantly," she notices it, Sasuke said. Naruto thought for a moment until he smiled. The Uchiha hugged the girl from behind. "Now you can't ignore me, can you?" Naruto asked Kiyomi, who became nervous, and a slight red tone appeared on her face. "Could you please forgive me, I didn't mean to scare you," Naruto said in Kiyomi's ear. "Of course I forgive you, but you'll have to pay me something, let me guess, dangos." Naruto's smile disappeared. "You know me well," Kiyomi smiled victoriously. "Okay, I'll buy you dangos," said Naruto, his wallet started to cry. "Thank you, Naruto-kun," said Kiyomi. "Yes, yeah, how about we pay attention?" "Alright. Listen to me, my pretty and destroyable genin." Anko called everyone's attention. "Get ready because the second test is about to begin. As you can see, this beautiful training field is easily the largest in Konoha. Now, I will explain to you what the test is about." Anko took out 2 scrolls from her pocket, one was of a whitish blue color, while the other was a dark blue color. "This scroll," he said, pointing to the lighter one, "it's the scroll of heaven. And this other one," he pointed to the other scroll, "it is the scroll of the earth." The genin watched attentively. "The test consists of the following, each team will have one of these scrolls, whether from the earth or the sky, they will enter the Forest of Death and will have to snatch the opposing scroll from one team. In easy words, if your team has the earth scroll, you will have to look for a team that has the sky scroll, defeat it, and get the 2 scrolls. Once you have the 2 scrolls, you will have to go to a tower that is in the center of the forest, there you will know what to do on your own. One more thing, you are prohibited from opening the scrolls before reaching the tower, even if you have both." Many genins were preparing. "By the way, I almost forgot, please sign these papers." Anko took out a stack of papers from a seal that she began to distribute to the genin. "What is this for?" asked a random genin. "Oh, it's so I don't take responsibility for their very possible deaths," Anko said with a sweet smile. Many genins began to sweat. As if this forest were so dangerous. Menma's ego was present, he was going to continue mocking until a kunai passed next to his cheek, generating a cut. Anko appeared from behind him. "Be careful, people like you are the first to die in there, you know. Monsters love the taste of a loser," Anko said while licking Menma's wound, who swallowed saliva. "Oh, excuse me, miss, but I think you dropped this." A kunoichi from Kusagakure, country of grass, approached Anko and handed her kunai, but in a strange way, the woman's tongue extended too far where the kunai was coiled at its tip. "Thank you, girl," Anko said, smiling, but then she put on a very serious face. Naruto watched as the Kusa ninja handed the weapon to Anko. He felt the ringing in his head resonate strongly, indicating great danger. The Uchiha turned on his sensory ability and became a little more alarmed. He could feel how that girl was restricting a large amount of chakra, but it didn't escape him. A hand rested on his shoulder. When he turned around, he saw Mito, but this one had the Kyuubi's features highlighted. "Myth?" Naruto asked. The girl shook her head, leaned close to his ear and whispered. I am the Kyuubi, I have taken possession of your body for a moment, I have to tell you something important, what's wrong? Naruto asked. I don't have much time, so I'd better tell you in code that Kusa girl smells like snakes. It was the last thing the Kyuubi said before Mito took possession of his body again. You see, what am I doing here? Asked Mito. It smells like snakes. Naruto repeated that phrase in his head, he was taken out of his thoughts as Anko screamed again. Okay brats, gather with your teams, let's give you the scrolls. One more thing, you only have 5 days to reach the tower with the 2 scrolls, if you don't make it, you're out. Each genin met with their team. Anko and a few more chunin who arrived began to distribute the scrolls to the different teams. Naruto's team got the scroll of heaven. So we have to get the earth scroll, said Naruto. Yeah, each chunin began to call the different genin teams and they distributed them through the different doors of the forest of death. Naruto, Sasuke and Kiyomi were at the south entrance of the forest. Well, the second phase of the chunin exams begins in 3, all the genin became attentive too, the breathing of many was short, the saliva went down towards the throat indicating fear and concern, there are few calm glances. 1, the doors began to open. Now. At the moment Anko shouted the genin began to enter training ground 44. Team 7 was jumping from branch to branch, from inside, the forest was much more terrifying. The Kusagakure ninja was jumping with her team between the branches. They know who we're looking for, said the girl, to which one of her colleagues nodded. Yes, to those 3 brats the soundtrack team was in the same situation. You already know what our objective is, we must look for those 3 Uchihas, said the one with the bandaged face, taking advantage. Naruto and the brothers stopped at a very small clearing in the forest. Good, now we have to come up with a plan, in case an opposing team attacks us or tries to trick us. Yes, how about? Kiyomi was about to continue speaking when she heard the unmistakable sound of air cutting. He moved, avoiding the kunai that was aimed at his neck. Other kunai were directed towards Team 7 who jumped away from each one. Suddenly a ninja jumped against Sasuke. The Uchiha took out a kunai and inserted it into the chest of the ninja who grunted but didn't seem to care much. Well, I want you to tell us where your scroll is or we will finish you off without fear, said a new ninja behind Kiyomi, pointing a kunai directly at his neck. Another ninja appeared behind Naruto, placing his kunai on the back of Naruto's head. When are you idiots going to respond? Said the ninja. Naruto looked carefully at the ninjas, they seemed to have the same uniform, one had spiky black hair with bandages on his face, each of the ninjas had some kind of breathing mask. They had the village's ninja band hiding in the rain, Amegakure no Sato, okay, but before I die, said Naruto looking at his companions winking at them, his companions smiled. What scroll do you have? Naruto asked. Well, how are you about to die? I'll tell you, we have the earth scroll, answered the genin. Very well, we have the one from heaven, Naruto responded. Great, I guess we're lucky today, right? Comrades? The ninja asked his companions who nodded with a kind of evil smile. I guess, but I think it's the other way around, what do you mean? Asked the American ninja. They have bad luck, ha. And why do you think that? Asked the ninja. Because of all the teams they could come across, Sasuke interrupted. He went with us, Kiyomi said, then the girl gave a strong elbow to the stomach of the genin who was holding her captive. Naruto and Sasuke crouched down, sweeping their legs at their attackers. Kiyomi hit the aim ninja hard in the face, who grabbed his face, his mask had broken a little, the Uchiha girl continued with her assault, blows fell incessantly on the body of the poor rain ninja, it was until then that he was able to defend himself a little. A taijutsu battle began between the ninja and Kiyomi who could defend himself quite well. Sasuke hit his attacker in the stomach, then he gave a low kick to the ninja's leg, who bent, he tried another blow, but the ninja blocked it. I don't think you should hit the jackpot after all, if you're hurt, left hook, and the ninja doubled up again. After the sweep, Naruto had no mercy and completely destroyed the ninja. The aim-nin tried to defend himself. He attempted a straight blow towards Naruto, who crouched down and gave an uppercut to his stomach. He kicked directly in the stomach and the aim ninja was hit. Pushed back, however, Naruto grabbed his arm and pulled him towards him, elbowing him in the chest. The combo. He gave a right kick to the genin's side, with the same leg he gave a high paw, turned on his axis, and gave a spinning kick with his left leg. Kiyomi pushed his opponent against a tree, threw some kunai and shuriken which buried themselves in the skin of the genin who screamed, although his pain was reciprocated by another blow to the stomach that embedded him further into the tree. Kiyomi grabbed the genin's arm and lifted him up, passing it over his body, and gravity continued with the work, the genin fell hard against the ground, creating a small crater. Sasuke grabbed the genin's arm and bent it in a lock that fractured the genin's arm, kneed him in the stomach and that's it, the genin fell to the ground. What the hell, said the genin on the ground. I guess they got too trusting, Sasuke said, taking a small breath. Okay, now, tell me where the earth scroll is, said Naruto. Fuck you, I won't tell you, the genin shouted. Well, you see, you didn't need to tell me anyway. Naruto looked in the pockets of the genin on the ground who tried to move, but Naruto quickly pulled out a kunai and pointed it at the genin's neck. I don't think you want to do that, Sasuke, and Kiyomi began to search through the clothes of the other genin who were passed out. Here it is. Kiyomi said, finding the scroll in one of the boys. Well, I guess now we have two other kunai headed towards the boys. Another team really? Sasuke said, somewhat annoyed. Naruto looked at the ninja band. Apparently they are ninjas from AIM 2, how many of those ninjas came to this exam? Kiyomi asked, annoyed. Since, we will have to defend ourselves. Naruto took out a scroll from which he unsealed his sword and Sasuke's. At the same time. East area of the Forest of Death. Konoha's teammate was not always very efficient. Kiba and Hinata were good at Taijutsu, especially Hinata, who came from the Hyuga clan of Konoha. However, Kiba is blinded by his attitude of being the alpha, while Hinata, she was very gentle, she wouldn't be able to hurt even an ant. Shino was the cool head, he was the most intelligent and the calmest, he was a good strategist and was also very skilled with his insects. Kurenai helped her team as best he could, he dealt with Kiba's attitude and helped Hinata to have more tenacity when it came to fighting. Shino was fine, but something she was undoubtedly proud of was the tracking ability that her team. Kiba and Akamaru with his sense of smell, Shino with his insects and Hinata with his Byakugan. Currently the team was jumping from branch to branch, it was already very common at this time, however, the three stopped in some bushes in front of a clearing in the immense forest. The reason? Easy, there were two teams in confrontation, or so they were led to believe, since they were only seeing each other directly. One team was the rain team and the other team was the sand team. Well, said one of the rain team, how about you give us some parchment? So we can save ourselves the trouble of having to beat them up. Arrogance flying around him. I'm not interested in you, Gaara said, turning around. Hey. I'm not done with you, you'll regret underestimating us. The three rain ninjas threw their umbrellas into the sky. Ninpo. Jaro Senbon, said the lead ninja. The three umbrellas began to spin rapidly, where suddenly Senbon began to emerge from the umbrellas, a strange current of wind making them spin around their target, which was currently Gaara. You're finished, left, right, up and down, no matter where you move the needles will catch you, there is no blind spot in this jutsu. Gaara closed his eyes, no expression on his face. Now. The ninja shouted, all the Senbon headed at high speed towards Gaara. A cloud of dust rose up covering the impact point. Hehehe, laughed the ninja. The dust cloud dissipated, revealing a shocking scene. Gaara was being protected by a kind of sand dome, it was raised behind and to the sides of Gaara, the Senbon were firmly embedded in the sand walls. The rain ninja picked up his umbrella again, however he had a shocked face, he couldn't believe what he was seeing. TSK, this is not over. The ninja pointed his open umbrella towards Gaara, Senbon headed towards Gaara in a threatening manner, a wall of sand quickly rose in front of Gaara, protecting him from the projectiles. What the hell is that? Kiba whispered in the bushes. I don't know, Hinata said, totally surprised. Apparently Gaara has the ability to control the sand, Shino said in another whisper. The three genin continued to watch the interaction. But what's happening? The ninja shouted. Don't you see it, silly? Kankuro said mockingly. It's Gaara's sand jutsu, it's a perfect defense that acts whenever Gaara is in danger, even when he doesn't realize it, an impenetrable defense. Kankuro boasted about his brother's jutsu. Yoda, the sand comes from the gourd on his back, he can control it with the power of his chakra, although strangely, the sand protects him even without his consent, it can't be, said the ninja. You're annoying, said Gaara. Oh, that guy is a dead man, Kankuro thought. Wow, we should have warned him not to fight, Gaara Tamari thought. Gaara put his hands together, the ninja started running towards him. Sabaku Kai. Sand coffin, said Gaara, extending his hand towards the ninja, the sand that had protected Gaara went against the ninja, trapping his leg, all the sand began to cover the ninja's body, until which was completely surrounded by sand. I can't move, said the desperate ninja. The other thrown umbrellas fell in front of Gaara, who grabbed one. The only thing I need is to cover your big mouth and you would be dead, said Gaara, he opened the umbrella covering himself with it. But that would be slow and boring, said the retard. While his hand flexed his fingers, Gaara raised his hand, making the sand rise into the air next to the ninja who was desperately trying to escape. Let me go, said the ninja. I don't think so, Gaara responded. Gaara closed his fist. Sabaku Sausu, sand burial. The sand that held the ninja captive began to press against itself, only the man's final scream was heard before his body was completely crushed by the sand. A bloody rain fell on Gaara, who covered himself with the umbrella. The ninja's companions had a scared face as their friend's blood covered them. Teammate looked disturbed at the scene before their eyes. To take the scroll, said one of the rain ninjas, releasing the scroll from the sky, leaving it on the ground. Forgive us, said the other. Gaara extended his hands towards the ninjas. The poor people suffered the same fate as their partner. Hinata covered her eyes with her hands, she couldn't bear to see that massacre again. We have to get out of here, Kiba said, turning around surreptitiously. Where do you think you're going? Gaara said, he had noticed the boy's presence. Damn, Kiba thought. Gaara extended his hand towards teammate who couldn't move due to fear. Very well, Gaara. That's enough, said Kankuro, standing in front of Gaara. They are already innocent, they have nothing to do here, said Kankuro seriously. Don't tell me what to do, Gaara said. TSK Kankuro growled and grabbed Gaara by the belt where the pumpkin was tied. Sometimes you have to pay attention to what your older brother says, you hear me? Kankuro said, annoyed. It's a shame that I don't see you as a brother, if you get in my way I'll kill you, Gaara said without emotion. TSK Gaara let go of Kankuro and extended his hand towards where teammate was. Listen Gaara, and you don't have to treat us as if we were your enemies, let this go, okay? Do it as a favor for your older sister, okay? Tamari said, putting his hands together. Gaara stretched out his hand, closed his fingers a little, sand began to accumulate little by little. Teammate and Kankuro were holding their breath, they were one step away from death. Gaara. Tamari shouted. The cork of the gourd materialized in Gaara's hand, which covered the hole in the gourd with it. It will only be this once, Gaara said, turning around and starting to walk. Kankuro let out the breath he was holding and began to walk behind his brother, Tamari, following them with a worried face. Teammate collapsed on their legs, they were nowhere near kissing eternal rest, and to think that they couldn't even move, they were paralyzed by fear. This is bullshit, Kiba said. You could tell that Team 11 was taking it easy, they were already one of the strongest teams in Konoha, or at least that's what they wanted to believe. Mito and Menma were strong, as if that were not enough, Mito received occasional help from her bitter fox friend, as she sometimes called her nine-tailed tenant. Menma was in awe of his half of the Kyuubi. He saw the fox as a source of power that he would have to dominate by force, that was the Kyuubi. It made him angry, but that's not the case now, and of course Akura, who now looked focused, but was unable to hide the fear escaping her jade-colored orbs. They had faced one or another genin team, and finally they got the Sky Scroll, it was the one they needed. Mito wondered how her friends from Team 7 were doing, not that she was worried, after all she knew that that team was easily the best of these exams, yes. She believed that her friends were better than those conceited people from the arena, although she was still not clear about the abilities of those mentioned, they were somewhat mysterious in her opinion. They had been advancing near the southern area for a while, this was because the original route where they were placed had become infested with wild animals that they preferred to avoid, since they were a nuisance, and unlike a human, they would not hesitate. Not even for a second to kill them. Mito continued to advance calmly, followed by her team. Good. Now we have to find the tower in the center and that's it, we have finished this test, if I'm not wrong, now we must find ourselves in the southern area of the forest, the tower is in the center, so we just have to continue heading north and naturally we will find it. Ha. Piece of cake, this test wasn't that difficult. Said Menma. Yeah, said Sakura happily. Well, let's move forward. Mito said, motivated. Team 11 began to advance towards the north, where sooner or later they would find the tower. They were jumping from tree to tree for a long time, in truth the forest was too extensive, there were good things and bad things, the good thing is that the trees were tremendously big and thick. The bad thing was that they had to stop occasionally for Sakura to rest, unfortunately she had great Uzumaki resistance, but for a civilian, she was doing well. Mito stopped dead when she felt something collide with the tree trunk on which she was leaning. She looked down realizing that it was a genin who was dying and beaten. It was then that she heard the noises of a conflict, metal colliding. Against metal and the occasional blow and jutsu. Kaiten. Hasenka no jutsu. Was heard in the forest, Myth recognized that voice, it was Sasuke's. Sasuke jumped towards the trunk of a tree and stuck himself to it with his chakra, followed by blowing a large number of small fireballs that were directed towards a group of genins on the ground, most of them were caught in the projectiles, while some managed to avoid them with some skill. The outstanding genin threw kunai and shurikens towards Sasuke, who jumped and dodged the sharp objects. He landed gracefully on the ground. Why are there so many people? Sasuke said, annoyed. Remember that Menma increased the competition twice, said Naruto, finishing off another genin. But why are they coming for us? Kiyomi said, sweeping her legs to two genins. I don't know about that, Naruto said, he had been noticing that some of those who came had a band with a musical note, a village that he had never heard of. Team 7 heard a voice familiar to them. Guys, are you okay? Mito called Team 7. Mito. What are you doing here? Kiyomi asked, happy to see her best friend. Well, I was jumping from tree to tree until an unfortunate crash against the trunk, he said. My fault, said Naruto. The blonde girl looked at all the unconscious bodies. What the hell happened here? Asked Mito. Well, these unfortunates didn't stop attacking us, so we defended ourselves, said Kiyomi. And for some reason they only come for us, Sasuke said. And now we have a pile of scrolls of both forms, said Naruto, pointing to a pile of scrolls of heaven and earth. Wow, those from Team 11 were surprised. Well, but now we can go towards the tower together, after all, both teams have the scrolls we need, said Myth. Yes. We should go together, said Kiyomi, starting to jump from a tree with her friend. I don't see the problem, said Sasuke, starting to jump. Menma growled and began to move too. Sakura and Naruto started jumping. They were jumping for a long time. Naruto was thinking meanwhile about the words that the Kyuubi said to him. It smells like snakes, it smells like snakes, what do you mean by that? Naruto thought. I don't see the point, generally the smell comes from something we normally relate to, a blacksmith smells like iron, a cook smells like food, although of course, there are also perfumes to hide the smell, but that's not the point. Case, it could be that the smell of snakes has to do with something you relate to, that has to be it could be. Wait, Naruto almost crashed into a tree. Hey, are you okay? Sasuke asked, looking back. Yes, don't worry, I'm just thinking, he responded with a smile. PFFF, well, I never worried, Menma said, avoiding her sister's annoyed look. Continuing with Naruto's thoughts. If I'm not wrong, I once read about the contract of the snakes, it is a powerful contract on the level of the contract of the toads and slugs. Now that I think about it, each of those contracts belongs to a Sannin, the one of the toads belongs to Jiraiya, the wise toad, the one with the slugs belongs to Princess Tsunade, and the one with the snakes belongs to Wait. Naruto's heart started to race, it can't be he's not here, is he? He escaped from the village, why would he come back? Naruto rarely got nervous about something, he just hoped that his thoughts were not true, although life doesn't always listen to your pleas, he smells like snakes, that means he's. Naruto's danger instinct activated, the ringing in his head was frequent and loud, warning him of something really bad. That's when he felt a large amount of chakra heading towards them, everyone, get out of the way. Now. Naruto shouted agitatedly. Everyone heard Naruto scream and did not hesitate to get out of the way. Just as they did, a large gust of aggressive wind passed through their midst, a part of the gust hit them, sending them back a little, but nothing more than that. The gale continued for a few seconds until it stopped. The trees behind them were destroyed, some were split in half, others were torn to pieces, and some were left without leaves. What the hell was that? Sasuke said, rubbing his back, he had hit it with a branch. I don't know. Kiyomi said. Naruto gulped, he could feel it, the same chakra of the girl who helped Anko with her kunai, a large amount of chakra being repressed to resemble that of a genin, but the power of that jutsu was out of the ordinary, too out of the ordinary. The normal. A few meters ahead of the Konoha genins, there was the grass team again, the girl in the middle seemed to have launched the jutsu, due to the position of her hands, cubic. I found them, he said in a playful voice, while licking his lips with his out of proportions tongue. Damn, said Menma, as he stood up in pain. What the hell, that gust was too strong, said Mito. Naruto was sure what was happening. There is no doubt that chakra, the clue of the Kyuubi or Orochimaru, the Sannin of the snakes, is infiltrated in Konoha, Naruto thought. Just at that moment, two snakes of gigantic size went against Naruto. Naruto. Sasuke shouted, shit, said Naruto, backing away from the two animals. Sasuke and Kiyomi tried to help, however, a kick landed on Sasuke, then, the same figure turned around and landed a blow on Kiyomi, who managed to anticipate and block the blow, however, the blow was so strong that it sent Kiyomi flying. To crawl back, the two snakes made Naruto retreat to the point of getting lost in the forest. Hehehe. Well, I'll deal with that boy in a moment, but now, I guess I'll have to face you guys, hehehe. Oh, my name doesn't matter, but if you two, Sasuke and Kiyomi Uchiha, the Kusa girl pointed to the two brothers. How the fuck do you know our names? Kiyomi said. Well, it's a strange reason. It doesn't matter either, but if you want, you can blame the guy with the glasses, said the girl. Damn, said Sasuke, finally getting up. That kick hurt too much, he thought. Ha. What a weakling, you couldn't withstand a simple kick, you're pathetic, step aside, the big Menma will take care of this, nobody, Menma said, walking forward. How arrogant you are. Son of the Yondaime, that arrogance will one day be your downfall, who knows, it may be today. The girl's voice became somewhat dark. The temperature of the environment began to drop, the girl was releasing large amounts of killer instinct, instantly everyone was paralyzed. No, I can't move, Menma thought, the others thought the same. Well, I guess I'll keep this too, said the girl, showing the earth scroll. Sasuke managed to move his hand a little, realizing that none of his pockets had the scroll, only the one from heaven. Shit, when do I take it from me? This girl is extremely fast, Sasuke thought. The girl proceeded to eat the parchment, it was a bizarre landscape for everyone, the woman licked her lips again, her tongue looked like that of a snake. One of us is left with the scrolls, I guess that's me, said the girl, putting her hand on her face, and the others, he said as he lowered his hand a little, moving his eyelids away a little, revealing his dark gaze. They will be dead. All the boys opened their eyes wide as they saw their deaths in front of them, their agonizing screams echoed in their minds, blood was spread everywhere, kunai buried themselves in their skin again and again, until one of the projectiles stabbed hard into them. Her forehead, although everything was an illusion, felt very real. That girl's killer instinct was out of range. It was worse than Naruto's damn Sasuke move. He shouted in his mind. A shame you can't resist that, maybe I expected a lot from you, Uchiha children, move Sasuke, move. Sasuke's hand began to move little by little to his kunai bag. I can't unseal a kunai, I'd drop it and the girl would notice, it's better to take it out by hand. Sasuke thought, his hand finally reached his kunai holder on his leg and began to pull out a weapon. Well, I guess I'll start with you, said the girl, throwing some kunai toward Sasuke. Sasuke grabbed the kunai and blocked the projectiles as best he could. Oh, it seems like you can move a little, I'm surprised by your willpower, said the girl. Damn, I can't move at all, this can't stay like this, Sasuke thought until an idea occurred to him. Sasuke grabbed the kunai firmly and stabbed it hard into his leg. He let out a grunt, however, the pain took him out of the killed instinct and he managed to move at great speed. He grabbed Kiyomi, Mito and Menma and disappeared in a quick shunshin. Oh wow, looks like we're going to play hide and seek, huh? Well, I think I can have some fun, he said to the girl, disappearing in a blur. Damn, Sasuke said as he sat up and grabbed his leg, stopping the bleeding a little. Sasuke. Kiyomi, who could finally move, crouched down to check on her brother. I need something to cover the wound, said Sasuke. Kiyomi nodded and took out a handkerchief from her seal. Sasuke grabbed it and tied it to the wound tightly to stop the blood. Well now, what the hell with that girl? Menma shouted. Mito covered her mouth. Shut up, idiot, he could hear us, said Myth. Very late the playful voice of the Kusagakure ninja sounded behind the Genins. I found them, said the girl, licking her lips again. Futen. Renkuden. Mito passed through hand seals quickly and expelled an air bullet that hit the ninja squarely, however, it turned into mud. A mud clone. It's a Doton technique. Sasuke said, surprised. The girl appeared from behind the Myth, kicking her and sending her away. Hey. Menma tried a blow that was easily stopped by the ninja. Sasuke got up as best he could and began to fight the girl accompanied by his sister. The two had already awakened their Sharingan. So they already have the Sharingan with 3 tomos. Delicious. The girl thought as she counterattacked, however, the two brothers were already able to dodge the blows a little. The Kusa girl gave a direct blow that Sasuke dodged. Kiyomi tried to hit the girl, however, she moved too strangely. She seemed to be even more flexible than Kiyomi. It was as if she were a noodle, her movements resembled those of a snake. The girl kicked, Sasuke dodged and swept, the girl backed away, but Kiyomi followed her and landed a blow. The girl received it and gave a small grunt. Just as I expected, you two are a great combination. The girl grabbed Kiyomi's arm, pulled her towards her and delivered a punch to her stomach, followed by a kick that sent Kiyomi backwards. Sasuke entered into individual combat against the girl, punches and kicks came and went. The girl was able to block her blows, but he was able to see all of her movements. Sasuke hit the girl who hit him back even harder. The girl was going to finish him off, but she had to dodge a water bullet. Mito approached and began to fight with the girl. She did not possess the Sharingan, but was able to keep up with her. Menma joined her. Wow, another formidable combination of siblings, interesting, said the girl. Unlike the others, these were easier according to the Kusa ninja, but they were not far behind. They were very good at teamwork and did not give up for a second. Well, with Naruto, this is bad, Naruto thought, dodging the snake's attacks. The animals did not seem to have any kind of mercy, they came to kill and only to kill. I have to finish this, the boys are left with that crazy Kusa, thought Naruto, unsealing his Shakudo ready to fight. I just hope I left Sasuke his Shakudo. He thought before jumping to avoid the attack of one of the snakes that tried to eat him. Naruto stuck his sword in a branch, propelling himself to turn around and lean on his sword a little. Just below him the large snake tried to eat him again. Naruto took out his sword and climbed on the snake that tried to get rid of him. But Naruto, he stuck his sword in the snake, which gave a great hiss of pain. The other snake realized this and jumped on the other to try to finish off Naruto, who took out his sword and used Shunshin to disappear. The two snakes collided. Kaiten. Gakakyu no Jutsu. Naruto spat a large fireball that collided with the two snakes, causing them great damage, as well as making them mature. Yes, they are hard, said Naruto, jumping again. The two snakes collided again. One looked up and rose upwards to try to engulf Naruto, who was in the air. I have a plan to kill them. Normally it would be a lot of chakra, but thanks to my chakra control, my affinity will be easier than normal, he thought to make his move. The snake tried to eat Naruto, who made a turn in the air to avoid it. Naruto landed on the snake's head, and from there he jumped towards the other one who was not expecting it. Naruto grabbed his sword, 2 hands on the hilt. Without any remorse he buried the blade in the snake's eye, which hissed in pain. He took out his weapon, and, taking advantage of the snake's daze, he made hand seals. Gyuten. Kazakiri no Jutsu. Naruto extended his hands with a dragon seal. Suddenly a large gust of sharp wind was directed towards the other sapient, who was injured with large cuts. Once the jutsu finished, the animal surprisingly disappeared in an explosion of smoke. Their invocations. That means he's close, oh shit. Naruto thought, getting tense, the snake where he was standing was still hissing in pain, and between the sudden movements he made, he managed to free himself from Naruto. Naruto landed on the ground, stuck his sword into the ground, and passed through Hand Seal's Raiden. Friend. Naruto placed his hands on the ground, from these, a large number of threads of lightning came out, taking the appearance of a spiderweb that was heading towards the snake that could not dodge it. As soon as the rays touched the scaly skin of the animal, it was suddenly electrocuted. It was then that she fainted and disappeared in another explosion of smoke. Naruto took out a soldier's pill from his seal, which he ingested, immediately recovering part of his chakra. Well, now I have to help my friends, I've already wasted too much time here. Naruto disappeared into the trees with Sasuke, Mito, Kiyomi and Menma a few minutes before. Sasuke was now surprised. They had fought against that crazy girl for a long time, and they only managed to hit her a couple of times and make some scratches. The girl's clothes were somewhat torn due to the fight, but she didn't seem to care about the blows she took. It was as if they didn't hurt. Sasuke observed the situation. Next to him was a panting Kiyomi, on the other side, an unconscious Menma, and further to the left, Amito, who was trying to get up. I must admit that they made it difficult for me. Besides, this was a lot of fun. The girl's sadistic voice sounded, drawing the black-haired boy's attention. This is not over. Sasuke said to himself, however the girl heard him. I'm sorry to tell you that for you, yes they're already finished, their line of blood will be mine, this time, the girl thought. She was about to finish Sasuke off when a very strong blow collided with her face, the blow sending her dragging backwards. That fist really hurt, more than normal, said the girl, adjusting her jaw as it had been damaged. The sight he had of her surprised her. Now you're going to pay. Mito's harsh and wild voice was heard. Her blonde hair was now more messy, her body trembled, while a kind of uncontrolled red chakra surrounded her. Her mustache marks were more prominent. Interesting, said the girl, looking at the mythical state. Mito looked up, revealing her red eyes with slits, resembling those of a fox. At a high speed, Mito appeared in front of the girl, who barely stopped her blow. Mito began to throw a large number of fists and kicks at high speed that could be seen from the distance that they were going too aggressively. Sasuke could keep up with the speed with his Sharingan. He was really impressed. Mito was giving the Kusa girl a fight. The Kunoichi dodged a blow from Mito, tried a kick that connected, but Mito didn't seem to care and responded with a punch that the girl blocked. He has great resistance, thought the Kusanin. Kiyomi, get up, we have to help Mito, Sasuke said. I'm coming, Kiyomi said. I have a plan, go prepare it, Chidori, Sasuke said. It's okay, said Kiyomi, gathering a little chakra. Mito managed to make the girl retreat. It looks like I'm going to have to raise the level a little, thought the girl, increasing her speed. Brat tries to push the girl back further. It seems that the emo boy has a plan, said the Kyuubi. It's okay, although now it's costing me more, Myth said in his thoughts. Well, here I go, Sasuke said, accompanying Mito to the fight. Chidori, Kiyomi whispered, beginning to gather lightning chakra in her hand discreetly between Myth and Sasuke. They were keeping the Kusa girl, who seemed to be having fun, at bay. This is so exciting. He said to the girl, licking his lips with his extraordinary tongue, crazy bitch. Myth shouted with rage. Sasuke stopped sending blows, leaving Mito alone again. Okay, time to put these eyes to work, Sasuke said as his Sharingan glowed. Mito managed to push back the Kusa girl, who, due to the euphoria of the moment, did not notice Kiyomi. Good. Sasuke took out many kunai from his seal, which he began to tangle with ninja wire that he also took out from his seal. Mito. Back away. Sasuke said, launching the projectiles. Mito backed away enough to dodge the kunai. The Kusa girl also dodged them while mocking. Ha ha ha, that's serious, the girl mocked. Sasuke moved his fingers surreptitiously. Suddenly, all the kunai began to return towards the girl. Some collided with bulls, changing their trajectory, along with the threads which surprisingly they surrounded the girl. Sasuke began to fully move his arms. What the hell? Said the girl while she was tangled in the ninja wires, watching Sasuke's eyes which were spinning and shining. Heh, those eyes so precious, thought the girl. Raiden. Jibashi. Said Sasuke, sending an electric discharge that spread through the ninja wires. The discharge reached the girl, severely damaging her. The Kusa girl growled. Now Kiyomi. Sasuke said. It's time, said the Uchiha, starting to run at high speed. This is bad, I got too confident, thought the girl, apparently desperate. Chidori. Kiyomi shouted. The thousand birds echoed in the forest. The Uchiha pierced the Kunoichi's stomach, who didn't even scream in pain. The Uchiha removed her hand quickly. The girl's body fell limply to the ground. We did it, said Myth. Yes, although Menma is still passed out, Kiyomi said. I guess I'll have to wait, you can come out, Sakura, the danger is over. The blonde shouted. The pink-haired girl came out of some bushes trembling. It's good that this is over, said the girl. I don't think they should celebrate, the girl's voice sounded, but this time it was deeper. The Kusa woman stood up weakly, however, when she was upright, she opened her mouth in bizarre proportions, very strangely, hands came out of the mouth, which grabbed the lips and opened the orifice further the body of the woman. The girl was apparently deflating while another figure came out of the mouth, the same girl, but when she turned around. She showed paler skin, in addition to her face appearing to be torn, while showing that one of her eyes was yellow with pupils slit and thin, like a snake. In addition, a liquid was slipping from his body that at first glance looked sticky and disgusting. What the hell? Sasuke was dismayed, he had never seen or imagined anything like it, the least he could compare it to was a snake shedding its skin. That was disgusting, said Kiyomi, who was once again paralyzed. Mito had no room for his surprise. Menma was still fainted. Well, I guess I have to finish them now. The girl's voice sounded too deep and dark, but at the same time playful. The girl disappeared and suddenly kicked Myth. Those characteristics of yours, you are using the chakra of your tailed beast, that is a problem for my plans, so, it wouldn't hurt if you had no connection with that fox, the Kusa girl went through hand seals. Suddenly the girl's tongue came out and grabbed Mito, lifting her up, the Kusa nin finished the seals. Fuinjutsu. Gajo Fuin, said the girl, opening the palm of her hand, at the tip of the 5 fingers, appeared 5 different kanji that were surrounded by a kind of purple fire, the girl slammed her fingers together with great force. Against Myth, who screamed in pain immediately. The Kyuubi's features disappeared, the girl threw away a fainted Myth unhappy. Kiyomi shouted, trying to hit the woman, but she received her with a kick that sent her away. What's the point, you guys are already very tired, said the girl with her man's voice. Only you are left. The boy Naruto is busy with my pets, besides marking them would be too difficult, so I will stay with you, and Uchiha with great potential, just like Naruto, said the Kusanin, who made a strange hand seal crossing his index fingers behind his middle fingers. Sealing art. Cursed seal of heaven, said the girl, her neck extended to incredible levels, she grew some fangs. Damn, I can't move. Sasuke thought. Accept your destiny, Sasuke. Uchiha, said the girl, about to bite Sasuke, however a kick landed on the girl's face. Who, when flying Sasuke, are you okay? Naruto's serious voice reached Sasuke's ears. Naruto? Sasuke said. Naruto just nodded and approached Kiyomi. Sasuke followed him. Naruto knelt next to Kiyomi and helped her up. Guys, I need you to take Menma and Mito with Sakura to a safe place, said the black-haired man with blue tips. What? Are you crazy? And leave you alone with this maniac? Said Kiyomi. Kiyomi, from the last thing I saw, the girl wants something from us, besides, you and the others are tired and hurt. I'm sorry to tell you this, but you would be another burden, leave this to me, okay? Said Naruto. Don't worry. But Kiyomi, he's right, that girl wants something from us, it's clear that she's not the Royo, otherwise she would have left or killed us, it's dangerous, besides, you know, we're a burden, now he said, Sasuke clutching an injured arm. Kiyomi hesitated for a moment, her body trembling, her mouth twitching. Kiyomi, said Naruto, who did not finish as he was hugged by the girl. Just come back, okay, okay. That girl is very dangerous, said the girl, holding back the urge to cry. Don't worry, I promise you that I will return, I will not go back on my word, that is my ninja way, said the boy, reassuring Kiyomi. Kiyomi nodded and broke the hug for a moment, wiping away some of the blood that Naruto had on his face with his thumb, it was the blood of the sapients he defeated. Take good care of yourself, Naru, said Kiyomi, and then turned around and went to pick up the others with Sasuke and Sakura. It's been a long time since no one told me like that, hi. Yes, I'm very special to you, although you are also special to me, all of you are, Naruto thought, watching as Sasuke carried Menma and Sakura helped Kiyomi. With Myth, the group disappeared among the trees. I promised him I'm going to protect them even with my life, wow, until Naruto-kun appears, said the girl, although she no longer knew exactly what it was, anyway, she was getting up. That blow was very strong, worthy of a prodigy like you, the girl licked her lips. You don't have to hide anymore, I know very well who you are, said Naruto seriously. I should have expected it from you, Naruto-kun. Kyukyuku. What do you want? Orochimaru, said Naruto. Kyukyuku, I just want those little eyes of yours, or well, they could also be those of your black-haired friends, I won't let you lay a single finger on them, said Naruto, annoyed, preparing for what was to come. Although you are very special, come fight with me. Show me the power of the Senju and Uchiha blood in one. Senju Uchiha. Naruto. Orochimaru was overflowing with happiness and ecstasy, he was about to taste the perfect specimen, or at least that's what he called it. You will eat your words, said Naruto, taking out a kunai and placing it in his mouth. The time has come to fight seriously, he thought, preparing for what would be one of his greatest challenges. Come. Fight with me. Show me the power of the blood of Uchiha and Senju in one. Naruto. Uchiha Senju. You will eat your words, it's time to fight seriously, Naruto thought, and then placed a kunai in his mouth, Sharingan active. That look, so tenacious and confident, I like it, said Orochimaru. Confident, The black-haired man couldn't say if he was confident, his hand was trembling, perhaps it was fear. Come on Naruto, you can't fail now, if you let it happen, he will go after Sasuke or Kiyomi, even who knows what he would do to you shouldn't let that happen. Orochimaru bent his posture slightly as he opened his arms. I'm waiting, he said anxiously, his out of proportion tongue passing over his lips. You can't stay paralyzed now, you promised you would protect them, you promised him. The image of Itachi passed through Naruto's mind. I know you have become strong Itachi, my goal is to find you and know the truth about what happened that night, but Naruto got into a battle pose. How will I be able to face you if I am not able to face this guy? Naruto closed his eyes and took a long breath. It's time, Naruto thought as he opened his eyes and showed his Sharingan shining. A leaf from a tree swayed gently. A strong breeze passed, making it sway faster until it finally fell from its place. It fell softly and patiently as the breeze played with it. It continued falling until it reached to a small lake where he finally rested. At the moment of touching the crystalline water, different slingshots spread through the liquid, starting the combat. Naruto launched himself at high speed against Orochimaru, who received him with a blow that Naruto dodged. This attempted an uppercut that the snake Sannin blocked. The two stared at each other for a moment until they began to quickly exchange blows. Naruto grabbed the Sannin's fist and then landed a right hook on Orochimaru's side, who grunted. Yes, it is more effective, plus its physical strength is incredible. Orochimaru tried a blow that Naruto dodged by crouching down, trying to sweep his legs at the snake, who managed to dodge it by stepping back. However, gaining momentum from the ground, the Uchiha jumped, giving a great flurry of kicks to Orochimaru, who blocked them all, or so I believed until he tried a direct hit. Naruto turned in the air and grabbed Orochimaru's arm. He supported himself on the ground and, taking another jump, he kicked another kick in the Sannin's chest. The black-haired man opened his eyes wide when he saw that the blow did not seem to have affected the snake, who gave a merciless blow to the poor exposed stomach of the Uchiha. However, Naruto endured the pain as best he could, and with great force he kicked with his another leg. The kick was so strong that it seemed that Naruto was propelled against a wall. Orochimaru stepped back while Naruto, being in the air, unsealed several kunai and threw them at great speed with deadly precision. Among them was the kunai that before it rested in his mouth. It's different, Orochimaru thought as he dodged the projectiles quite easily and gracefully. Naruto pushed himself between the trees. There came a point where he leaned heavily on one and took a big jump, directing a kick at Orochimaru, who blocked it. Naruto was deflected, but by turning in the air he managed to recover, although he had to move quickly. Orochimaru went through hand seals. Futen. Shinkajoku. Orochimaru launched the air projectiles that cut everything in their path. Naruto performed evasive maneuvers by jumping and retreating, doing acrobatic somersaults. Between his evasion, Naruto leaned on his arms and took a big jump. One of the projectiles hit his leg, causing a cut. The Uchiha landed as best he could, but he didn't wait for Orochimaru's attack that sent him crashing into the ground. Trunk of the tree they were fighting on. Orochimaru tried to finish off with another blow, but Shunshin. Naruto disappeared from his sight for a moment. So elusive, but don't think I'm that stupid, said Orochimaru, stepping back, dodging Naruto's axe kick, which upon impact with the branch broke the bark. Orochimaru attempted a spinning kick. Naruto bent his trunk, dodging the attack. He jumped back while performing hand seals Kaiten. Hasenka no Jutsu. Naruto launched multiple fireballs from his mouth. Now it was Orochimaru's turn to dodge. The Sannin snake dodged with great skill. The fireballs that crashed and generated small explosions. After finishing dodging, Orochimaru launched himself at Naruto, starting another Taijutsu battle. The snake had to applaud the boy's battle style. It was truly formidable. He had great attack and defense techniques. He even had a hard time dodging attacks with his snake style, which was for very flexible people. Just for that was useful, to dodge effectively, but it was costing him against Naruto. It was as if his battle style adapted to any confrontation. The battle between the two was becoming faster and faster. There was a point where in the sight of a civilian, they disappeared and appeared somewhere else. Orochimaru increased his speed, connecting a blow to Naruto's stomach, then he gave another one. And ended with a kick that sent Naruto against another tree. However, he managed to turn around and recover by supporting himself with chakra on the tree, but Orochimaru suddenly appeared in front of him, so he had to defend himself from another flurry of blows, each one more faster than the previous one. Naruto and Orochimaru were fighting invertedly attached to the branch of a tree. The Uchiha managed to land a blow that sent the Sannin into the air. He recovered easily, but had to move because a gigantic fireball was heading towards him, the tree. In which impact the jutsu was destroyed, causing it to fall, and Naruto appeared on the fallen log, dodging several blows from Orochimaru. I can see them, each of their blows. Naruto thought, bending down to try a sweep. The snake retreated. The Uchiha quickly stood up and sent a spinning kick. The Sannin jumped spinning past Naruto. Upon landing he disappeared in a blur, although for Naruto's Sharingan that was nothing more than increased speed. I can see it, but Naruto went through hand seals Hasenka. He shot the different fire projectiles. Orochimaru dodged them with his great speed. Running the Sannin began to move around Naruto to confuse him. From one moment to the next, he began to send attacks while moving again. That won't help. Naruto's Sharingan shines. Analyzing the Sannin's movements, Naruto turned on his axis, avoiding Orochimaru. The Uchiha jumped, avoiding a low kick from the snake. Naruto turned and rested his hand on the ground. He turned his wrist, turning his body, stretching his leg. He managed to connect a difficult kick that the Sannin managed to block. However, he was thrown backwards somewhat. Kyukyuku. Let's increase the level a little, said Orochimaru, who disappeared in speed. Naruto opened his eyes in surprise. He saw Orochimaru. He tried to block, but his body was not fast enough as his eyes. Orochimaru's fist connected strongly with Naruto's stomach, who let out saliva from the blow. Orochimaru kicked that sent Naruto back. Please don't tell me that's all you have, said the Sannin. I'm having a lot of fun. I said I was going to fight with everything, and that's what I'll do, said Naruto, getting up. The Uchiha made half a ram seal. The black-haired man's body glowed for a moment until he returned to normal. Orochimaru raised an eyebrow. He didn't know what was happening. Time to return the favor, said Naruto. Disappearing in a blur of speed, Orochimaru opened his eyes wide. He had no time to react when a strong blow from the Uchiha landed powerfully on his stomach. Naruto jumped and gave a left kick to Orochimaru's chin. In the jump he turned backwards, connecting with the right kick. Naruto completed the backflip and finished his combo. Raiden. Jinraken. Naruto gave a big punch infected with lightning chakra to Orochimaru's stomach, who was thrown backwards. Orochimaru took a deep breath as he wiped away some of the blood that rested on his lips. Good, pretty good, Naruto-kun. Orochimaru started laughing madly. This is what I wanted. You are the perfect specimen. Just look at the level you have at such a young age. Not even Kakashi Haddock was that good at that age. You are someone with great potential, and if that were not enough, your Sharingan, fully mature and trained, you are truly amazing. Should I feel flattered? Naruto said, taking his battle stance again. Maybe yes, maybe not, that's up to you. I'm just saying what's on my mind, said Orochimaru, also taking a position. Your mind, eh? At this point I wonder if you're really right in the head, answered the Uchiha. Oh, Naruto-kun, you're forgetting something. People who are called crazy are able to see more perspectives than others. That makes them special in this world. He who doesn't think like others do is called crazy, but why? Isn't he who stands out above the rest called a prodigy? Why are those who are different called crazy if they also stand out? It's all a matter of perspective. For some you can be a prodigy, for others a crazy person, for others a very lucky person, or for a few, you are someone who tried harder. People, as you know, have different points of perspective. Your whole world changes, depending on the way you see it. Interesting, but we're not here to discuss philosophy, are we? Orochimaru disappeared in a blur of speed. It's true, although I guess we're both right about something. Naruto disappeared too. The Sannin and Genin clashed their forearms once more before beginning to exchange punches and kicks. The speed at which they were going was truly amazing. Naruto without seals and Orochimaru with his speed that he has gained over the years as one of the most fearsome ninjas. Naruto dodged a direct blow from Orochimaru and tried to parry to the side. Orochimaru took his leg and began to rotate on his own axis, lifting Naruto, who was trying to get away, but it was useless. Orochimaru released his grip, causing the Uchiha to be thrown towards a branch. From the tree, the Uchiha spun in the air and led chakra to the soles of his feet to stick to the wood. Naruto jumped, leaning on the branch, and made half a ram seal cage bunshin. 3 Naruto clones appeared. The original Naruto grabbed their hands and with great force threw them towards Orochimaru. The clones were heading at high speed towards Orochimaru, who made lateral jumps to avoid the human projectiles. The clones failed, but immediately got up and began to attack the Sannin. Orochimaru expertly dodged the clones' blows, which increased his speed. Orochimaru swept, dispelling 2 of the clones. The last clone gave everything he could to not be dispelled so easily. The Sannin hit the clone, who before dissipating, managed to make another clone that grabbed Orochimaru from behind. Said Orochimaru Kaiten. Kakaku no Jutsu. Original Naruto made a large fireball with a little more chakra. The fireball was a darker orange color, almost red. Uh-oh, this is bad. Orochimaru thought the fireball crashed, causing a large explosion that made a large screen of smoke. When the smoke dissipated, a burned Orochimaru could be seen. However, he turned into mud. What? But when was he replaced with a clone? Naruto said. You forget that I'm a Sannin. I have more tricks up my sleeve. Orochimaru's voice sounded. Suddenly, the Uchiha felt how he was hit hard in the face. Naruto was thrown backwards, crashing into the trunk of a large tree. Naruto stood up, his bell on his head rang loudly. The Uchiha lowered his head, dodging a blow from Orochimaru. The Sannin's hand got stuck in the wood. Naruto took advantage and gave Orochimaru a big kick, but he didn't even flinch. And he took out his hand, performing a roundhouse kick. Naruto blocked it, but the force sent him backwards. Orochimaru passed through hand seals. Kaiten. Kakaku no Jutsu. Orochimaru spat a fireball that was heading towards Naruto. What are their natures? Naruto thought, jumping to avoid the fire projectile, however the shock wave of the explosion sent him higher into the air. Orochimaru appeared behind him, however Naruto's Sharingan followed him, it was broken in its axis, and with his fist he blocked Orochimaru's blow, the two were thrown somewhat backwards, in the air, Naruto took out different kunai from his bag. Kunai and shuriken which he threw at Orochimaru. The snake took out a kunai and blocked the weapons, still in the air, Naruto made a clone that did shunshin, and appeared stuck on another branch, the original once again threw a single kunai, but this time he made hand seals. Kunai Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. The single kunai split into several others, Orochimaru tried to block them, but was easily overwhelmed by the number, some kunai buried themselves in his skin, however, he made a substitution. I knew you would do that, Naruto thought, his Sharingan shining. Orochimaru appeared somewhere a little further away, but he had to dodge other projectiles. What the hell, how do you know where I am? She asked herself, he looked up and found a clone, he threw shurikens. Shuriken Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. He said, the same thing happened as with the other kunai, Orochimaru blocked some, but had to jump away from them. The Naruto appeared behind the clone, he jumped and attempted an axe kick at Orochimaru who narrowly dodged it, the kick was so strong that Naruto's foot buried itself in the ground, the snake took advantage and hit him hard, but suddenly it disappeared in an explosion of smoke. A clone. The Sannin thought, Naruto appeared in front of the Sannin and attempted an uppercut, but the Sannin blocked it. Heh, another clone huh? Orochimaru hit Naruto but he didn't disappear, instead he smiled. Wait, this is the original. Orochimaru thought. Another Naruto appeared in the air, this one quickly went down, joined his hands, and gave a hammer blow to Orochimaru's head who bent forward. That's the real clone. Thought the Naruto he had grabbed turned and kicked him in the stomach. Orochimaru stepped back. He was about to compose himself when in a blink of an eye, Naruto appeared in front of him. Shunshin, damn it, the snake thought again. Naruto gathered chakra in his foot and gave a high kick towards the back of Orochimaru's head, which he tried to block but was not so fast, the Sannin shot upwards, Naruto jumped and prepared a blow. Not this time, said the snake, who put his arms in an X to block the blow, but he didn't expect another blow to go directly to his face, it was the Naruto clone. Orochimaru landed heavily on the ground. The Naruto clone did shunshin and appeared in front of Orochimaru with a blow, the snake blocked it. The original came out behind him and attempted another blow but was also blocked. You're very smart, said Orochimaru who elbowed the two Narutos, dispelling the clone and sending the original away. Yes, they've already told me, said Naruto, swallowing another soldier pill. He had used jutsu after jutsu, and his senju chakra was not enough, maybe it would be better if he were in Uzumaki, he would have lasted much longer, and what do you have now? You're going to limit yourself to ninjutsu and taijutsu, show me what that Sharingan has, hehehe, I hope that tongue of yours can taste your words, besides, don't worry, I will use everything in my favor, so that you don't do anything, it's time for me to show you, something that if Nai-san saw me he would be hugging me like a fool while crying with pride. Naruto put on a sad smile, to tell the truth, he really missed that thing about Shisui. I shouldn't trust myself, this brat is really making it difficult for me, I'm not fighting seriously, that would be boring, plus it would attract a lot of attention, but even with the level I'm using, many jonins would be defeated. The Sannin thought, preparing himself. Shunshin no jutsu, said Naruto, he began to run towards the Sannin. Are you going to come forward like this? You're brave, said Orochimaru who tried to hit, but when he almost connected his fist, Naruto disappeared, the snake opened his eyes a little, looked around, and saw how Naruto was running, staring at him, however, he opened his eyes wide when he saw that on the other side, there was another Naruto. The snake widened his eyes as he saw how the two Narutos seemed to divide into more copies of the Uchiha. In the end, there were too many Narutos revolving around Orochimaru's shadow clones. The snake asked himself, no, I don't think so, they must be after images. Orochimaru tried to locate the real Naruto, but he couldn't. What? I can't locate the real one, so they must be clones, said Orochimaru. However, before he could do anything, a Naruto punched his face, suddenly, another Naruto punched him in the face, his side, and another struck his sword. This will be enough, Futen. Rapusho. Orochimaru high-fived his hands and sent a great gust of wind everywhere, however, the Narutos did not disappear, it was then that he saw it, all of Naruto's bodies were blinking, wait a minute, they're not clones or after images, there's just one Naruto. A blow landed on the snake's face, another blow landed on his stomach, a kick on his leg, another blow to his face, and so Orochimaru was bombarded with blows by the different Narutos. Shunshin level 3. This Shunshin, unlike the other levels, this one uses teleportations continuously, almost like a spam. The different Naruto that appear are only an illusion created by the different teleportations that Naruto uses. The amount there are so many Shunshins that it uses that it seems like they are hitting you from different places without stopping. Furthermore, when trying to land a blow it is almost impossible to hit it because it can be easily dodged. Orochimaru tried to block the different attacks as best he could, however the blows fell on his body like rocks. It was almost impossible to defend himself. When he tried to strike forward, Naruto appeared behind him and struck his back. "Now you're really making me angry," thought Orochimaru and then increased his speed. Surprisingly, he managed to hit Naruto, who was thrown backwards. However, he had already managed to do too much damage to Orochimaru, who spit out blood. "I have many bruises and some fractures, that child's strength is no joke," thought Orochimaru. However, he was alarmed by the sound of burning paper bomb. Orochimaru thought Naruto made half a ram seal. He had managed to place a paper bomb he made himself. Orochimaru jumped to a branch. Behind him was the trunk of the large tree. "Right where I wanted you," Naruto whispered as his Sharingan shone and spun intensely. Naruto threw many kunai and shurikens at Orochimaru, who prepared to block them, however they surprisingly deflected. Ninja wire could be seen from Naruto's mouth and fingers, which he conducted as if the shurikens and kunai were puppets. The projectiles rotated around the trunk of the tree, passing in front of Orochimaru again before passing behind him again. From the tree, incredible, a triple Sharingan windmill attack. Orochimaru thought, dumbfounded. Naruto pulled tightly on the ninja wires which tied Orochimaru against the trunk. The wires squeezed tightly, hurting the Sannin skin. Naruto prepared himself. He had the Sannin right in his trap. He would do a lot of damage with the next jutsu. "This is bad, very bad," Orochimaru thought, alarmed. Naruto planted his feet strongly on the branch where he was standing. He was a few meters above Orochimaru. He tightly squeezed the wire that he had in his mouth, which was connected to the other wires that had tied the Sannin as best he could. He performed hand seals. Kaiten. Naruto gritted his teeth as a bit of smoke came out of his mouth. "Ryuken no Jutsu," Naruto thought. A strong burst of fire escaped from Naruto's mouth, which was conducted through the ninja wires to Orochimaru. The fire was aggressively directed towards Orochimaru, that the only thing he could do was wait for the attack. The really hot fire collided strongly with Orochimaru, who screamed in pain. The tree trunk was charred as the fire surpassed him. With the others a few minutes before, Kiyomi, Sasuke, and Sakura had been jumping for a long time, Sakura helping Kiyomi with the fainted myth, while Sasuke carried Menma. Sakura couldn't ignore the worried face of the Uchihas. Kiyomi's was more prominent. She seemed scared. She couldn't do much other than give comforting words. "Guys, calm down. Naruto is very strong. I'm sure he can beat that crazy woman." Sakura didn't hear a response from Kiyomi. She looked ahead, where she saw Sasuke smiling at her. "Thank you, Sakura." "Really?" Sasuke said. He had caught Sakura's intention. He turned his head. "Although beating her, that is very unlikely." Sasuke thought. The group of boys stopped for a moment when they saw a clearing in the forest. There was a giant tree that seemed to have a giant hole, which at the same time seemed like a comfortable place in this shitty forest. Words from Sasuke. The boys approached the place and left Mito and Menma lying down. Menma seemed to be fainted, but Mito seemed to suffer while she was fainted. Sasuke opened the myth clothes a little in the stomach area. "What are you planning to do, Sasuke?" Kiyomi asked. "I'm just going to check something. It seems that crazy Kusa did something to the myth seal. I may not know much about Fuinjutsu like Naruto, but at least I want to see if I can see something in plain sight." Sasuke looked at the myth seal. It seemed to have 5 kanji engraved around it. In addition, the part where the Kusa girl had placed her fingers was red, indicating the force with which the technique was executed. "I don't know what it is, but that one looks bad," said Sasuke. "We'll have to wait for Naruto to arrive. He's a Fuinjutsu master," Kiyomi said. "For now we have to rest. I'm going to have to bandage this arm, it's hurt," Sasuke said, while Kiyomi helped him bandage his limb. "Sakura, help me with this, Kiyomi." "Yes," said the girl, tending to another wound. "I just hope you're okay," Kiyomi thought with concern with Naruto. Naruto had finally stopped shooting fire from his mouth. A few flames rested around him, but they quickly went out. Naruto took a long breath, and to think that this is not over yet, he said while making hand seals and biting his left thumb, spreading blood down his right hand. "Kuchiyas no Jutsu," said Naruto, slamming his hand against the ground. From the cloud of smoke, formed a white fox with 3 well-kept tails, came out. It was a messenger fox. "Oh, it's you, Naruto-sama. Tell me what I can do for you," said the little fox. The Uchiha crouched down to the fox's height. "I need you to go to the exit of this forest. I assure you that if you go down that straight path, you will be able to find one of the entrances. I need you to find a woman named Anko Midarashi. She has purple hair and is dressed in a trench coat. And finally, I need you to tell him that the snake Sannin, Orochimaru, is infiltrating the Chunin exams and that he is on the southern path to the forest tower. I need him to come with an ambush team, if necessary," he said. Naruto. The fox memorized the information, nodded and got lost in the forest at high speed. "Well said." Naruto looking at the place where Orochimaru was, who broke the ninja wires. His body was completely burned. It seemed like he was about to crumble into ashes. "I have to admit, that hurt," he said with a wrinkled voice. Orochimaru opened his big mouth from which he took out another body, just as he did with the other genins. This time, the body that came out was that of the real Orochimaru. Orochimaru has really white skin, some kind of purple marks around his eyes, which were yellow with slanted pupils. His hair was still really long and straight black. You really are impressive, but. Naruto opened his eyes when he saw Orochimaru disappear. He tried to block the blow that was coming towards him, however it landed hard on his stomach. It's still not enough to beat me, said Orochimaru. Starting to fight hand to hand with Naruto. Naruto began to feel cornered against Orochimaru. He began to use Shunshin to be able to even the balance. There came a time when Orochimaru's speed increased, landing several blows on Naruto. Naruto tried to dodge as best he could, matched his speed, and the battle began to escalate to another level. Naruto made shadow clones which began to fight alongside him, and using Shunshin, they gave the Sannin problems. Tsk Orochimaru bit his finger. Kuchiyus no Jutsu, said Orochimaru, summoning a snake that began to fight against Naruto. The snake dispelled the clones and took Naruto away, making Orochimaru lose sight of him for a moment. Ugh, I must admit that I've gotten a little tired. I don't have as many chakra reserves as in Uzumaki or Senju, but the years of training have helped me, said Orochimaru. However, he was surprised at having to dodge an attack from the snake he summoned. What? Why is it attacking me? Even if it were blind, it would recognize me by my smell, thought Orochimaru, but he saw the eyes of the snakes, which were not normal. They were red eyes with 3 atoms. Now you use Genjutsu, huh? Orochimaru said, dodging the snake's attacks. Naruto was breathing a little. I have a plan that might end him. I haven't used this in a while. I guess it's time after all, I said. I would use it to protect the ones I love, no matter how harmful it may be. The Uchiha thought. Orochimaru had no choice but to dispel the snake. Eventually the Genjutsu would be removed, although it was quite annoying. The Sannin dodged a kick from Naruto. The Uchiha introduced him into a Taijutsu battle. In the middle of the battle, the Uchiha threw some dirt that he had in his hand into Orochimaru's eyes, who was unable to react and received the dust in his eyes. He grabbed them in clear annoyance and received a kick from Naruto. Orochimaru rubbed his eyes and opened them slowly. He looked a little irritated at Naruto, however he made a mistake. He looked directly into the boy's red orbs. Majin. Jigokui no Tabi, demonic illusion. Journey to hell, whispered Naruto, who in Orochimaru's eyes turned into crows. Orochimaru's world turned 360 degrees. Everything around him turned red with a kind of dark mist around Orochimaru.